Welcome to Sesame Street. Today's word is expiation.
Yeah. So we're starting. Here we go. It's another bonus episode, ladies and gentlemen. Very, very special situation going on tonight. Brandon is not here again. He will return next show, so that's good news. In the meantime, we have another bonus episode with very special guests, two of Brandon's favorite podcasters. This is a fact. Well, I'm Dave Z. This is Exploding Heads. This guy over here, what's your name?
I'm Christian Luciani.
There you go. Dave and Christian, two of the three. And then we have a gentleman making his third appearance. Nobody's been on this show more than this guy, the fabulous Mr. Watson. What up?
I be not Mr. Watson. I'm Norma Bates. Clickety-clackety. Dave, come on. Clickety-clackety.
Clickety-clackety.
Yeah.
Well, no, you put like a little accent on there.
Yeah, I know. I had to get a little serious. Yeah, it's good to be in the middle of this, Exploding Heads and 22 Shots, spoiler alert, circle jerk, and I'm glad to be in.
Is this the first time Moodz has been on our show?
Yes, long fucking overdue. The MOOD to the Z. Woo. What the fuck is up, Moodz?
That's right, man. It's the MOOD to the Dave Z. Yeah. But you know what? Actually, oddly enough, I was supposed to be on a show a long time ago. I think it was probably one of your guys' first shows, and JP ended up doing the show, but I can't remember what happened. Something came up last minute. I was either sick. I don't know. Something came up, but I ended up not recording with you guys, and I've never been on since. so I'm back for the first time.
Moodz, it's crazy too, because you just did like your first legit guest spot very recently on the Fresh Cuts.
That's right, I did.
And now you're here.
And I couldn't listen to that though because it was on us, right? And
yes.
You guys, I know they spoil. Well, obviously,
yeah.
Because
it's a 2-hour review of us, and I think probably the first 15 minutes is just kind of generalization of talking about the film and kind of recommending it, and then the last like hour and a half is just strictly straight spoilers. Like Venom goes, basically tells us the entire plot, and we just go into everything and theories, and it's pretty in depth. I have to say, I was pretty impressed at
it's a good show.
The way it came out. So
well,
I mean, if you haven't seen us yet, check it out, man. And even if you have seen us and you're a little bit on the fence about it and stuff, maybe just check it out, and maybe maybe you'll hear some things that make you change your mind or lean a different way, because there was things that he pointed out even that none of us even caught, because he fortunately enough got to see it 3 times.
Yeah.
I know.
This guy's
he said the third time he watched it, he watched the movie strictly for Easter eggs, like literally just watching everything around. And I was like, that's incredible to be able to do that and go into a review and do that. So it was kind of eye-opening for all of us too, but incredible film. I mean,
it's the review to beat. It's the us review to beat right now. And don't worry, guys, I'm on it. I'm not on it.
It's a war.
Nice. Wars all over horror.
This is like a great mashup. We've got two bonus episodes in a row. Mashup. That's what we should call these.
Mashups?
Yeah.
We
can't be Clash
that
of the Titans because we're not fighting. Now, if you brought Jeremy on, then yeah, maybe.
Boy,
yeah.
And JP was supposed to be here. He just work ran late. He couldn't get the movie watched. Maybe he'll jump on later. I'm trying to coax him, so we'll see. But initially, that was the plan. But we'll see. In the meantime, we're just going to do what we got to do and have some fun. So, Brandon, this is for you. Yeah, we love you. We miss you. And we know you're going to enjoy listening to this. So You know?
Yeah, Chaz, buddy.
Yeah.
Actually, to that. There we go.
Yeah, nice.
It's official.
This guy
Very good.
drinking all his sodas.
Did we mention the
my
movie we're
sodas.
doing? I know we talked about it when we were pre-gaming.
No, we didn't mention it. Go ahead.
We've danced around it. We've kind of talked about it in previous episodes. I think even the episode that you were on, Mr. Watson, correct?
Incorrect.
It
No,
wasn't
no,
the 2007
correct.
show, but we screwed
was.
up, right? We didn't
Oh,
include it?
we did mention it. Yeah, we did mention it. See,
We just didn't-
you are correct. I did a show on it on Horror Corridor episode 5
Yes.
with Lil Watt.
Yep.
See,
And
we had to have you here.
Yes.
I got to tell you, I've always been a fan of this. As if anybody remembers, like I think we blew our wads even in that short format there. Man, this watch got me, even more so.
Right?
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Like I've always
Yes.
rated it high. This is the one that I afterwards I'm like I told my wife I go you've got this is you should have watched this with me, but because I did it because of my crazy schedule this week I did it in 2 sittings, and so she just wasn't around to watch it. So
Well, you've been traveling. Yeah.
yeah, and that's it. And I like it was just a great view.
Oh, that's so
Man.
cool. I'm so glad to hear that, man.
I haven't watched this movie in a long time. And what made you guys come up with the Mist for this?
I'll tell you
bonus?
why. Because of the conversation we're having later, which was started by a thread in a group page. And
Yep.
Oh, okay. Endings.
Yeah.
Okay.
yes,
Um,
for a movie, I forgot, I'm going to read it in a second. You guys, I'll figure it out. But I want
Makes-
to know the exact terminology. But
Makes total sense, yeah.
So
Because when you mentioned the Mist, I was like, why the Mist? I'm like, but then it kind of got me thinking a little bit, and I'm like, man, I haven't watched that movie since the U.S. was going through a recession. So
Really?
I don't think I've seen it since probably about the time Obama, his presidency came to start his presidency, kind of thing, right? So it's been a long time. It's been like 10 years since I've seen it, and I vaguely I remembered the movie,
Yeah.
but of course I remembered the ending. But it's interesting watching the film now, all these years later, how relevant it all of a sudden became again on so many different levels.
Oh yeah.
absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
So, I probably wasn't thinking of it like that back in those days. It's like pre-YouTube, podcasting and things like that. So you kind of take it for face value. It's like, oh, it's got creatures, but it's very, very political, and it's very relevant today. It's actually quite interesting. So it should be an interesting conversation.
And that's going to lead me to I'm going to say that concerns my wife in this movie, and that's a whole other thing. But let me just tell you what the thread said. I put up a thread, I put up a little topic, and it took off, and everybody was like, wow, maybe this should be talked about on the show. I said, oh, well, okay, so now we're going to do it. It's a bonus episode. This is the perfect chance to do it. We're doing all these patron shows this year, so it's kind of hard to get into discussions like this because we have so many movies. But this is the perfect opportunity. But I just put up a post in the group page, and it says, how about a horror movie that you love but the ending disappointed you? That's all I said. It's got 251 comments. It blew up. I didn't think that was going to happen. I'm happy it did. And now we're going to look at those comments. We're going to talk about some of the shit people said. And somebody comes on and said, The Mist. And I was like, really? And I was like, and that led to this.
did they
This
mean
is
upset
awesome.
them, or that they were really disappointed with it? Like
Yes.
obviously you said disappointed, but
Yeah.
how could you be disappointed with this? Like upset, I could totally understand. Totally
Yeah.
get. Disappointed. That's shocking to me.
No, to some people, it ruins the movie, like my wife.
A
My
lot
wife.
of people love those happy endings and stuff, and this one generally, doesn't really have the happiest of all endings, and I think a lot of people can't accept that.
Generally.
I mean, it's definitely one of those moments where you're like, okay, and then as a viewer watching for the first time, everything just kind of sinks at that moment. I think a lot of people can't accept that. I get it. I mean, it's kind of tough.
yeah, that's an understatement. Well, did any of you read the novella from the
Yes.
Skeleton Crew? Well, the ending to that is really ambiguous and very kind of ho hum. It's just kind of like he's on a radio, he's writing the whole story of the Mist on hotel stationery, and then he hears like on the like a radio the word Hartford and Hope, and it's just like, oh, okay, so all right, so maybe there's a glimpse of something, a little break of light here in this darkness, in this mist. But yeah, they went all out on this ending, and Stephen King was down. He even said he was like really happy with what Durabon did.
I heard that he said that the ending that Durabon did in this one was way better than his own.
Yep.
He's like, I wish I could have wrote that.
Yeah.
And
That's
I
what
mean,
heard.
but that's that's typical
did.
Stephen King though, right? I mean, Stephen King's really good for 90% of his writings, and then he's known for not having the greatest
Sticking
endings.
the landing. Yeah, I just read The
Yep.
Outsider, his most recent book, and it's a stellar book until you get to that ending. And I mean, no hate, Stevie, if you're listening, buddy, but I mean, just it was very like exposition-y. Yeah, he's listening to Exploding Heads. He wants to hear see Christian's sweet face. Well, he tuned in for B, but since B's not here, he's peaced out. But look at that! People watching, you see that beauty? God, look at how it highlights his face. But no, but like I mean, Stephen King's in the Outsider, which the book that just came out, back in the winter or whenever it was, or last summer was it? Yeah, that ending didn't stick, and he is notorious for that. But this movie I think picks up where King left off, and I think it does so rather well.
It's so hard to say what could have worked in replacement of this ending because I love it so much. But if I had an alternate version, and again, remember, this is like, it's so hard because you can't separate yourself from what we actually get. But it's when he says, well, let's see how far this gas will get us or something like that. Right. And then if they just drove off into the mist, I thought that would be kind of like the Thing type ending. Where it's just kind of like that, it's just ambiguous, and
that's really ambiguous because you don't know, right? Especially if it never clears up, you just missed everything, and just that's it. Yeah, that's
the
good
only
too.
thing I could have thought, and they have that line in there, and I said this view, I'm like, wow, that could have been kind of cool too, and they drove off, but that fucking ending.
The pessimist in me would have been like, man, those motherfuckers died 5 minutes after the credits were rolling.
Yeah, you knew your ending. Well, even in the novella, there is like a little scene where they're describing how they see it's either they see the monster itself or they see footprints of a monster that they speculate would have to be like the size of a skyscraper. And I remember having that in my head. I mean, I like back when I saw this in the theater, like I need to see this big monster. Show me that, and I will be okay with anything that happens after that. And they show it, and I was like, all right. I'm in. Whatever happens after this, if it's that, kind of ho-hum, like, oh, Hartford Hope, maybe we'll get out of this. Maybe we won't. Who knows? Maybe it was all just a dream. But no, it's like I was down. Like, this, what an ending, guys.
Now, I didn't derail you, Dave, right? Because I think we weren't going to get into the movie.
It was about the thread. Right?
Well, that's quite all right. That's what we're here for. No, it's fine. The thing is, let me just tell everyone listening that this is going to be the most spoiler-heavy show we've ever done. We're going to discuss this movie with spoilers, and then, of course, the thread is all about endings to movies. So when we look at this thread and we look at people's responses and we comment, we're going to be talking about the endings of a bunch of different films later. So, be prepared for that. That's all I'm going to say. We're having some fun. We're going to spoil. We're just going to do what we're going to do tonight. So, yeah.
Christian, when you edit the show, just put that emergency horn right through that whole spiel. Just sample it right out
show.
Of the
well, if I hear that air horn, I'll be thinking I'm up in the club.
Right? Yeah, man.
If it was me doing, I just put South Park samples in there. You dick.
That was some of the best editing.
That was gold. I'm not gonna lie. Dave, I know we'll get into it a bit later when we maybe get into this movie more, but I think my wife would agree with your wife. I think she would have a problem with it as well. That's why I wanted her to see it.
My wife has seen this several times. Check it out. My wife, she will watch horror with me occasionally. It's not like she's not one of those wives that will never watch it. And sometimes I'll watch a movie and I can tell it's one that she'll like, and I'll show her to her. 90% of the time, I'm accurate on what she'll like, and so it works. She's seen The Witch, she's seen Neon Demon, she's seen It Follows, she's seen plenty of things. If I see a movie that impresses me, she's seen Hereditary. I'll show it to her. Now, Stephen King is the rare exception where she will watch any Stephen King movie anytime. And I have all these Stephen Kings on Blu and DVD here. And anytime she loves Stephen King, she will watch any Stephen King movie. Now, I love this movie, and I love it more now. But last night, before we went into it, she said the same thing she said after we watched it last time. She goes, I don't know. I don't like the ending. This and that. She says she goes, I'll watch any Stephen King, but this is like the bottom of my Stephen King, she says.
Whoa.
Oh,
fucking, yes, she hates
this one is the bottom. Has she seen like the Tommyknockers and stuff?
See, good point. We haven't watched it. We haven't watched those yet. No, you're right, though. But, I mean, she's seen all the major ones, and the ones that I haven't shown her, like, Tommy Knockers, Langoliers, Needful Things. Some other ones, sure, she has not seen them yet. But she's so opposed to the ending. It's like it makes her mad. She thinks that the movie is too political. She says there's too much going on, this and that. She's saying, she said it was all too much. And then when the end comes, this is funny. She says, what he should have done is right when he saw those Jeeps, whatever, those army vehicles coming, he should have jumped in front of it and killed himself. And then I would have liked it more. How fucked up is that?
Wow.
Wow.
Go Irene. Go Irene.
Double
I don't
sucker
know.
punch.
Man,
Yeah.
going back
Zendano.
to that wife thing, that's actually kind of interesting because, sorry, Watson, we're gonna have to kind of exclude you on this one, but for Dave and Christian, wives, you guys ever had those cool moments where the wife has been like just kind of randomly
No.
brought up a film like, hey, let's watch this, you know?
Yeah.
Is it ever happening? And you're just like, holy shit, man, that's kind of shocking right now. Sorry, he's laughing.
Yes.
They're like, I don't have a fucking wife. God damn it.
Does it
It's
happen a
always
lot?
Stephen King. That's the answer for me. Anytime my wife
yeah.
recommends a movie, it's Stephen King. Just like me, The Shining is her favorite. So about 3 times a year, she'll say, "Hey, want to watch The Shining?" So I can't hate on that.
That's awesome, man. Christian, what about you?
Yeah, same thing for me.
Nice.
It's not often, but if she brings up, like, I mean, it's often if we're just talking general movies or shows. I'm just not into shows because she'll binge watch them and then I can't catch up. I'm 1-2 episodes and then I get sick of watching.
So you don't. Your endurance level is a little bit on the shaky side.
It's always been.
Hey, them's the jokes, folks.
Oh,
I had this incredibly. I'm sorry.
no.
Go on.
I'm pretty much just repeating myself. But from a movie standpoint, yeah, she brings something up. I'm like, yep, let's do it. Let's watch it.
Of course,
Done.
of course.
Well, you got to take it. You got to grab those moments, right?
Yeah, man.
So I had this very odd moment one time where the wife's like randomly comes down. She's in a good mood and stuff. She's like, yeah, let's watch a movie. I'm like, okay. And I always used to bug her. I'm like, well, you go pick. She's like, fuck you. Don't make me fucking pick, because my movie room is massive and she just gets overwhelmed in there and it takes forever. And I always fuck with her too, right? She'll pull out a movie and I'm like, nah, just watch that one. And so she won't do it, right? So this one specific time she comes down, she's like, let's watch a movie. And I'm like, okay, we'll go pick one. She's like, okay. And I'm like, what the fuck, right? She comes down. She's got necromantic.
What?
No
Two?
fucking word of a lie. No word of a lie. She comes down with necromantic. She's like, I heard you talking about this. And she'd bought me a necromantic 2 shirt. And she's like, I've always wanted to check these out. I'm like, you do realize it's about necrophilia, right?
Yeah,
She's like, yeah, check it out.
Wow.
Did she watch it?
She
did,
liked
and
it.
she liked it. She's like, it's
Wow.
so, and like, it seems so out of character for her too. She's this.
Moods, you put the romantic in necromantic, bro.
Apparently, I did. It's still a story that always sticks in my mind, and I'll never let her.
I don't know
live
if
it
I
down.
want my wife to like
She's
that
not
movie.
ashamed of it. She's not ashamed of it. But
That's-
she's the same person that I was watching August Underground one time. I was down in my movie room, and she comes down, and I didn't realize she was standing there, and she started watching the screen for a few minutes, and she looks at me and she goes, "The fuck is wrong with you?" And walks out of the room.
Like, you married me.
It's like the funniest thing. So the
That's
necromantic thing was, wow, really? Yeah.
I'm surprised though, because
story.
you have a gag reflex that I think is very similar to mine. How can you watch
Dude.
that movie? I'm thinking of it right now. The eye sucking.
Dude,
I know.
it's making me gag even thinking about it. I'm a glutton for punishment. I am a glutton for punishment. I don't know what it is. I will watch it knowing it's gonna make me gag, and I will fuck. Dude, I can fucking
I know. Oh,
literally make me gag thinking about. My eyes are watering.
yeah.
I don't know. You know
Change
me
the
with
subject,
eyes.
guys.
But again, like it's coming back to certain things. Like Fulci is my favorite director, and he's got this fixation, like a lot of Italian directors, with punishing eyes.
Yep.
There's so much eye punishment and shit. I'm just like, oh, and it kills me every time to see it because I have this phobia of eyes. Like anything comes near my eyes, I freak out. Like I'm one of those blessed people that doesn't wear glasses, and I don't think I could handle it because it's, I can wear sunglasses and stuff to a point, but I wouldn't be able to fuck with eye contacts and things like that. I would just be screwed.
Well,
I'd be blind my whole days. Like I wear sunglasses for a purpose because I do have really sensitive eyes and like I squint a lot and stuff. So I deal with that. But man, having to wear glasses to see would fuck me up. Guaranteed.
I think I might have to go get glasses. I've noticed in the last 2 months that
That's
my
all.
vision is getting really bad, like reading stuff now out of the blue.
That's it.
Out
That's
of
how
the
it
blue.
starts.
I'm old. I'm an old fat.
Well, same here, Christian. Your background was blurred earlier to me.
It's you know what? It's really
Them's the
great.
jokes.
You're 40, right? Just over 40.
I'm actually going to be 45 this summer.
Oh, so you're getting lucky then, because they say right about
Dave's 40.
when your eyesight starts to kind of fail itself, right? And
I've always
if you
heard
have good
40.
eyes.
Yeah, but here it is, 45. I guess 44 was the magic number for me. But
Yep.
Pretty good. It's pretty good. Yeah. But that worries me because I'm turning 39 this year, and I'm not trying to convince myself my eyesight it's actually good. Like I'm not squinting because I'm very sensitive lights and shit. So
that's why I couldn't watch A Clockwork Orange, and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre freaked me out because all these insane close-ups of her eyes, and the whole sequence in Clockwork Orange. That's what terrified me as a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I get a little misty-eyed sometimes.
Oh.
Zing.
Very good. You know what? That's the way to bring it in because we're not doing we're not reading the shit. We're not doing it in honor of Brandon. We're not reading the synopsis. So that's how we do it. That's how we did it last week. We're talking about the yeah. Because Brandon has read it every single episode since
he has
one. So yeah, I can't do it.
Let me say something about Brandon really quickly before we launch into this today, because my son and he's never seen the Clerks movies because he's only 15. I can't let him watch that. I just can't do it. Sucking 37 dicks. I can't do that to my son.
In a row?
In a row. Hey man, I was 14 when the first Clerks movie came out and I watched it.
Dude, I was a kid when I saw it as a dad, and I'm doing a good job, and it's one of those things where I'm like, I'm going to wait till he's like 16, 17, but I showed him the Clerks cartoon. And have you seen the Clerks cartoon?
It's amazing. Gold comedy.
It was so ahead of its time, but he loved Randall. He loved Randall, and then I was like, wait a minute. Brandon from Exploding Heads is Randall, and he's like, wait, so Dave Z is Home Alone, Brandon is Clerks. What's Christian? I was like, I don't know. He works at a fucking circus. I don't know what Christian is.
Randall is a good description of Brandon, actually. That is.
It is.
Funny.
I've heard that before. Somebody has said
They're both Jersey boys. Yeah. Jersey boys.
Yo, but check it out. Moodz, you said you were 14 when you saw Clerks, right?
Did it come out in 94?
90.
What am I?
90.
No, I'll tell you when it came out.
Or is it
94 sounds about right.
92 or 94? Here, I'll check it while we're recording.
Yeah,
I remember
was
the girl I
92.
took. I'm trying to think the girl I was dating because I went on Christmas Day and I saw Clerks at the theater. 94. And I'm going to say that 94.
94, okay.
It did come out in 94, yeah. Because Kevin Smith I know he was either working on the idea that he did a little bit of student work at, the Vancouver Film School and stuff.
Dropped out,
which is
movie.
Yeah, and went and did that shit and stuff. That's pretty cool. Actually, my buddy Nate actually graduated from that school too. So
really,
Kevin was still talked about, from going there and stuff. Kind of a legend.
Snooch to the nooch.
So,
but
pretty interesting.
You were 14.
So 94, yeah, I would have been 14, and I'll never forget it. Actually, it was actually my best friend at the time. He's still my best friend. He pops in. We pop it. He'd seen it, and he's like, "Dude, you got to come over and check out this fucking movie." And I'm like, "Okay." So he pops it in, and I'm like, "What the fuck is this? It's in black and white." Remember, I'm 14.
Yeah.
Right, I'm like, what the? I was just.
You still have that beard.
Shocked. Yeah, no.
It's just stubble at that point.
I couldn't grow facial. I swear, I couldn't grow facial hair until I was graduated. I probably didn't start till I was 1920. I was
Whoops, kicking over
but
beer bottles.
when I filmed,
You made up for it.
I'll never forget it though. I was like watching this thing, going, "What the hell is this?" You're 14, seeing a black and white modern movie. That's I was like, "This is crazy," but
which is total dialogue, but. I was in film school
really
at the time,
man.
or university, taking a film course. That's more accurate. And this movie, I loved. So Kevin Smith, I love the fact that he did it like Robert Rodriguez style. They just, $7,000. El Mariachi, Clerks. He maxed out a Visa card to make the movie. I think the budget, I think it was more around a 30,000 or whatever. And I just love that, like a real style. They just did it, and I'm like, that's what I want to do, and it never did. But that's what I love about that stuff. And so they're very influential at that time. So I loved Clerks. I loved Mallrats, and I actually prefer the theatrical cut of Mallrats to the one that's the director's cut that has all this extra subplot. It's a totally different movie.
Huh.
If you ever do see the director's cut version, it's a totally different film. But I like the cut of the theatrical more because it's funnier. It's a funnier film. And then Chasing Amy was a personal favorite for a long time.
I've dated some lesbians before. That's a hard one to watch.
What's your opinions on Dogma? Because I think Dogma is brilliant.
I do too. I've only seen it once, but I love it.
Really brilliant when it comes down to the screenplay. It's impressive.
You're talking about wives. I don't mean to cut you off their moods, but when at this point I wasn't married. I actually hadn't even met my wife yet. My dad came up to me. My dad came up to me and said, I heard about this new movie called Dogma. I'm like, yeah, it's Kevin Smith's new film. He's like, want to go see it in the theater? I'm like, yeah. So my dad and I went to see it. And when the shit monster came out, I'm just like,
smoke that fool like it ain't no thing.
Yeah, man.
He loved it though. He loved it. And like, I mean, that was a good movie too. Like he was trying different shit. Jane Silent Bob was like, how did he manage to make a big in-joke movie?
Yeah,
but for the masses, like I mean, that's really what it was. Like a big fan film.
Brandon knows him.
It's funny to the majority of people, it's still a dick and fart joke. But if you actually break the core down, dude knows a lot about fucking religion, almost too fucking much. But if you know anything about Kevin Smith, he grew up like that. He understands and just kind of he puts it in there perfectly, and it's written so brilliant. I'm like, holy shit, dude, this is blowing my fucking mind. Like how you can make a dick and fart joke with that type of content in the middle of it. Blew my mind.
Well, he still impresses now. I mean, I got out of it maybe because even Clerks 2, the first time I saw Clerks 2, I kind of thought it was a misfire. But then I rewatched it and I liked it a lot more the second time. Like I laughed, don't get me wrong, but I just thought like at the time I wasn't a big fan. I never saw Cop Out, but then Red State, and Tusk, and like pretty much everything since. I think he's been on point. Like I've enjoyed everything.
Well, Cop Out was just a director for hire thing, wasn't it?
Well, you guys did hear the rap battle that he and Jason Mewes had. Jay and Silent Bob did a rap battle against one another. And you know what? Let me just I'm going to take this because I know I started the Kevin Smith talk because of making fun of Brandon's voice. But like JP actually thinks he could win me in a rap battle. Like if we put 16 bars against one another, that is some audacity of that young man to think that is something he could do. But then trust me, he doesn't listen to Exploding Head, so he's never going to hear this.
Nobody does. We know this.
Oh yeah, if nobody does, what's my show? Shit.
Everybody loves.
You could have had the wrap off tonight if he came on early.
Maybe he'll show up and we can put him on.
I was kind of banking on it. I didn't write anything. I should have done some some of that.
We could have done it together, man. We could have done it together.
No, man. Yeah, Moodz. Yeah, we gotta collab on some rap stuff. But like, okay, so I know I'm the one who got us off the rails with the Kevin Smith talk because it's such a good topic. But you know what I heard about Kevin Smith? Just one last fact is he loves The Mist 2007.
You know what's actually funny, man? If I just turn my camera right outside this room here, right outside my whole.
Oops! I hit the mic with my face. I
literally have a framed Mallrats poster in my basement.
Well, because that was a cool ass poster.
I just want to throw that out there.
Is it the
yes?
Is it not the one that was like the videotape? Is it the really good like when they did the DVD, the collector's edition? The one good thing about it was the old school like art done poster.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, that's an awesome poster.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
I'll say one thing: I've seen every Kevin Smith movie just one time only, except Clerks, which I've seen like 6 or 7 times, and Mallrats, which I've seen 3 times. So anything else, I don't have an honest opinion because I've only seen them all once, but they've never been bad. Of course, I never watched Yoga Hosers, and I don't plan to, but that's another story.
That was
so what I was getting at was this. Moodz, you said you saw that movie at the age of 14, right?
Yes.
Now, did you see it? Did you see it with your father?
No.
Okay. Could you imagine watching that with your father at 14?
You know, my dad is very odd. He's got a very sick sense. He's got a very sick sense of humor. And I mean, here's a great example of my dad. So we're driving somewhere one time. This is a couple years ago, and it's winter time, and it's like minus fucking 30 here. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but Christian knows what I'm talking about. It's cold as shit. So it's like minus 30, right? And we see this dude. Oh shit. He's in a wheelchair. Okay, you know where this is going. He's in a wheelchair. And he's, wheeling himself down the sidewalk. I'm like, this is insane. My dad looks over him and he goes, well, at least his legs aren't cold.
Oh.
Like, that's his fucking humor. He loves dark comedy and humor. So
it's getting misty up in here.
It is getting misty.
Are we doing it? Are we finally going to get into it?
Yeah, let's get into it. Let's get into Misty like we were getting into Christy. Right.
Ooh.
I've been watching Paranormal Activity for the past couple weeks, so I got Christy on the mind. You know, is it Christy or is it? Well, they're both.
Yeah. The Christy was Christy the sister?
Yes, Christy was.
Oh man, nothing. I don't have anything to say about that. But
Part 2. What do you mean?
yeah, no, I love it.
Okay.
I've never seen 5 in Ghost Dimension. Well, Mexican one in Ghost Dimension.
Oh, you must see Marked One.
guys-
No, and
You know
I-
what's strange?
I'm
I've
saving
never
that
seen
for a
Pat-
future show of another show I'm going to take part in
yeah.
later.
Okay, because it's all Hereditary. There's so many comparisons to the guy that did Hereditary watched the Paranormal Activity series and said, "Hey, I'm going to take that and I'm going to expand a little bit more on it." There's so
Okay.
many similarities you won't believe it.
You know
But
what's
anyway.
funny about that too is I was talking to because you know I'm name dropping like crazy. Mike Lee who wrote Dark Summer. He's in the Horror Corridor Facebook group, and we were talking last night, and I was like, "Yo, Hereditary took a page out of your script for Dark Summer. If you remember the ending of Dark Summer, which I don't want to spoil because we're not spoiling that because that ending fucking rocked. But you know, hail Payman, but also hail something else in Dark Summer." And I was like, and he was like, he felt me. He felt me.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought it was the
Yeah.
only one that actually liked that movie.
Dude, I shouted you out. I know like, you don't listen to podcasts either. In fact, I think he thinks that we're all on an episode of 22 Shots right now.
we're the special guests.
Yeah, we're the
host.
guests. He's like,
Yes.
"Hey, yeah." No, but yeah, no, I shouted you out, and my son and I covered Dark Summer because this is The Mist, and we also covered The Mist too in episode 5 of Horror Corridor, and then episode 14 we covered Dark Summer and some other movies, and we shouted you out because you were like the only other person who knew about that and the Schroyer kid.
Wait a minute. Is Dark
the
Summer
short-
the one with the kid from It Follows and he was on
Yeah.
house arrest? We talked about that on season 1 on this show. Okay. all
Dude.
right. Nobody remembers. I know. No one.
But Dave, I pace. Do you not hear? Whenever I come on the show, I'm always shooting out in jokes. I'm sorry if I offended tonight. I'm gonna hang
You
up.
know what? I remember you guys actually talking. Who taught? It wasn't a
Hang up.
joint thing. Was it part of your round robin reviews or something?
It was. We all talked about it at one point or another. I think,
I'm thinking
Okay.
of Cruel
Pete saw-
Summer. I was thinking Cruel Summer.
That's what
I
I
don't
was
think
thinking.
I've seen Dark
Because I
Summer.
remember. Yeah, for sure. I thought it was pretty good, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was, not hyping it up, but I was letting people know it was worth a watch and stuff. But I never heard anything back, so I don't know if people watched it and disliked it or said "fuck Moodz, he's got terrible taste," but who knows? I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe people didn't like the ending.
I don't remember the ending.
Well, I like The Mist has an ending.
Yes, let's talk about The Mist and its ending. Yes.
My
I
God,
love how
my crappy
he
segues.
He derails us and then
No, I
segues
derail
back
you, and
into
then, and
the
then the illusion of getting you guys back on the rails, and then I'm just like, hey, what about hey, what do you guys think about Indonesian politics?
No.
You know, it's so bad. It doesn't even seem to me that we're getting, derailed and shit. Because this is like a normal episode of 22 Shots. We are the king
It's true.
of just going
Yeah.
off on shit. Yeah,
It's true. You guys are
yeah.
the kings. Of
But at
pages.
least we understand it. At least we understand it, and we know that. We accept it.
Yeah, I mean, if we all didn't mind recording for 5 hours, we could keep sidetracking all night long.
The
But
22 Shots of tangents and horror, man, for sure.
Does Mood seem godlike now that we don't see him as as video? He's just in my ears.
Yeah, he's just the voice in our head telling us, he's like, Watson,
Yeah.
dump that 22-year-old. She's not good for you. And I'm just like, Moodz, I don't know. He's like,
It's
dump
weird.
her.
It's weird. I think it has something to do with when there's 4 videos
me.
going on, someone's always crapping out.
I don't know. We had 5 last week with no issue. I just don't get it.
Yeah, that's weird.
I don't care. I'm happy you're here.
Except
Even
Nudie
if I
sounded
don't
like
see-
he was like on AM radio.
Wait, Nudie was on that last show? Oh, I would have hung up.
Wait until you hear it.
He sounds
Wait
like he's at the
until you
space station doing it. It looked like he was too if you look at the video.
we had
Keeping
Nudie
true
in
to
the-
the NFW quality.
Yes.
You got me, Nudie. You come at me, bro. Make a meme of me. He's already done it 1,000 times. I love him so much.
Yeah, he's good stuff.
He-
But
he-
yeah,
yeah.
don't get misty-eyed about him though. Come on, it's okay. You know.
Let's
I'm
talk.
stealing
Let's
it.
talk the Mist. Let's talk the Mist 2007 then.
All right. How about those posters the guy's painting on the beginning? Pretty cool, huh?
Who is that cowboy? Huh?
Oh, the gunslinger.
Yeah.
The gunslinger, man.
Man,
Hank?
yes, no, absolutely, dude. I was such a fan because this movie hit in 2007 when I was at the height of my Dark Tower obsession. I was reading the books. There was a site you could go on back in the day that might still be up called Roadmap to the Dark Tower. Homies, I was on that thing, and it tells all the connections of all of King's works to the Dark Tower and in which order you should read them. I read them all, and I am in the throes of Dark Tower obsession when this comes out, just hoping they'd go there with it, and they did. So when I see Roland up there, I'm flipping out. See, you guys were talking about wives earlier. Well, I had a wife back then, before she died of cancer.
Oh.
That's not how that went. That's not how that went.
Guilt tripping me 20 minutes later.
She did get cancer. She did get cancer. She didn't die from it though. I mean, she's rock and roll. She's a good lady. Anyway, this is a true story. My life is messed up. Anyways, wow. She was like not down with this movie, but like I'm elbowing her like skinny blonde ass, just like, dude. Like, that's Roland the Gunslinger, and there's the thing in the background. She's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not very interested in things you like.
See,
that makes sense.
I'm with Moodz. I thought it was Clint Eastwood, too. Did you say Clint Eastwood, Moodz?
Gunslinger was modeled after, Roland the Gunslinger was modeled after Clint Eastwood. That's why they naturally chose Idris Elba to star as him in the movie. Anyways, moving on. We got cancer. I said something about race. I'm going to just leave.
Did you do a line of Coke right before that?
No,
I had a couple beers.
It's me. I bring it out of him. This always happens.
Oh my! You know what? Dave really does. God forbid if I was ever on a podcast with this guy, just us two, it'd be madness.
Oh, it'd be fucking horrible. Oh,
But yeah, the posters. So the storm is happening. So the movie opens on. We realize that our main character is an artist, and he does like Hollywood poster art, and he's making his artwork, and then a storm is coming, or a storm hits.
Brewing. Yeah.
So what else is sitting there? I missed it this time around. I actually rewound it for a second. Obviously, the Clint Eastwood poster or painting, and the thing painting or poster, whatever you want. What else is there?
Gosh,
because there's one beside. Like I rewound it and then it flashed read on it twice, and I was like, fuck, I'm gonna catch a case, man. So if I keep rewinding that shit, but there's
I thought you guys would remember.
There's definitely some more posters or paintings there.
Yeah, there's 4 total.
And I feel like are Easter eggs. Like this kind of ties into the thing a tiny bit, I mean, it's pretty evident what's going on there, but there's something else there. Do you know what it is, Watson?
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can get.
I just looked up my notes. I don't have. I'd probably have to go find the Horror Corridor episode 5 notes, and God knows where those are.
Because I swear the other posters or paintings, whatever you want to call them, are definitely Easter eggs. They probably tie right into the general core story here. So. Yeah.
Wait,
Moodz, you just blew my mind right now because I didn't even think of the Thing poster as relating to the content of the film itself, and it absolutely does.
It does.
Yeah. The isolation, the creatures. Spoiler alert for the Thing. There's like this thing in it.
Yeah,
Man,
the unknown.
Good job.
Unknown. Yeah, exactly. The storm. Yeah, the storm. Everything. Yeah.
Both
Lovecraftian.
Oh,
boom.
Dave,
everything
from the East Coast to the West Coast.
The mist, the mist
Boom.
is basically the thing.
And that ending, like I said, it would have been very Thing-like when we were talking earlier. And I totally forgot about the Thing poster at the beginning as well.
Yeah,
that's really trippy, guys. Christian, because man, if that actually had been the ending, whew, mind blowing.
I'm trying to get the beginning here, but
the ambiguity is too thick there. It's crazy.
Thick like the mist. Yeah.
Oh, like the mist, yeah.
And so we get that storm that hits our David Drayton, played by Tom Jane, and he was fresh off The Punisher here. Is
Maybe
that right?
I've never seen The Punisher, but Thomas Jane's one of my favorite actors.
Yeah,
dude,
that's
it's
the
a
good
neat
Punisher.
movie.
Oh
yes,
man,
thank you, Moodz.
It's a violent, bloody one, man.
He's in top form there.
There looks like there's a painting of, sorry for cutting it off there, but looks like there's a painting of a woman or someone's like cowering behind a grave or something with like what looks like monsters or possibly angels or demons surrounding it. And it just sort of glides by that to focus more on the Thing poster and the Clint Eastwood gunslinger. There looks like something that looks similar to something from It. It looks like a red balloon.
Oh, that's right. That's what my wife said. She pointed out, she goes, little red balloon. She goes, that's It.
Okay, so
Wait,
it is
no,
It. I didn't want to say, I thought there was something of a red balloon. I wasn't 100% sure because I kept catching the flashing. I didn't want to have like an epileptic seizure rewinding that shit, but I thought that was it, but I couldn't relate it though. So I
You
didn't
guys
write
are
it down.
blowing my mind already.
I had no
tonight.
idea if that's what it was. I just didn't want to sound stupid by saying it, but thank you, Dave.
Well, yeah, dude, there was a kid in the picture, and there was 2 balloons, and one was red.
Yeah.
So take
So
that.
okay, so I wasn't tripping out then. All right.
Yeah. You
And
know
it's
what?
very quick, and then it cuts to the storm. So, but those are there's another poster in the back, but I can't really make it out.
Mm-hmm.
And how about this? The Thing, written by Carpenter, obviously. He also wrote and directed The Fog, and this is The Mist. Yeah.
Yep.
Hey,
It's a weird thing, but hey, I threw
we
it out
go.
there.
I even randomly have that written in my notes that The Mist and The Fog would be a great double feature. I don't know why I even wrote that down, but it is, though. It really is.
It totally would be. It totally would be. Dude, I saw some mist or fog today. I don't know what it was. I was working and I was driving over this body of water and on this bridge, and I've never seen this shit before. I've driven over this thing thousands of times on my commute, and for some reason there was all this shit coming at me. And I watched the mist yesterday. I was like, wow, it was kind of creepy. I want to stop and take a picture, but
It's
I
probably
couldn't.
because we had such great weather. You guys get a bit of a heat wave, not heat wave, but it was
Heat
warmer today.
wave! Yeah, it was a little warm in the last couple of days.
We're gonna blast it with a snowstorm this weekend. Where I'm
Funny.
going with it is it's cold at night, and because of the heat, it's probably just the mist coming off of the water. There
Okay,
you go.
you sound like the guy's wife in the movie who knew everything about fucking weather. She goes, "Oh well, this is happening over here, and this is going on, and are you sure it's because this weather came in here and this front over here?" I'm like, "What the fuck is this girl a fucking meteorologist or
Yeah,
what?"
that's it.
You're right. Yeah, because so the storm knocks he brings his family into the basement because the storm's hitting. Knocks a tree, knocks through the window. He's like, okay, got to get the family safe. They go in the basement, wake up the next morning. They're surveying the damage and they see the mist, the titular mist across the water. And yeah, when she says that line, Dave, and I always laugh at that myself. Just like she's just like, and here are my meteorology degree. when two fronts meet. Yeah.
That's why he's
What
like,
the hell?
I just want to get out of here, go to town.
Yeah.
I gotta
Right?
get away from you.
And how about
by
when
the
we meet?
way.
You go, Dave.
No. I think you no, because my part doesn't come next.
Okay.
I'm going.
How about when
go.
we meet the lawyer neighbor who with the
Yep.
fallen tree, and his first line, he's just like, he's just like, God damn it,
Motherfucker.
yeah,
Cocksucker.
sucker. I was dying, and my
Dude.
son and I just always look at each other at that part and just die laughing. It's good stuff.
You know what my wife said when we were
Dude,
watching?
that's me with my chainsaw too.
Thank
Exact
you.
same words.
That's me with anything. That's me with a pencil sometimes. I'm watching
Pencil, Dave's like revving up a pencil, just like cocksucking motherfucker.
battery, a light bulb, you name it. No, like my wife even said it right to my daughter.
Damn, this
And,
number
like
two.
my daughter never hears me say that stuff. Very, 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 very.
Oh, my
rare.
son
Oh.
too. Don't listen, Skylar. Shut up. Okay, go ahead.
So when dude was going off, motherfucking and cocksucking and everything, my wife says, "Oh," she goes, "That is your father, Francesca. That is your father." And she's right. And then my daughter blows me in. She goes, "Yeah." She goes, "That's what he called Ginny a few weeks ago, my cat." I fuck, because she ran in the garage. It's 6 a.m. I'm trying to get ready to go to work. I open the garage door, and Ginny is my baby. I love her. She does nothing wrong. The only thing she does wrong is every time I open the garage door, she wants to run in the garage. And I can't just let the cat stay in the garage. She'll get hurt, and there's shit's in there. So I'm getting ready to go to work at 6 a.m. I open the garage just for a second. The fucking cat runs out, and I go, "Cocksucker!" I was,
This is stressing me out.
She's getting ready for school. So
There goes
Anyway.
I'm torn with that character because I kind of love the way they introduce him, and I like that they don't really spell it out until a little bit later why there's tension between them. But I'm a little perplexed by the performance of the lawyer. I find it very odd the way he plays the role. I don't know if it's just him.
At which point?
Like, what do you mean? You
Yeah.
don't think he's high class enough, or?
I think it's his acting.
Which
But-
is interesting because
yeah.
he's actually a really good actor. You know,
I
pretty
know.
much everything you see him in, he's really good. I mean, I thought he did really good when he was calling out the curse words, cocksucker and motherfucker. I thought it was good.
No,
Those were
it's
those, you
more.
know?
It's more along the lines of when they get into the grocery store, and I think he starts like not believing, and it's not that
He almost gets into the litigation talk and shit. Like, I'm gonna
Yes.
fucking sue your ass and blah blah blah. He
It's so
turns into
weird.
that lawyer. Yeah.
Yeah, and then maybe that's it. But I know that's his character. But I don't know. I every time I watch it, his performance or his character irks me a little bit. And maybe he's fine. Maybe he's doing a great job, and it's just but his character irks me.
Christian, do you think it has something to do with the fact that he's deliberately turning a blind eye to what we all know, that dramatic irony when we know something a character doesn't? Do you think it's part of that? Because even when he walks out the door, he has that chilling line, and man, God darn it if I could remember what it was, but where he's just like, then I guess we just go out into the mist or whatever, and they walk out there and never to be seen again. Do you think it's that sort of character logic that's bothering you, or is it the performance of the character logic?
I think you probably nailed it with the character logic.
Because it is frustrating when he's just like, he won't go to the dock to see the
you know, I was rewatching it. I had a problem with that too. I'm like, okay, you obviously know as a viewer that this is a very fucking serious moment, right? There's some serious shit going on here. Okay, you have evidence at this point that there is something out there with tentacles because they've literally cut off the tail of, or the end of one of these tentacles. Why the fuck didn't they just use some physical force and be like, motherfucker, listen up. We are not fucking with you. This has nothing to do with our past, our suings, our litigation issues, blah, blah, blah. There's something fucking going on here. We're not messing with you, dude. And just physically put him back there just so we can see. Right? Like, I mean, I'm just thinking this the whole fucking time.
And I think that's what I wanted because it was driving me nuts. So something's working there because it's building my frustration because he refuses to believe, quote unquote, supernatural. He's like, he even says later, he says, there is something happening here.
It's all stemming from their past, right? He literally thinks that they're fucking with him because he's an outsider, and that plays into this, man. The xenophobia issue in this film is fucking massive, and it starts with that shit because he's a fucking outsider. Yeah. He's a fucking outsider, and he feels that right from the start. So therefore, his history and knowing it right away, because once they get trapped in the grocery store, everyone separates, man. We have the locals. Everybody that's not a local is kind of shunned. They're doing they're doing their shit. So he's obviously just being like, dude, you're fucking with me. Fuck this, and that's how it goes down. I get it.
Moodz, you're spot on with those New England communities, man. They talk locals and outsiders like it ain't no thing, dude.
Yeah.
Are you saying? I mean, obviously, you're just talking about from the fact that he's not from the. He's like a cottage, like in cottage country. When
you summer here,
counties,
we live here.
Exactly. I think it's all stemming from that small town mentality.
What about racism?
It's definitely touched upon, but I think it has a lot to do with just anybody that was an outsider to that small community, because the small community is how everybody knows each other, and they don't want to accept everybody because they might be a threat. I think that's how this whole thing is kind of, because there's other outsiders that are in there that don't have these conflicts. They're just not accepted into the in-town locals groups and shit.
We're talking tribalism, which is to me, I mean,
well, which even gets worse later on in the film. Like, he's got his little core group that sort of goes with him. And of course, then we've got something that becomes even worse as we approach, like, I guess, at the end of Act 2.
Well, Christian, your frustrations at this point in the movie, it's so telling, because this is where we start to see sense and reason exit stage left in favor of, okay, we do have our sensible characters who are still trying to, there are good, if I may get political, there are good centrist characters. I'm kidding about the politics stuff. There are good, just like free-thinking centrist characters who are just like Dave's over there, who are trying to get by on a certain amount of acceptance of this and that, a little logic here, a little, they're weighing out things, but there's an ignorance they're in the middle, like Tom Jane and his crew. They're your, and I'm not going to talk about right or left or anything. I'm just going to say extremes in one direction or another. We're talking Tom Jane's crew. They are your good middle ground folks who are looking at kind of Hegel's dialectic. You got thesis, antithesis, and then synthesis. One side, and here's where we go from here. Bam, up to the freaking pinnacle of, where the conclusions we come to when we look at the opposites. And there's Tom Jane and his crew in the middle. We've got Mrs. Carmody, who we'll, talk about later, who's on one side. And of course, these people who go out into the mist, led by our good lawyer character, find themselves on another side of that. And nobody's faring well here. And it's a very interesting just example of when the veneer of society falls down. And then what we revert to. It's very interesting stuff. And this movie, it captures it really well in just its little simple There are monsters outside. We're in here. Are the monsters outside or are they in here? Which is it? You know, yeah.
It's one of those cases where, you know, you have a situation with a whole pile of different people and no one has really taken the bona fide lead in this. Like I mean, you can kind of say Thomas Jane's character is there, but no one has taken a stand and like, you know, stood up and been like, okay, guys, I'm going to lead this. This is what we got to figure this out as a group.
Well, Mrs. Carmody wants to figure it out as a group.
Well, she wants to, yeah, she wants to let everybody know her idea of what's going on, and that's it. She's not willing to accept anything else. So she's kind of an extremist to one side, like big time. But yeah, I mean,
she would do it by herself.
Problems. Yeah,
you know? She would do it if she was the only one. You know what I mean? If she had no followers, she would still. You see that scene earlier when she's in there talking to her God and doing her thing, and when Amanda comes in. Yes.
But in true form, somebody that's always preaching like that eventually gets followers. There's a moment in the film where, you know, she's going off about, you know, end of days and, you know, all that shit, all that biblical stuff. And people are kind of following her and preaching a little bit, you know, until it goes the other way. But I mean, that's society in itself, right? You start being real strong about something, people will start to follow you. You can change people's minds like that, man.
Well, they called it. They called it.
And scary. It's so scary, man.
And the fact that I just finished this movie today, and I'm going to call her Claire from The Walking Dead. I think that was her name from. Maybe I'm wrong even on that.
Well, there's two people actually.
Andrea. There's a bunch of
Andrea
from Walking
but
Dead.
She called Amanda on this one.
Oh, there's
so
one, two, three at least.
There's two from The Walking Dead, and there's two from Storm of the Century.
No, there's three. The girl with the short hair that leaves once you walk a lady home.
Yeah, Carol and Andrea. Who else?
And the old guy.
Dale, who runs the old guy.
I'm thinking to myself.
That's not him. It looks like him, but it's not him. That's the guy from Storm of the Century.
Right away, I'm like, fuck Carol. I don't remember what her name is in this movie, but like she's like, okay. I need to get out of here. I need to get home to my 8-year-old. And I'm like, you left your motherfucking 8-year-old at home?
I think that's what you didn't want to be judged. My son's almost 8. There's no way he'd be able to take care of anybody.
Dude, my son just turned 9 on Monday, and he's still not staying home alone. That's not happening. You know, this no Kevin McAllister shit happening anytime soon. Right? It's like, no fucking way, man. But I don't know, man. I was like, fuck, man. You know, whatever.
It is
you left your 8-year-old at home.
Jeffrey DeMond. Jeffrey DeMond. I know it's him because he's also the cop character in the Blob remake, which I love. And he was in this, and then he was in The Walking Dead as well.
I used to think it was him, but then I've watched Storm of the Century so many times, and he's in it, and I'm like, well, it looks like him, but boy, something about him looks really different in The Walking Dead. So it's weird because I used to think it was him, and then I thought maybe it's not him. But I guess it is. Well, he was in The Walking Dead, and he was in Storm of the Century.
Mm-hmm.
And check this out. Durabont wanted, when he was the showrunner for The Walking Dead, wanted Tom Jane to be Rick Grimes.
Oh, that
probably would have been a better choice.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying, like, if you got his buff ass, like, looking at Negan, like, dude, are we squaring up? Is this what we're doing? All right. Let's go.
Rick's a bitch. Come on.
I mean, all right, okay. Wait, so okay. So at this point in the story, where are we here? So we're just facing the disaster. We've got the air horns going off. We see some military guys earlier on, right, suggesting, you know, maybe they know something here, which the novella doesn't really go into, which is kind of cool. And I'm not gonna go in the book, but like it's just kind of curious how they wanted to. The novella was vague even up to its ending, and I think this film wanted to clarify.
I should have read it.
Oh, like a drama-rama?
Yeah. I should have just ripped through it and read it, man. Again, I read it years ago. I have it sitting right beside me. I haven't read it so damn long, but I should have just ripped through it just so we could kind of compare.
Yeah.
But
I read it to my son.
I usually don't like to do that, you know, because I understand when you're making a film, you know, you take the source material and you kind of make it your own thing, right? You know, in this case, you know, putting a better ending onto it, you know, and sometimes it works. Coming back to the whole Stanley Kubrick Shining thing.
So let's also talk about maybe the elephant in the room, which is I usually come down on CGI or CG stuff. But you know what? I won't say this is bad CG. I'll just say that this is dated CG. And the tentacle stuff is handled decently, but it hasn't really aged well. But that's really, really the only bad or quote-unquote dated. I won't say bad. I said I'll avoid bad. dated.
Some of the effects are better. I do like the fact that they, the gore effects and stuff are practical.
Yeah.
They use real blood and, practical. Sorry. But yeah, man, the CG in this is definitely something that I have noted here. And it's pretty laughable, actually, at times. Some of it, I think the tentacle stuff is probably the worst part because it's real close up. The locusts and shit are, the spiders are not too bad. It's not like sci-fi network type shit. But definitely, I 100% agree. I have it written down. It's a little bit, it's not the worst, but it's super dated. I mean, this is 2007, man. I mean, there's mad advancements in CG and stuff. This movie could look a lot better. It's too bad that they didn't try to do a practical.
Thing. Imagine this, the Thing style.
Exactly,
Oh
a practical
my God.
thing. I understand it's a lot more time and budget and stuff. It's a lot more effort to do that. We get this, but then you get movies like The fucking Thing.
Yeah. No,
right? It's a big difference.
In the fog looked amazing. Like the big, big ones looked phenomenal. Mm-hmm. I guess they had budget maybe limitations. I'm kind of surprised by that only because of who's involved.
You know
with
why?
It.
No, I'll tell you what. Because of who's involved with it, it was done for a low budget because he went to the Weinsteins, and this is what he did. Darabont he shot this movie around, and he basically said, "I am not budging on the ending. This ending stays as is. This is the ending I've created for this film. This is what's going to happen." He went to different studios, and everybody wanted him to change the ending. Then he went to the Weinsteins, and he said, "Listen, the ending is non-negotiable. I'm going to tell you this right now because I could make this movie for twice the budget somewhere else if I change the ending for them, and I'm not going to do it." So
that's stand up, man.
Wow.
Yeah. So if I'm going to come here with you,
awesome.
he says, "I'm not going to change the ending." And then they told him, they said, "Okay, but you have to do it on our budget, and it has to be done in 30 days." And apparently it took 37 days, and obviously it was half the budget that they would have, gotten from other studios. But here's what's weird. You know what the CG reminds me of with the tentacles? Dreamcatcher. Every time I see it, I think of Dreamcatcher, and it's another Stephen King film.
It is
With Tom Jane, yeah.
With Tom Jane.
I might have to give that film another chance because I watched that with my wife actually years ago when we, I think we lived in the loft in Toronto still, and I remember we both said, "What is this garbage?"
First half is great. Second half sucks. That's my opinion.
Interesting note about Dreamcatcher. That was actually filmed in my small little city here.
Oh,
yes,
nice.
we actually have movies that are filmed here because it's cheap to film here.
Yeah, well, they filmed The Mist where I live. No, they didn't. You guys are better.
You guys are better. That's how we're judged. Well, they're filmed.
Yeah,
this
that's
here.
how we're judged. Like where our proximity to cool filming locations.
If we just took a minute, there's a million films filmed around your area. Let's face it, man. So
not down here, your area, homie.
Well, there's millions that are filmed in Vancouver.
They hate Washington. Canada is Washington as far as Washington is concerned.
There is some films though. There are.
Yeah. I'm just absolutely,
Super
man.
Troopers.
And you know what? Speaking of filming, I think they filmed all of this where they filmed it in Louisiana, but even Stephen King was impressed that they were able to do a convincing Maine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. He almost drove down. He said it was 6 hours away, and he was going to drive down when they were filming the ending.
Oh man.
He didn't end up making it. There's a good interview on the Blu-ray. It's the special edition, the 2-disc. Well, it's one's a DVD, one's a Blu, so it's not really a 2-disc. But there's some special features, and there's a sit-down interview with Darabont and King, and they're sitting there and they're shooting the shit for like 15-20 minutes, and that's just one feature. You know what I mean? And they have the other stuff, deleted scenes, and
This is the third
making
Stephen
of-
King he did.
I feel like Frank Darabont is he's like the better version of Mick Garris.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna say
Shawshank,
that.
The Green
Yes.
Mile, and this,
Great
right?
call,
And
Moodz.
this, yes, yeah.
Okay, thank you for agreeing for that.
That's fucking hilarious,
Mood.
Moods. Actually, sorry, I was
I
too
have
busy
written
saying
down.
my thing. That's fucking.
When you
hilarious.
said better version, I knew you were going to say Mick Garris before you even put it
You're
out.
not a Sleepwalkers fan.
Oh man, but it's funny because I have it written down that and with an LOL like repeatedly. I actually made myself laugh when I thought of that because I'm looking at his shit. I'm like, man, he started early with The Woman in the Room, Night Shift Collection, and of course, Shawshank Redemption, The Green Mile, and The Mist. And I'm like, okay, that tops everything that McGarris has done. But between those two directors, they've accomplished a lot of Stephen King's material. which is
definitely.
pretty interesting.
Definitely.
But yeah, he's definitely the better one. Why is it that Darabont hasn't done really anything? Well, this is his last feature film that he did in 2007, 12 years ago. Yeah, he did one episode of The Walking Dead in 2010, and he did Mob City whatever in 2013, but he hasn't done a feature film since 2007. And in hindsight, like, he's only done 5 full-length features in his career since '83. So
Wow.
but my thing is, though, he did The Majestic also, which did pretty good. The Green Mile was successful. Shawshank Redemption, like The Mist. Like, these movies weren't, failures. So why hasn't this guy done more work? Because
Dude, I didn't know that.
Maybe he doesn't want to trump himself. Like, maybe he's so, like, how do I top it? Like, he just, like, The Shawshank was number 1 or 2 on IMDb, and it still may be. At one point, Vertigo and Shawshank were doing this, and I think The Godfather 2 and everything would be up in there. And Shawshank's always remained up there.
Damn.
I mean, it's held in high regard. Like, I don't understand. I don't know either, Moodz. That's a good question because maybe it gets in his head. Maybe just is like, I don't know if I could trump it. Like, he had a falling out, I thought, at The Walking Dead. Like, he brought He brought that first season, and he was like, I'm gone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm paraphrasing, of course.
Interesting. Yeah. Who knows? Maybe he'll sign on to do the new The Shining sequel.
Not Sleep with Mike Flanagan and Ewan McGregor.
Yeah.
That could be a conversation for later, but I can sense that will take us so far from the mist.
I always feel like when you see a director that has a filmography, short and sweet like this and hasn't done anything in a long time, I always feel like there's major politics going on there. A lot of times I don't feel like it's the director not wanting to do more stuff. I mean, it could be. Some people just either get burnt out or just, they don't have the love for it. And, maybe he's one of those guys that just doesn't want to do, director for hire type films. He wants to do a project that he's really interested in, which makes a lot of sense because that's my mentality too. I don't just want to do shit for the sake of doing shit, right? I never understood that mentality. There's more to life than money. But this is compelling to me, man. I'd like to know the story. I really would, because it's kind of a hidden gem director that is just sitting there.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Wow.
Yeah.
Damn, look how many people. Check it out. Jeffrey DeMunn, Melissa McBride, Laurie Holden, Juan Gabriel Pareja, Sherry Dvorak, Sam Witwer, and Tiffany Morgan are all in The Walking Dead. Yeah. That's how many people in this movie were in The Walking Dead. Wow. Mm-hmm. That's crazy. Holy shit. I can't believe it. Wow. Well, it was nice seeing Andrea. That's all I know. I love Andrea.
Silent Hill and X-Files back in the day. Do you remember her in X-Files?
I always remember her. She's always been one of my favorites. Man. I adore her. I know, dude.
I'm not big into blondes, as you all know.
Oh, no.
but whoa. And so, okay, what do we think of... Okay, so we're here in the store, and the air raid siren is hit. The catastrophe is starting to go down. We're starting to get this sense of, all right, we get that earthquake. We know probably at that moment the big door in the air with a capital Air has opened, and the things are through. So the mist is through. This thing is going down. The creatures have descended. The confusion's going down. We talked about the tentacle scene. So from here, we get the guy who played Truman Capote, Toby Jones. Remember him? The cool gun shooting stock.
Ollie.
Ollie, thank you. Yeah, we get him, and they're talking about.
He played Truman Capote in what film?
Oh, it was at the same time that Philip Seymour Hoffman did his Capote film.
I was gonna say because like
same year, dude. And honestly, and Philip Seymour Hoffman is one of my favorite actors. Was one of my favorite actors, but this Toby Jones did the better Capote because Capote was a very effete, little dude doing his own thing, and Philip Seymour Hoffman brought a little too much masculinity to it. That's all I'm saying. But
Philip Seymour Hoffman, man, is legitimately my favorite actor for a lot of years in non-horror films. Oh man,
he
killed everything. Oh, Boogie
he
Nights,
did.
Yeah.
He was
Boogie Nights, yeah. Same and Thomas Jane. Same with Thomas Jane in Boogie Nights.
Yes, I was just about. Dave beat me to it.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah.
And so they have that scene in the stock room. Remember that? And they're gonna the kid gets drug out of the door by the fake tentacles. And I think Christian, you were I know that
it
scene
made me
is a little
so mad.
Frustrating. That scene is so frustrating, man. Why?
Yeah, let's talk about this scene, guys, because I'll tell you just my quick thoughts, because you've got good practicals when the bad tentacle looking thing is like popping the the pet food bag. That looks cool. And then when it pops the wound on the leg and on the chest and stuff or whatever, that looks great, but the practical looks great.
Mhm.
The tentacle doesn't. And then when they chop it off, then you get a good looking tentacle. It's like,
Yes. Yeah.
So this is, that's like, I don't have much in this film that is wonky to me, but that's one of those clear scenes where the juxtaposition of the practical and the CGI was a little like too obvious. Yeah. And I think Christian was touching on that. And
I try not to let it bother me, but I have been very critical of it in other movies. So I have to be honest and say, yes, it is.
About what follows that, though, because that is bothersome, and I think we're all on the same page there. But what do you think about what follows that when we get our fellow locals, and Tom Jane's a local too, but he's like a Hollywood local. I was a little confused by that. Like even the locals fight amongst themselves. Everyone is fighting amongst themselves. It's such an interesting thing. Like even like I used to have a like one of my best friends in college was this gay homie, and he hated lesbians. And I'm just like, well, yo, I thought you guys were like all in it together. He's like, dude, why would I like lesbians? I'm just like, all right, homie. I'm
Is
not.
this motherfucker's like straight self-loathing?
No,
Like,
he loves dudes. That's the thing. He doesn't understand women. And so he's just like, all right, you guys do your thing, but like, us guys. So we get this group of, the LGBTQ community or LGBTQIA or whatever. And a PK, there's also PK there, ABCD. And even in this 100% group of in-group folks, you get infighting in that. You can do that with Christians, with Jews. Ask 10 Jews, what does it mean to be a Jew? Ask 10 Christians, what's it mean to be a Christian? Ask 10 gamers.
Muslims.
Oh, yeah, Muslim, yeah. What's it mean to be what you are? And you're going to get 10 different answers.
Can I get more examples?
10 different you.
Yeah, exactly.
10 different Jews, like clones. But I mean, that's like kind of what we're dealing with in that scene where they confront Tom Jane, like I'll kick your ass or whatever he says to him. Like if you keep telling me this stuff, right before it's before they go out to talk about the creature. But I'm trying to highlight the fact that we're getting into a lot of in-group infighting, and that's just very curious to me because I think that's what's at the heart of this film.
It's brilliant. It's fucking brilliant. This is a microcosm of society as a whole. This is exactly what's happening right now.
That's like literally what I have written down. I'm like, man, it's like society in a condensed version. You have everything that even, that's relating to present happening in this grocery store.
Right, dude. And that's what I told my
Really
wife. I'm
bizarre.
like, how could you get mad about that? You know what her response was? She goes, well, when I watch a movie, I don't want to think about that. I just want to enjoy myself.
You know what? I respect that. I respect that in people too, because we watch movies with a little bit of a different angle because we're trying to analyze things. We see things differently than people. And I have people that, that I know in person that listen to podcasts and stuff. They're like, do you ever get sick of like just not watching a movie for the sake of just watching a movie? And I'm like, sometimes I kind of miss it, but I can't help it anymore. I just watch movies and trying to analyze things and figure out things. It's like everything, when I went to music school and stuff and I was doing recording, and when I was on the technical side of it, it kind of ruined listening to music for me for a long time, because now I'm fucking with things and I'm, and even when I worked on films, when I was doing sound on films and shit, it fucking ruined it. Even to this day, I still notice shit. I try to put that out of my mind. You'll hear it on the podcast every once in a while. I'll be like, did you hear that tire screech? They were on fucking gravel. They were on gravel. It's the wrong sound. Because that's what I did. I used to do sounds and movies.
That would drive you nuts. Yeah.
For years, I couldn't watch movies properly because I would be constantly. I wouldn't be paying attention to the narrative. I'd be paying attention to sound effects. I'm like, that's wrong. Oh, that's from the Sony catalog. Because I literally have full libraries of sound effects here that I personally hear in movies still. People don't go out and record and do their own sound effects anymore. You'll hear the same sound effects in movie after movie after movie after movie. It's so frustrating. The same samples. The scream at the beginning of Flatliners. That screen. If just look it up right now. You'll recognize it. It's used in a million movies. I'm like,
The
why
Wilhelm.
are they using that shit, man?
The Wilhelm.
You know, I have it literally sitting on my iMac over here. Like, I have these complete libraries. It drives me fucking nuts. And for a long time, I couldn't watch movies properly. I'm like, that sound effect's wrong. The worst thing ever, wrong gun sound effect.
I love when
all
you
the
put
time.
cannon noises.
Oh, like you're shooting like
And
a
punches.
fucking like a 45 or something. It's like a it's like a 357. You're like, what the fuck? Stop doing that shit, man. I
That
have
would
no
drive you
idea.
nuts. But
It doesn't. But
general
I noticed
public,
that
they
shit.
don't know.
I know that's the thing, and like, you know, I notice all that shit and it drives me fucking nuts. And I've gotten past it. I try not to focus so much on the sound effects and the whole sound aspect of things, but you know, just watching films in general. You know, it's hard not to try and relate it to society because a lot of filmmakers now do shit like this. You know, it's like you can't watch a Jordan Peele film and be like, well, that was about nothing. You know?
Right, dude. Exactly. And that's what I told my wife. I go, you like Jordan Peele's movies? And then she really didn't have it. She goes, well, that's different. That's how the fuck is it different? I go, people have been putting politics in movies forever. I go, matter of fact, I listened to the podcast the other day, Moods, what you wanted, and somebody said, might have even been you, said this is Jordan Peele's version of Night of the Living Dead. Like what Romero did with Night of the Living Dead is what Peele did with Us. And that's what I was trying to tell my wife. I go, you know,
Yeah.
they've had politics in horror movies forever. I go, this is nothing new. But
I think what separates Jordan Peele's movies is the
Amen.
simple fact that you can take his movies for face value and be like, oh, wow, that was a home invasion, blah, blah, blah. You know, but then you can also analyze it to the point where there's ridiculous amounts of interpretation to the narrative, which is really beyond brilliant, in my opinion.
That's
You
what
know?
makes it stand the
Yeah.
test of time. That's why
Sure.
we'll be talking about those movies 10,
Mhm.
20, 30, and hopefully 40, 50
But
years
I
from
have
now.
no problem when
With that.
someone goes, "Oh, I watched Us, and it was a pretty cool, you know, home invasion slasher," and like, you know, that's, you know, the average movie going kind of terminology to describe it, you know, this movie, and I'm like, you know what? I have no problem with you saying that.
no,
But
why not?
Here's my interpretation, but you know, the next person down the line might be like, "Oh, I saw this in that movie," and I'm like, "Of course you did. It's not wrong."
Did your wife feel it was forced, maybe? Because I did not, but I thought, as I was thinking about my wife, I said, I bet my wife won't like this. When it starts getting really religious at the end, too, with the preaching, and she's already got, like, her little kind of disciples, if you will. And I thought my wife probably will say, this is too forced, and it happened too fast. But I feel the movie builds it. They
perfect.
call it out. They say it's going to happen if we're here too long.
Yeah.
And then because of the attack and because of the events that lead up to it, it just puts everything in place.
Well, it
So I
worked
have no
out for
problem
her.
with it, but I'm just worried that maybe that's why I'm putting words in your wife's mouth, but I don't know if that's why.
No,
she
but
thought maybe
still,
it's forced.
Dude, I don't know. I don't know. I just think maybe she made up her mind because the end turned her off so much that she's poisoned to the whole film now. So she's finding more reasons not to like it. And I'm trying to say, hey, what about this? And then I told her, speaking of standing the test of time, and she loves this show because of me, but we watch it all the time, The Twilight Zone. I start talking about The Twilight. I go, how is the ending of this movie that radically different from the Burgess Meredith episode where freaking he breaks his glasses and he has all the book? It's a fuck
Just
you
broke
ending.
my
It's a-
glasses.
Dang it, Christian. You beat me to it.
Broke my glasses. Yeah,
Oddly enough, coming full circle, Jordan Peele doing Twilight Zone.
right, exactly.
Whoa.
So crazy.
It's one of those
Yeah.
it's a ha type of ending. It's fucking great.
Yeah.
And if you want to talk Twilight Zone, look at a classic episode that everybody talks about.
It's
And
the
I
greatest
know
show ever made. in my
it is
opinion.
great. I'm with you, Moods, 100%. The monsters are due on Maple Street. Same type of thing. What people will resort to when put
Yeah,
in,
it's the same
in a
story, actually.
situation.
Eh?
Yes, and this is what I'm telling. I
Yeah.
go, you love that episode, but you don't understand this. So either way, I don't know. But what can you do? That's the comparisons I made, and her mind is made up, and you know how it is with them sometimes.
Yeah.
You know,
With them, those
okay,
wives.
with people. I shouldn't say that. I sound like a misogynist. I do that all the time in the comfort of my own house, and now my daughter's catching on to it, and she's going on 13. She goes, well, what? And now, okay, maybe I am sounding like a misogynist. I can't help it. If I was a woman, I would say the same thing about men. It just so happens to be they're the opposite sex.
I mean,
Right.
and we're
Fair
getting back to tribalism yet again, guys. Like, I mean, you know, I
Yeah.
mean, gentlemen, you know, like begats like. You know, we're in it together, birds of a feather. You know, and I think, oh,
Great
we
song
get
by
we're getting
Black
the
Sheep, by
singing.
the way.
Yeah.
Great
Well,
song.
I'm not
I
giving,
think
we're
that's
not
what-
caving to Marco's demands.
I know. There's no easy way out. No, but that's
Dude, you have no idea how much I bump that shit. Like, I get shit faced 2 a.m. out camping. That song is on 35.
Am I getting my guitar? Is that what's happening? Are we doing this right now?
I love that. It
That'll
gets
be intermission.
just jacked, man. That's the best song ever. The best song ever.
Well, I mean, so
The video
you know,
is even funny. But
the video is so his pants and his hair. No, okay. But so we're talking about how groups of people, you know, do flock together in a time of crisis. And, you know, I mean, this movie, like Dave said, microcosm of society in this situation. And so back to the story, you know, so where are we here? So the kid gets drug out. Now they're realizing something is out there. Something is real. They try to convince the lawyer he won't go back there. And then now we have the scene where Mrs. Carmody, I believe she starts making a stand. Doesn't someone throw a can in her face? Like a can, like some canned soup or canned
Yeah, the old lady. She goes, I got more peas.
I got more.
yeah.
And so we're already seeing, okay, right now the majority's just like, okay, what do we do to leave here? Mrs. Carmody, she's a minority right now, who's about to make a big splash later. And it's just interesting to see the growth of the social groups that arise from the conflict, because now when the lawyer leads his people out with that cool biker, that big biker who's even like, lady, I believe in God, but he's not the type of God you believe in. And then, you know, just maybe not because of any sort of divine act or anything, but they go out into a field full of monsters uninformed and they die. And then that just reinforces this small group just growing by word of mouth. Like she's talking, this religious extremity, this cult, this zealot stuff. And, you know, I'm not always a fan, you guys, of gentlemen, of when and ladies out there listening, and anyone in between. I'm inclusive. No, but of only one type of religious extremist or one type of depiction of religion. But this is just that ultimate example of somebody charismatic being able to grow from a single person praying in a bathroom to getting everybody to go with her ways. And it's a scary thing that I think we're seeing in politics all over the world. Preying on fear. And there's something to be feared out there. And I think that's what a lot of people in society right now, Moodz, you said it. Dude,
small town mentality right there.
Small town mentality, or even just, you know, we look outside of our countries. We look in our countries, and we see these bad things going on, these things that could be world threatening. What's North Korea doing? What's this person doing? Oh my God, what's the orange Trump guy doing? What's Obama doing? What's 9/11? What's this? And you can create a culture of fear and prey off it and get your way. And this movie, like Dave said, when he said it was a microcosm, that's the word I was thinking in my head all night, except I wasn't thinking that at all. So that was a lie. And but he summed it up. And you guys, I mean, it's a picture of, like when Moodz said it's so applicable now, man.
Well, it is, because I don't want to just say it's only happened in the States. Worldwide, you already brought it up. You brought it up. It's happening everywhere, but it's a way to gain this following. It just happens to be that from an outsider looking in, I can very easily point to Mr. Orange Hair and say that's very much a tool that is being used to develop a following.
Oh, sure. I mean, just look at it. You know, I'm about to release my. No, and it's a good example too. And, you know, because of governmental control and systemic control, I am about to drop my episode on a Serbian film, and I give a big history because people don't want to hear about that movie. If we want to talk about endings people don't like, but I am doing a big history
no pun intended.
on. You right? Oh God! Oh jeez! Yeah, I'm about to do. I talk about the politics of Serbia. And I break it down of what angered these filmmakers and why are they so mad. And we're talking about a criminalized state. And I'm going to talk about this in my episodes. It's going to drop probably Monday. And we're talking about this area over in Eastern Europe that's war torn. They are used to death just happening in everyday fashion. Their culture is war. Their culture is like a death culture of, well, I don't know if this Israel, the Middle East, this stuff is going to happen. I don't know. I'm going to go get coffee and my Starbucks is going to get bombed and we're going to have heads flying all over. I mean, it's madness. And so if you're charismatic enough to step up to the plate and maybe you have a few right things you say, man, your following is in the bag. And that's what Mrs. Carmody is she not? And doesn't she do a good job, guys? What do you think of Mrs. Carmody?
Well, dude, I have a whole other theory, and I'll get to it at the end because my theory.
We're gonna talk about that.
I've dropped it before on the show, and I've said a little something online now as well. But watching it last night, I realized that you said something did work out for her, I believe is what you said. It just seems that the things that she predicted was going to happen did continue to happen. Is that just a matter? Is that just coincidence, or in fact?
No, she called everything.
Right?
She called
Correct.
everything, which opens up a whole other discussion.
Yes.
But she is just talking about what you said, Mr. Watson. About I love how we call you Mr. fucking Watson. Like I can't just call you.
That's my name. No one in my life calls me Dustin. No one in my life calls me that. Even when I'm with girls, they're just like, Watson, keep going away from me. No. So yeah, what were you saying?
Call yourself Mister. She gives such a good performance that when there is some gunplay involved, I cheered out loud. This view.
Do you all remember your theater experience? Because people cheered in mine in 2007. I remember this night. People clapped, and I think it was the only time anybody had any happiness the whole movie.
I think it's that ultimate thing of when someone is kind of relaying the truth, it's scary. So when someone does something about it, hence the scared people, they cheer. It's like it's coming back to that thing, a lot of people when they're scared, they do weird things like sing. They do odd, weird things. And I think it's kind of like that one. I think it's kind of related to that. She is calling a lot of the shit that is happening. I don't know if the direct idealism behind this, if that's what they were going for with this.
Well, I think that our characters, our good guys, if you will, are more afraid of mob rule than anything. Is what
well, of course. I mean, small town mentality. I mean, everyone wants to be an individual. They want to try and think for their own and shit. But really, they kind of can't. They kind of can't. But it's an interesting contrast with her, though, and the whole God thing. And I mean, what it comes down to, the military's fucking around with scientific shit, and instead of building, a window into, the third realm, another world, they build a door.
Yes.
Well, and science versus really, you can bring the whole science argument into it, and argue a whole different realm of that because of the fact that they did break through a dimension barrier. And maybe if it was left with the ambiguous ending of them just driving into the distance, it might even give more weight in her calling everything out because it's sort of an apocalypse.
It plays into God's will. If you want to try and play God, it is going to fucking backfire on you. And I think this is what the message is, right? If you try to build a window, no, you're fucking with the natural progression of things. You're going to build a fucking door and the shit is going to repent on your ass.
Yep.
Her character's so important to the narrative here. And I mean, it can be taken a lot of different ways, but when I first watched the movie, I always thought it as her character, spitting all this religious facts and all this type of stuff was just trying to sway you away from the simple fact that it was fucking monsters out there. That was it. But I think it's a little deeper than that, though. It really is. So.
Well, can you get in her head for a second? If you have a religious zealot who's known in her town for being such, I remember when you were all talking about your wives earlier. When I was married, my in-laws were big into eschatology, the study of end times. They were all about it. They like everything that had to do with Christ.
Is that not the most depressing life ever? Like you're studying the end of days. Like, isn't that fucked up?
It made me very sad.
You ever talk to people where they're like, you ever sitting around a campfire, you're kind of having some drinks, and you're like, you ever think about, actually, like, and how you're?
No, I'm thinking about it right now.
That one fucking person that brings that shit up, and you're like, dude, like honestly, dude, I'm one of those people that I don't think about that shit because I know, just like everybody knows in their hearts, they're going to die one day. I don't want to think about how I'm going to die and when I'm going to die. I don't think about that shit. But practicing and studying the end of the world, like that is fuck to me. That seems very. That's a downbeat shit to me, man. I'm not a very optimistic person. I consider myself a realist, really. Like the wife, she's always like, man, you're so pessimistic. I'm like, no, I'm fucking telling you how it is, man. I'm being real, man. There's a big ass difference. End of world, end of day.
Well, imagine this though.
That's crazy to me. That's crazy to me.
Imagine though that you are homie, you are that, like, imagine you are that crazy eschatological. Did I say that right? I'm slurring a little. I'm 6 beers in. Eschatological. Thank you. You're studying end times.
I haven't had a beer. I can't say it.
Yeah. Well, Christian, I mean, come on, let's not compare. Let's not whip it out here and compare like who's the better. No, I love you, dude. No, but like,
no, I can take it.
Oh, gee, no. You would kill me. You would, no, absolutely, you'd kill me with your no. So, but imagine that you are that cinnamon top. You're that. I'm Norma Bates. No. So imagine, oh God, no. Imagine you are that end times person, though, guys, and gals out there, and you're everything that you believe in, whether it's unfounded or whether it's accurate to the book with a capital B, the book, the good book or not, everything that you think in your head is coming true. There are otherworldly creatures out of the mist. There's that Bible verse about the ground opening and the mist, not the mist, but like smoke mist, if you want to interpret that way, and creatures coming out. If your very ideology is coming true in a very real world way, and my God, how could you feel wrong at this point? And so I get. For sure. Yeah, and I get what Mrs. Carmody has to be thinking, and that's why she's praying out there and praying just like, yo, okay, I'm the only one in this room who gets it, because and now never mind that the army did this, that God, I mean, and okay, this is something that we could debate for a while if we wanted, but I mean, it was you could even say it was the absence of God, not God's will, that this happened by man messing with machine. He leaves the scene. He goes out, he's God's cruising the universe, going making other worlds or whatever. We're down here on Earth. We open a door to another place, and we're just like, oh shit, we did a bad thing over here. Dad, help. And he's like, well, I'm doing other stuff. You guys got it. and I mean, you could even see it in a very Calvinistic God is distant way. And but there's Carmody going, all right, I'm gonna lead the people to the truth because I'm the only one in the room who gets what's really going on. The end times are happening. And then how could you not build a following from that? If even in an off sense, she predicts or has some right sounding narrative somewhere in the picture. Shit, there are monsters outside. I'm going to listen to something. I might be more in Tom Jane's camp, but I would listen to some lady saying, well, these are the end of times. And I'd be like, well, there's a fucking 10-foot tall monster out there. These might be the end of times. I think if I'm in that predicament, like I would understand her view, and I probably wouldn't be the one to shoot her in the head because it's not really my style. Like I'm not really just going to go and blast somebody because they're preaching some shit that they believe in. I'm going to be that person that's definitely going to make my own decisions, really.
And guess what happens? The guy that shoots her in the head, Ollie. As soon as he gets outside, he's the first one to go.
So within the reality and the realm that they've created, this all takes place, and it's sort of all playing out the way she sees fit. But then that's why I feel
so is that coming back to God's
ending
will,
would
then?
be better. Well, no, that's why I think. But then the army fixes it.
Or do they?
Well, we see the mist.
No,
we see the mist retract, and we see that they're in there fixing things. But is it fixed?
Well,
exactly. It's not fucking fixed.
Okay, well, I feel like
I saw the monster, a gigantic thing, literally 90 seconds before we saw the arm. So we know that thing is still out there walking around. Unless
blow it up with a jet.
Well, that's it. That's what it seems like you're doing. It's like the mist is clear.
I know there's nothing to tell you that they did anything. It's like the mist just kind of recedes, and all of a sudden everything's all good. It's like
right, dude. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's a little bit far-fetched, right?
And look at the people on the thing. They're not panicking. They're sitting there calm as Hindu cows.
Okay, so Dave, but then it brings up, then they show the girl that left. Want to walk a girl home, or no one wants to go. She's there, and she's pities him, like, look, you should have come with me. That's
so Dave, would you map out for the listeners that film theory? Because I remember when that film theory first surfaced around 07 or 08. I remember reading that, and I remember thinking, interesting. So, and I know you happen to sway that way. So map it out. So what is that film theory saying about Carmody?
I didn't know anyone else had that film theory. All I know is when I watched it, I talked about it here. Oh, wow. That's interesting. I thought I don't want to say I invented it, because of course I didn't.
8 out of 5.
When I was watching it.
8 out of 5.
And 6.75. Yes, all that good stuff. Yes. No, I just was watching it, and I was like, maybe, and it just occurred to me. So I brought it on the show, and some people, said, Dave, you're crazy. Some people said, oh, wow, that blew my mind. But basically, she was right because everything she said along the way came to pass. But then at the very end, she said there's going to be one more sacrifice. We want the boy. We want the boy. Then they go outside. They escape. They escape with their boy. The boy does get killed. Literally 45 seconds later, it ends. So the sacrifice of the boy is what ended this whole thing. And
but why does it have to be the boy, though?
I don't know, because that's what, who knows?
Because technically a sacrifice is a sacrifice, and there was 3 other people that were sacrificed.
In the store, let alone the rest of the state.
He was the only boy. He was the only child in that room, and they had to sacrifice the purest thing. At least that's what her God, or maybe her devil,
for sure,
masquerading as God, is doing to her. And somehow she becomes a vessel where she is calling all the stuff. And if they all would have listened,
I never thought of it like that. Wow.
Well,
I didn't really see it.
She calls the woman a slut. Burn the slut or kill the slut too.
And that's typical, yeah. But she calls her a whore. Yes, and her she said, if I wanted a friend like you.
I don't want to slut shame anybody. Please keep listening.
Listen to Horror Corridor, a podcast dedicated to you ladies out there. Wait, no.
He slut shames everybody.
Yikes.
But she was typical.
Sorry.
She was typical of a Stephen King
bad joke
character. Stephen King religious characters like the mother in Carrie, like the way Ann Wilkes is portrayed, like several. We can go on and on.
Well,
about
are they right?
And Brent is he's the token black guy in the Stephen King novel too, right? Because pretty much every Stephen King story has one black guy in it.
Hell yeah.
It's
there was
weird.
6. There was 6 in this movie, by the way. The only reason I happen to know is because my wife and I were talking about it. She goes,
well, I'm talking like major, like,
I know.
Leading type characters, right? I mean, even though he's kind of there.
We counted 6.
Only half the film.
Thank you, Christian. God, I'm sitting here busting up.
I counted 6 because she said she's the only black guy. I said, no, there's the military guy. Then I wanted to look just to prove her wrong. I'm like,
is that Cocoon guy
one?
black? Is that
Cocoon guy
black?
Characters. I'm talking lead characters, man. Brent is a lead character, but.
No, I hear you.
I would love to know, you guys, what listeners think of that, because I've been familiar with that film theory for a bit, and Dave, you worded it really well, and gosh, I can't sit here and say really much against that because it's pretty laid out. But I guess if I were coming from the other side, I would think about, you all know the saying that correlation doesn't equal causation, because I think that could be the deal here. We've got 2 outstanding variables, okay? Variable 1, Mrs. Carmody calls for expiation to stop the monsters, sacrifice the boy. Variable 2, right after the boy dies, the army comes and saves the day, thus stopping the monsters. But, I mean, I guess kind of where I'm at in that film theory is just because you can make a mental connection between these 2 variables doesn't mean that one caused the other. We got a correlation here, but no causation. I remember when this film theory came out 10 years ago, and while it's like fun, and of course, Dave, you were just thinking about it just in your own head. So I love that you arrived at that conclusion anyway, because it is a good conclusion to come to, just to exercise like a good mental exercise, because it does present the fans or the viewers of the movie with an alternate way of looking at the film as like an Old Testament vengeful God type narrative, which this can very much feel like. But let's just
I don't believe that Thomas Jane's character was buying into this, though, man. I mean, he still has to go through with exercising that sacrifice.
Well, think about this, Moodz. Okay, let's say you're in the military, because exercising that sacrifice. You're in the military squad that's sent out to dispatch these creatures. You're seeing lots of expiation all over the place, all across town. We don't know where this is across town. None of that is stopping these monsters from doing their thing. All of a sudden across town, dad shoots his son in the head, and because a lady in a grocery store made an insane declaration about the kid needing to die to stop the monsters, the tides of wars are suddenly turned. Or maybe in that end scene, the military appeared out of nowhere, in their huge convoy. I guess that's kind of where I can only go so far with that film theory, because I like it as a mental exercise. Like, the boy's death doesn't prove Mrs. Carmody right, but there's an irony there that is worth thinking about in a purely thematic sense, because it's like, shit, the boy did die, and then things cleared up.
Yeah, and then
if he just waited too, it would have been.
But it's more.
Is it though?
But Watson, I told you.
Hey, JP.
More. Yo.
What about the chaos? The fact that chaos is what created all this, created all the theories, the division, and everything else. And maybe what he's saying is if they just waited, if they just stopped, sat back, not give up, but if they just stopped and waited a little bit more, everything would have eventually worked itself out.
Well, they ran out of gas, and they were sitting there, and basically
I'm talking
they
before
saw...
that.
Is that all part of the plan, though? Is there a plan there?
Wait a minute. Now you're confusing
There's a
me.
plan.
I'm talking about the fact of the fear and everything caused all the chaos, even back in the grocery store. All those people in the grocery store could easily have lived. We don't.
But they had to leave because it became mob rule, because she had so many people on her side that there was only a handful of them left. They had to sneak to get out, remember? And then
everybody was on her side because they had nothing. They, at this point in the film, they want to believe in something. So they want to believe what she is saying.
Because what she's been saying was coming to pass.
Exactly. So everybody wants to side with the truth, right?
Cause and effect leading to all these things. If they just stayed, I mean, they really created a lot of their own problems, is what I'm saying.
We've got effect, but we don't have.
There is a lot of
That's
bad
what I really think.
in the film. Okay. I mean, the way I always perceive this film is that there's a lot of bad decisions that are made. Right?
But that's where we're going.
But are the decisions bad, or are they just leading to the cause?
Well, I guess within the moment, that's exactly it. They need answers, but by venturing out, they create more problems, and they make it worse for themselves.
But they had to leave. They had no choice. They couldn't stay there.
If you jump into a tiger cage and the tiger eats you, it's not Jesus.
But I disagree with that. They didn't have to leave.
That's what I'm saying.
But they had to leave.
Think about the boy
was going to die, dude. They had to leave.
And that boy.
So? At that point, they had to leave. But
at that point,
all their actions before that is what created the chaos to the point where they had to leave. And if they just they wanted to venture out because I guess they needed to get the drugs. The guy wanted to die. The guy wanted to die, but they wanted to go get the drugs, and then that's where it kind of creates more chaos. But I'm saying when all is said and done, all the actions, it ended up taking him to the fact where he had to shoot 4 people, and then I guess the goal was to venture out and be eaten by the monster himself. And when we find out minutes later, everything's, I'm going to use resolved. I know we've already said that it's not resolved, but there's a clarity. And all of a sudden, we have survivors. We have a woman that we see at the beginning that gives a look of pity. I've just said there's just, I guess where I'm going with it, it just feels like if everybody just sat tight, it all would have worked out.
Right. From that perspective, correct. If everything we've said about what I was saying about Mrs. Camaraderie being right and all that stuff, if you cast that aside and say that's not the fact and they just would have stayed, that's correct. But you're forgetting one thing. The best way I could say it is the danger inside the store was becoming more of a threat than the danger outside to our cast of characters by the end of the movie.
Even after she gets capped off. I like she was kind of the danger. I mean, when you have somebody that stands up and starts converting everybody, we know this is a fucking problem.
That's true. It
divides people. It divides people. It makes people violent. It makes people just, okay, fuck that shit, right? I mean, you take her out. I mean, you stay put. Could be different out. Who knows?
And Moodz, you're onto something there, because I think this is also a good illustration of how, when you sandwich a lie between two truths, and how tricky that can be. She was calling stuff because, and she legit was, and I'm not taking that from the story, whatever. She was calling certain events as they were, but I mean, if they sacrifice a guy, throw the body out there and the monsters don't come, well, what if it's like, well, if I throw a bunch of meat into a tiger cage and they're full now, they're probably not going to want to come eat for a little while. So I guess I just did God's work. I guess that there is a sort of aspect of, sort of the truth sandwich between lies. And it's a peculiar dynamic with how you can sway people with a narrative. And I mean, that's why I'm not that's why I can't sit here and say, Dave's film theory is BS or anything, or that mine is better. I can just say I don't see, and maybe that's the intention, because, I would just say this. I would just say this. I doubt Stephen King. I doubt Stephen King because it's supposed to be muddled. But I doubt Stephen King or the filmmakers were rooting for Mrs. Carmody being the voice of reason here. I mean, like, that army didn't come out of nowhere. They were across town hours before the little kid got shot in the head at the end of the film. Gunning down monsters, clearing the mist with their flamethrowers, walking their big military convoy, and then they come across this. But
she was never supposed to be the voice of reason because she was dubbed as the fucking crazy lady to start with.
But that's the crazy thing. Is
nobody took her serious anyways.
What happens when the crazy person starts having a certain, and here I am now siding with Dave, like when the crazy person is saying a certain amount of sense.
Yeah,
that's a scary thing, and I think that's kind of the conditions of, like, when Dave said it was a microcosm of society.
Too.
How many
is
times?
Coincidental? Is it coincidental too?
I mean, part of it, but like. It could be, but like, what is it? What does it say about society? Dave said this is a microcosm of society, and I think that is the tagline of this film. When the truly insane person can call 3 out of 4 things, 3 of those things are legit, and that 4th thing is like, yo, that's a scary thing. And then people start siding with that. And I think we all experienced an election recently where we had. Here in America, where the Democrats basically screwed one candidate out of his candidacy to promote the system.
Just because me and Christian are in Canada doesn't mean we didn't experience that.
No, you experienced a ton. I'm just talking about, to the Americans listening, is, you had 2 different parties here who got usurped. I don't think, like, the current president's not a Republican. The Democrats aren't any better because, like, they basically screwed their own party by saying, well, we want this candidate, not this guy who's talking about this stuff. They were both shooting themselves in the foot. The fact that a non-Republican could kick the ass of all the current Republicans in the room, what's that say about that system? The fact that the Democrats would say, well, we got this hopeful here who was, marching with Martin Luther King, but what about this lady here? Don't we want this? And I'm not trying to insult anybody's choices of who they vote for. But what I'm saying is, when you have a system that wants to eat itself, and when the crazy person in the room starts looking good, that's interesting. And I think that this film, when Dave said this is a microcosm of society, I can't stop thinking about that.
That's a good way of looking at it. That's a good way of looking at it.
It's more horrific if she was right. This makes it even more of a horror movie.
Okay.
It's straight evil from fucking jump. That the world is coming to an end, and this woman is the only person that has a connection to fucking what is really going on. She's orchestrating this in a way of speaking. She's the vessel, like I said. That makes it even more horrific and more of a horror movie. That fucking she was calling all this shit the whole time. That's fucking scary.
I like it. I like it, but I think they're trying to go with the fact that she is crazy and she is calling things out, and so she's already developing a following, and then the fear that develops, like that the one guy, the not so bright guy, seems to be on the side of he flips the second he's terrified at this moment because he screams more than anybody in the movie.
He saw his brother die.
That fear is what just leads her to believe, because a combination fear, and she's called out what you've said, Dave. She's called 3 or 4 things out at this time, and
then when the bug landed on her, it didn't kill her.
Well, but then she quoted. You know what? That's what's crazy about that too. So, she quoted, and the Dark Tower 3, where somebody tells Randall Flagg, who is Stephen King's like devil character who goes from book to book. He's in so many of King's books. This character, folks, if you read a lot of King books, there is a character named Randall Flagg who shows up with different names, different faces. He's King's like Satan character. He's in, I couldn't even, if I wish I had a list. I wish I prepared this, but he's in so many, and he's important in the Dark Tower series. And she does reference My Life for You, which is a way of pledging allegiance to Randall Flagg, who in The Stand destroyed that whole world.
Right.
I don't know. If you want, we could even say none of this is God or anything. We could even go into King mythology and say Randall Flagg did it.
Maybe
and all the King junkies are going, yo!
And maybe Flagg.
I don't think so, though. But
is masquerading. No, Flagg. That's what I'm saying. I said it earlier. It could be the God, or it could be the devil pretending to be God, and she thinks it's a God. Maybe it's Randall Flagg.
Oh, Dave.
That's what I said.
So she's listening to a voice. I missed that. So she's listening to some voice. Okay, I got you.
And I think the tagline could be "God hates flags." Sorry.
Hey, yo.
That's a Brandon joke.
So Christian wins this episode. I thought I was going to be the best, the most offensive.
What? There's nothing offensive about that.
No, that's a good joke. That's a solid joke. That no one on this podcast would condone that. Come on. Westboro. Let's get
Shit,
your
I
West.
missed that. I had to run off for a second. I
It's
totally
Oh
missed
no!
it.
Well, Christian just appealed to the Westboro Baptist listeners of Exploding Heads. I'm so joking. Of course, no one condones that on this podcast. Come on.
No, absolutely not. It's
That was a good joke.
I cracked that joke about. Really, that joke stems from my hate of soccer season, and everybody and their mother has international flags on their cars, and I said I want a sign that says God hates flags.
That is good. That was a Brandon joke, dude. What are you doing?
Exactly.
sorry,
It's an
man.
honor
I'd
of
just be
him.
more blunt than that and just say I hate soccer.
Yep.
So
Oh my god. Or football, as you guys.
And this can go right back to the people or the monsters. It just keep coming back to this.
Right.
We created scientists. We created this problem. The religious factor of it is man-made as well, and I think it just builds. It just keeps building on itself. I think that theme obviously plays into the whole thing.
They do touch on it though, man. You know, like these scientists in the military, they were trying to build a window to see what's in the side. They basically built a door, allowed this shit to come in. I mean, why can't it be like that? You know, that's the way I'm actually seeing it. Everything else, you know, it's going on with the religious factor is the perfect way to swage you that this is actually what's happening.
Just like religion, and I hate to say that because
Exactly.
I was brought up Catholic, and I'm still I'm not practicing Catholic, but
it's
my
playing
kids
on
are
the
going through
fact
that.
it's like-
It
Oh, wow,
is that
Christian, okay.
theory. It's that theory. Like, I mean, I have nothing.
Yes.
I'm like a bad Catholic. It's almost like I was brought up this way, but I mean, what are you
I mean,
gonna
if
do?
you're gonna fuck with the realms, and
Yeah,
shit,
like
like it's
most
gonna
of
come
us.
through. It's it's eventually gonna come after you. I mean,
I'm a bad
like
Protestant.
like it kind of did here. I mean, that's kind of the way I see it.
Well,
That's the
so
way-
Moods, what you and Christian are touching upon is kind of like the sort of, I guess, a Calvinist interpretation of this film, which is like, okay, imagine, because the Calvinists, they believe in love and worship God, the divinity, it's all there, but he's distant. He's not part of the machine. He set the machine in motion and pieced out. And so if you even just want to look at this, I mean, because I'm loving where we're going with the divine involved in this, and shoot, that Randall Flagg thing. I wish I thought of that on Horror Corridor 5 when Skylar, my son, and I did this, because that would have been great if I said that without any inspiration. But if you want to think about this from an interpretation of, well, God is far away and we did this to ourselves, and even our man-made political, militaristic, religious, and all these institutions just cracked in the face of this.
See, this is
Yeah,
why you're on the show.
if you want to believe that God
Love
is, if God created, this world in 7 days and created everything, say in 7 days or whatever
A day is, yeah, because you can interpret
or whatever
that,
it is, right? Like, I you go into that for days and days, right? Maybe 7 days.
Yeah.
So
Oh.
if that's the case, man,
6 nights.
then he's created all these alternate universes and things like that. So this is a perfect example of these humans, this military scientists, trying to play God, quote unquote, themselves, not literally God, but they're trying to do something that they probably shouldn't be doing. And, like they said, they just wanted to see into realm 3. What they did, they fucked up, they built a door, and the shit came through. And this is what fucking happens when you fuck with the natural shit that's around us.
Oh, here we go.
It's going to come back to fucking bite you right in the ass. Literally in this case, right? This is an alternate reality that, resides with apparently huge ass acidic spiders and, huge land fucking octopus. I don't know what the hell these creatures are. Locusts, all that type of
So
shit.
many cool ones.
It's kind of biblical. It's kind of biblical, but in the sense that's the contrast between the religious character in our movie and these creatures and shit.
Well, Moods, how could you not, if you were buying into that eschatological end of the world, you're waiting for that, if you buy into that and the monsters show up at your doorstep, how could you not believe it? Like Louis C.K. had that.
That's exactly why she is preaching this shit, because 100% she believes this shit. But I'm watching the film going, and people ask me all the time. Like, I tell people every single day, not every single day, literally. I'm not being literal, but I
He
wear-
goes around Canada just like preaching the.
By the way,
I wear a chain. I wear a
Prophet
chain with.
Moods.
I have a cross around my neck, and people are, and I always tell people I don't believe in God. I believe that there was a Jesus. right? I don't believe in the whole 7-day theory, how God created the world in 7 days, blah blah blah. I believe
metaphors,
in
man. Metaphors.
I'm a very factual person, and when I don't get facts, I question. But I believe in evolution. I believe in the Big Bang theory and shit like that, right? Like I feel like that scientific type stuff is more explainable than creating the entire world in 7 days. Like, it just doesn't make fucking sense to me. There's
not if you're Mrs. Carmody.
But that's my point. So I believe in that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, where across from, I'm like, I believe there was a Jesus. Why? There probably was a Jesus who was sacrificed and shit. It doesn't mean it correlates to how other people believe Jesus was. I mean, it has nothing to do with it. I mean, you can take all your beliefs and believe what you want to. It's all up to you.
Moodz, you should read a book called What Jesus Meant, and it's all about that. It's all about, are we looking in the well, in the water, and seeing a reflection of ourselves when we think of Christ? Who is he? Yeah. What is it more important what he did or what it meant, or like what it meant to us that we think we know what he did? But we're talking about, the kind of the religious aspect of it. And if we get into, I just said aspect again, like I'm Derek Bourgeois, take a shot every time Derek says aspect. I dare you're going to be trashed. Boston Brandau represent. But like, if you think like Louis C.K. had that comedy routine where he said, you guys, if you're pro-life and you really believe that these people are murdering millions of babies, you better be out picketing abortion clinics. Get out there, get your signs.
Before after he's like jerked off in front of everybody.
Well, I mean that's kind of funny, right?
Hold on, that's something else. We'll talk about that.
I like to say you were talking about like the way you worded it, Dave, is great, but like it's like you're looking at an aquarium and we're in there, and that's society, and I think fear builds on this, and then the religion becomes easy answers, and but you could puzzle piece it together, and that's where it creates this following and everything else. It's funny because on the surface it's like a really cool monster movie.
Absolutely. What's wrong with that?
I just think the xenophobia is so relevant today. It's just kind of ironic though, right? Like back in 2007, it was still the Bush administration. Now we're into the fucking Trump, and he's all about that shit, trying to keep outsiders out.
He's not. Wait.
Not at all.
I remembered a wall thing.
He's not trying to build walls and all that type of shit, but it's kind of interesting for all these years. Like through Obama, like that was not really an issue, and all of a sudden, bam, missed. Very, very relevant today.
Man.
Yes. All right, we'll be right back. Peace.
Hey, Andrew.
Hey, Maddie.
Do you like horror movies?
I sure do.
Well, did you know that most horror movies are inspired by real-life horror?
Really? Like what?
Well, take The Shining, for instance. That's based on Stephen King's real-life addictions, or The Purge, which could be our country any minute now.
Oh, and The Strangers, which is based on a real-life murder. People should be talking about these things.
Hey, guys.
Oh, hey, Producer Michael.
Hi.
Well, I hate to break it to you, but somebody already is. It's you.
That's right. We are Friday the 13th, the podcast where we talk about horror in real life and horror in media, all from an LGBTQ perspective.
Because we gay, y'all.
We are proud members of the Legion Podcast Network, and we can be found on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, or wherever your favorite podcasts are found.
And follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Come along with us on this crazy journey, and as always,
get slayed.
We're starting a new segment on Exploding Heads. It's called Fangoria Back Issues. It's like where I pull a Fangoria out and I start reading some articles from there. And
hold on, Christian. Let's talk about this for a second. Because let's like get really into this. You guys have this awesome circle jerk you do, and I'm glad I get to be in the middle of this tonight. But let's be honest about one thing: 2.5 out of the 3 hosts of 22 Shots don't even know what Exploding Heads is.
I know.
JP claims to listen.
That is
so. I've listened to
a lot of. Yeah, I really have.
Oh.
I'm getting blasted. But Jeremy literally has never listened to a podcast ever.
He was on Horror Mafia.
That's the best thing, where I can just ridicule him after the fact on a edit. He'll never know. Yeah. He finds out through the comment section.
Does he leave a listen to your show?
Why would he?
No.
Nothing.
He's like, well, he
Because
says
then you
that.
would
He's
stop
like,
podcasting.
I recorded it. Why would I need to listen to it? I'm like, because the show isn't exactly how it was recorded with the end result. It's a little bit different, dude.
JP said one time
Nuts.
to Jeremy something like, "You love being on a popular podcast without having to give back." I was rolling. I was in my car driving to a job, and I was dying because like you guys were shitting on him. And I'm not saying he didn't deserve it. I'm just saying that's what you guys were doing. And but it was hilarious because JP said that, and I was like, he does like. I mean, he wouldn't like to be on Horror Corridor, is what I'm saying. Actually, shit, he'd probably like to be a douchebag.
Well, it got us thinking after that, though. I'm like, it's
He would
totally
love
fucking
horror
true.
films.
He doesn't like to fucking put in the work and do anything on the show. So
Man, he couldn't be
Like-
on my show. Man.
we're like,
60 pages of notes every fucking.
we're like,
stupid-
Jeremy, what do you do? He's like, he's like, he argues this way. He's like, I watched the movies, and I'm like, yeah, but that's part of the show. That's what everyone has to do. I'm like, what,
Like,
Bare
you want
minimum.
an award for the bare minimum, you asshole.
what do you contribute to the show? I mean, JP,
Love
you know,
him.
after the fact, he does the thumbnails, you know, so I do the editing on the show now. And I'm like, what do you do? And then that's when it dawned on us. We're like, the Jew has to run the Patreon.
Yeah, of course.
And then, of course, we gave him this responsibility. And what does he do with this responsibility? He
Starts a war
starts a
with these
goddamn war. Fucking starts a war.
You guys are
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
the right thing because this is publicity for the freaking. This furthers for Circle Jerk. This is good, you guys.
This is true.
What
He's
I love
right.
is he gave up on the
I'm
segment.
on
So
Exploding Heads right now saying this shit. I'm like, man, after I'm literally doing this. I'm rubbing my fucking head. I'm like, dude, stop it. I'm like, you know what's gonna happen?
It was good
And I'm
fuel.
thinking to myself, and I even said it after not recorded. I'm like, dude, they are gonna overtake us in like 3 weeks. It wasn't even 3 weeks. I think it was like the next week. And
I
I'm
think
like, dude,
Zach
you
threw in $50.
suck, man. Fucking Jeremy, always put-
No, somebody left us. No, Rob Hankins left us, and he made a,
Oh
he
yeah,
made a
that's
comment.
right. He made
Yeah.
a decision. He made a decision about
Oh,
you
that
guys.
is-
I saw that.
Yeah, he made a decision.
Dave, your comments were gold though, dude.
I didn't even
If you
I didn't
notice,
even read it.
I didn't put a comment on there because, like, to be honest, man, the
It's
Patreon is like,
social-
poo.
Oh, it's
To me.
crazy.
Yeah,
What,
it's
what
all
did Rob
good.
say? I don't even know.
It has nothing to do with you, Mood. That's what I'm saying. The whole thing. It's not a Patreon war between Exploding Heads and 22
No,
Shots.
it's
It's a
friendly.
Patreon war between Exploding Heads and Jeremy.
I like it.
No
I
one
like
said
it.
anything about you or
Yeah.
JP. It's his fucking big
I know
mouth.
this part. I want to know what Rob did or said. I don't remember any of this. Maybe I
Oh, this happened yesterday or the day, but last night it happened. He goes,
Yeah,
well,
I saw Dave's comments. Dave
That's
was
comments.
smooth on this, you guys.
yeah, you know. He came up and he says,
Yeah, you know.
Nice. I like that.
Guy. This fucking guy.
He's like, I made a
That's
decision.
me, this fucking guy.
This fucking
Yeah.
guy. He goes, I made a
I'm
decision.
Italian.
I pulled my Exploding Heads. I'm just supporting 22 Shots. He said, and I said, that's okay. I go, if they're your favorite show, by all means. I go, I'm happy for them. I said, that's cool. I said, but keep in mind, this all happened. We were minding our own business. Jeremy's the one that started firing shots. We didn't do shit.
what,
There's
what
like
was what was his Patreon donation?
Huh?
What was his Patreon donation?
I don't know, 5 or 6. I don't fucking know.
Oh, I can't tell him to fuck off then.
No,
I don't know a thing about Patreon, you guys. I would be patrons of both your shows, you guys. It's that thing where I can't learn a new thing and I need to like dive into it. I don't know what the hell Patreon is even
A
doing.
lot of people,
like
a lot of people don't know.
I've gotten like 20 people going, Watson, start a Patreon. I'm like, listen, I don't even put out a show. I'm TGIF. Like don't.
Robert, it's been a long time.
Just
I
wait.
saw Vince the other day. We're like, we got to get a show going. He's like,
You're like
and he goes,
kissing him. You're just like,
it's 8 months,
Yeah,
man.
all family
8
matters
months.
and shit.
I love him so much. I want a piggyback ride from him.
Oh.
Awesome. This
No,
should all be
it
on the
was-
show.
Dave really did say, "Oh, this should." Oh God, I'm so glad it's not. Dave
Oh, it
really
is.
did
So the
say, though, Dave-
Patreon.
oh, the Patreons are seeing this. Well, hey, patrons. So,
So
so
fuck that. All this shit goes on the show. Christian, put this in the
no.
show.
I'll put it in. I'll put it in.
oh shoot, oh no.
It could be on the
But
end
anyway,
of the show.
folks, Dave did say, you know, hey, like you were so cool about if 22 Shots is your show, that's awesome. And you were not being insincere at all because don't we all love 22 Shots?
Absolutely.
Like no one, yeah. So it's yeah.
I was too busy in Columbus to see this. I would have fucking made the comment. Now I don't care.
Boyfriend. Hey,
What
I
do you
was
say?
too busy in Columbus. Yeah, come on, Waka Waka. Let's
That
do it,
was a
Tish.
good Waka Waka. You broke up on me though, so I didn't hear it. That
Oh,
was
was that remixing?
no, only maybe on my end, but it might have been my
Oh, we go
headphone.
out. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's me.
Yep. Are we
I'm
cool?
stealing the segment. Yeah, this all got crazy. Fangoria back issues, new segment on exploding heads.
You're saying when
Yes.
22 Shots doesn't listen to Explosion.
You do realize once Jeremy finds out about this, he's gonna fucking lose it.
It's over.
How
now.
are you gonna
I've been
find out?
bitching it the last 3 episodes.
Why the fuck am I
Comment.
collecting every single issue? Why am I doing this? They're gonna steal my shit.
It's
But
time
it's gonna
to
be a
go.
it's gonna be a much more high pitched voice, very
Yeah,
non-pure.
listeners, start destroying
do
Fangoria copies. Start destroying them, and we can't have him.
I will say though, man, when that motherfucker puts his mind to something, he dials in though, man, because like he didn't have one Fangoria issue when he started that Dead Mail, and he has like 10 to go.
I know
Wow.
he's crazy.
That
out
is
there.
That's what it was.
Compulsive
Dead,
shit.
that's the
I
segment,
love
right?
Jeremy, you
Dead
guys.
Mail.
Let's not even play.
Very compulsive, very compulsive, and I noticed.
He is going to single-handedly steal Carly from JP. Carly said she would marry me on the Woodsboro Brothers
Would she
podcast.
tattoo her eyes?
Honestly, a little bit repulsed by Jeremy, to be honest.
Did you see him?
Who isn't?
I mean, Jeremy is the guy that called her a cunt like 17 times on one top 10 show. Like that,
Wow.
that's his charm to girls. You just think that's funny. I'm like, dude, you just called her a cunt. man.
And he
That's
says
not
the word cooter. That is
Cooter.
amazing.
He
Oh,
says words
something,
like
something
making
about a
it.
cooter. It's like,
Making it
yo,
girl.
I want him to give me a piggyback ride, dude.
Who
Him
says
too.
make it? Who says make it?
Him too, Dave Z.
Yeah.
All right, let's do this shit. We gotta fucking get on that.
Yeah,
So
let's do it.
yeah, we really gotta wrap up this thing. Or we'll go another hour talking about the possibilities of this and that and politics and religion and Mrs. How do you say her name? Camardi? What is it?
Carmody.
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 That name screws me up for some reason. It's like that name Moriarty. See, I can't say it right. M-O-R.
Carmody.
Carmody. Okay,
Carmody.
Carmody. Hey, you know what I noticed this time about Carmody? She's actually a pretty attractive woman, and I didn't notice.
Wait.
it this
Wait,
time.
more attractive than the girl from Body Melt?
Slab.
Oh, nice.
Sorry, Brandon.
And it's like
Slab.
jerking off Carmody, just like being like, well, this is my bank account balance, and this
Oh yeah,
is
who wasn't liking Body Melt? Who wasn't liking Body Melt?
Slab.
guys.
No, we said shockingly it was good. I didn't score it high or anything. I think I gave it like a 6 out of 10. But I said
Girl.
it's enjoyable, but it's just a fucking mess. Like it's not like I wouldn't
It's a
say it's a
weird
coherent movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
That it is. That's what I said. It's unforgettable. You'll look at the title and you'll remember it, even if it is a 6 out of 10.
But there's some
But,
great scenes in it, but
yeah.
Brandon said he was.
Oh,
strangely-
Derek must have been pissed at the 6 out of 10s on that one.
He's like, it's a 10.
It wasn't a Derek review. It was okay. It wasn't a Derek.
Brandon was saying Slap was like strangely attractive. I'm like,
Like Carmody. Dave.
Well, Carmody is. No.
Okay,
Come on.
she is a pretty lady. She is okay. Listen, if I were 34, I'd be hey.
Hey, she's no Andrea. Don't get me wrong.
No,
just
she's no
saying.
Andrea, but if I want someone to read the Bible to me while I'm going to sleep, Carmody.
For some odd reason, man,
She's pretty. I'm sorry.
I don't know what
She's
it is,
pretty.
man, but
Marcia Gay Harden is pretty.
she reminds me of Lily Taylor. I don't know what it is.
Yes, dude. Yeah.
Is it just me? Or everyone's like, who the
I
fuck
gotta
is
look
Lily
at. I gotta
Taylor?
read.
I know
gotta look at
Lily
Taylor
Tomlin.
now.
I don't know who Lily Taylor is.
Lily Taylor. Yeah, you're right. There's something.
Yeah.
There is a little bit of a connection there.
Well, the thing is, it's kind of like that girl in Edna in Friday the 13th Part 3, how they put rollers in her hair and try to make her look old. But honestly, she really is young and she's not a bad-looking woman. It's the same thing with Carmody in this movie. They try to make her sound like she's an older woman, but she's not an older woman.
That's true.
And,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
she's
for sure.
actually pretty. So it's like, but I didn't notice until this time. But whatever,
Ooh.
I'm just throwing it out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know. So what do we got? We got to get into our Jerry Springer final thoughts and our rating. Otherwise, we'll keep going on and on and on. And
We will.
we got a topic to get into still. So who wants to go first? I'm really, really curious about this.
Watson. I want to hear Watson's thoughts.
Want to hear my thoughts? All right. Final thoughts and ratings. All right, here we go. At its core, you guys, this film is all about, okay, man, you guys, I have loved what we've talked about. This was so enlightening to me in so many just it was coming at me. Whoops. Well, there we go.
Coming on you.
I meant at me.
I didn't think Jeremy was here.
Yeah. No. So at it, you guys, the old sound, clickety clackety. I'm Nova Bates. Yeah. Okay, I'm off the rails.
Sorry, Neil.
Everybody. I do this when I get on Exploding Heads. At its core, you guys, this film is all about the dangers that can come with blind ass tribalism. And look, tribalism isn't necessarily a bad thing. We were talking about this before. Like begats like the good book says, birds of a feather flock together, right? In groups, bond together with one another in order to survive and to thrive. Guys, girls, this is the essence of the human experience. But when you venture into, this post-apocalyptic horror subgenre, you're very often dealing with the breakdown of society and humanity. You strip away the facade, the rules, the laws, all the civilized aspects of what makes our whole human dynamic go round. And let's say you replace that with some problem that's worse than anything you could have imagined. And what you've got on your hands is total collapse. John Locke, the 17th century philosopher, talked about human beings living in what he called a state of nature. The idea here is that this state of nature has no government, no laws, no rules. Your job is to just respect your fellow human beings, take only what you need, give what you can, when you can, help when you can, all that, right? But someone comes along, wrongs you, they wrong you. What then? Who deals with that? Do you just wrong them back? Do you sit back, do nothing? Does this person just act with impunity? No. And so we exit the state of nature. We trade it for societal rules, for laws, for governmental protection, or at least the idea of that. Well, in the mist here, the end is nigh. It's here. Monsters are real. The rules and laws ain't gonna do shit. And so we find ourselves back in that state of nature, but it's not the innocent state of nature we originally came from. It's something corrupted now. It's in the way we struggle to maintain some vestige of control, the way we revert, the way we turn to people who believe they hold the answers, even if they're really just as scared as we are. It's a transition into a post-humanity type narrative. And hell, you think these people are going to be okay after all this? Like after the events of the Mist? 9/11 still makes me deeply sad. You want to go back to your waitress job and tell me you're mentally and emotionally coping well with the fact that for a few days monsters from another dimension killed thousands, maybe millions of people, and now everything is fine because the military took care of it? The world ended, and then it didn't. The message here is kind of an oxymoron. It's a contradiction, everybody. People suck, and never give up hope. I'm giving this a 9 out of 10. Despite the small issues I have with aspects of the acting and some portions of CGI, this might be my favorite Stephen King adaptation next to 2017's It. I'm not counting The Shining because I think it's a lousy adaptation but a brilliant movie. And dissect that how you want. Seacrest out.
Holy shit. Who wants to follow that?
You just
Motherfucker.
fucking
Who made him go
shit
first?
I'm the complete opposite. I was just gonna read the notes that I had in front of me that I didn't get to get out on this fucking marathon review.
I didn't write a fucking.
That was an exploding head.
That's the Watson breakdown. As Brandon coined that term. Hey, I love you, B. He won't.
Yeah.
Listen.
He will listen, and most people will listen, and anybody that follows that is going to lose. But no, but it was.
No, not at all,
great.
because I think we're all on the same page here.
What was the rating, Watson?
9 out of 10.
Okay.
Well, you know what, Moodz, your other guest, you please go ahead. And I'm not trying to set you up for. Mine was going to be much shorter.
No, I think we were all set up for failure after that. But so I'm not even going to try because there's no point.
Right.
Just like the characters
honestly,
in this movie.
like every fucking thing I do, I don't really pre-write shit. But
I mean, not pre-written. Kind of. I got bullet points.
He's reading off a teleprompter.
I got bullet points. Come on, I've been talking off the cuff.
Exactly.
I believe you.
Religion and reality can be allies, but essentially can be opposing and super contradicting. I mean, this movie is the reality of that. I mean, what Watson said. I mean, he kind of takes the words out of pretty much all of our mouths, man. I'm also at a 9 out of 10 on this one. It's a great film. It covers a lot of different there's a lot of social commentary that's going on here.
Yeah, man.
I mean,
That's what I should say.
there's a lot of social commentary, but there's also a lot of ways you can interpret it too. I mean, we discussed that earlier. I don't want to go back into that. You know, we even had our personal stance on religion and things like that. And at the end of the day, I think there's a lot of contradiction that goes along with it, and I'll leave it at that.
You know,
Moodz and I both at a 9.
Other than the initial thought process of the monster movie, and then we're talking about looking at us and who are the real monsters, as we joked earlier. It's a real fun movie to try to dissect and throw different options of what it could all be. I've always been a 9 out of 10 on this, and this view, I went up half a point to be getting ever so closer to that 10 out of 10 mark. So I'm giving it a 9.5 out of 10.
You
9.5
son
out
of
of
a
10.
bitch.
Not to trump you guys, only because I don't have a problem admitting that I started crying at the end of the movie. It
I
actually
got
hit me
issues.
hard, man.
I'm honestly taking just a little bit off, man, just because, you know, the effects aren't the greatest. I mean,
That's my
honestly,
only
man,
complaint.
some of the acting
Yeah,
is a little bit
I'm with
here
Dave,
and there,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
it's not a perfect type film. So
Well, and that's it.
5. Nice.
Well,
A
dude.
9.5. I take a little bit
Good
off.
score.
I said that that performance a little bit, and again, whether it's his portrayal or
Yeah.
and the
I
CG
get
a
that.
little bit.
Yeah.
And that's it. And that's and maybe that would be 2 points down, but I'll go quarter off for each of those.
Good
9.5.
job.
I mean,
Oh,
Carmody.
man.
I mean, Carmody is probably, in my opinion, she's the highlight of the film for acting wise. I think she pulls it off quite well. The whole
And
religious
I would
aspect
agree.
and stuff. Yeah. So
she's great. She's
nothing
great.
against Thomas Jane and stuff, but I mean, he doesn't have the impact that she does in the film. Let's face it. When we look at that film, at the end of the day, what do you think about Miss
I think
Carmody
about the monsters and her.
and
And
her?
she's a
Exactly.
monster in herself.
Exactly. And of course the ginger kid from American Pie or whatever the fuck he's in, who gets killed at the docks.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Wait, who's
The
an American
Shermanator.
Pie?
Isn't it the Shermanator?
That's the
Yeah, he's the
Shermanator.
That's the Shermanator.
Holy
No way.
I knew I recognized him.
Well, there we go.
Oh, yeah, no one brought that up, right? Yeah,
No,
okay.
well, we
Boom.
did now. The Shermanator.
Leave it to
The
you, Moodz.
Shermanator, man, the fucking ginger.
Leave it to you, buddy.
Wow, dude.
I gotta hear what Dave Z is thinking. Christian, well, man, that 9.5. I want to hit you with my lips.
Yeah, I don't know where we're going here.
Hit
Yeah.
you with my lips. All right.
Oh,
They're mine, man.
lickety clackety.
Well, I gotta tell you, as far as the rating thing goes, I the only complaint I had was with some of the spotty CG. That's it. I watched this movie and it completely overtook me more than ever before. Where politics and religion, there's even a line in the film where somebody says, "Why do you think we invented politics and religion?" He said they were talking about the division of humankind and what's
Wally
going.
says that. Oh,
He
You're
does
absolutely
say
right.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, that's a good point. Yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
basis of the movie. Yeah, well said, Dave.
Well, it is. Yeah.
He's on it. He's fucking on point. And then he shoots the girl, and then he's the first one that gets killed. And that brings me back to the freaking whole comedy. Maybe she was right, maybe she wasn't. Either way, it's a fun theory. I'm not dying on that
yeah,
hill.
it is. It is.
I'm
Yeah,
not
I'm not dying on that
that
hill
hill.
either. Yeah.
No, and I'm not saying it's one way or the other. I just thought it was an interesting way to look at it. That's all. That's all I'm saying. I did argue for it a lot, but just because I was trying to get the point across, and maybe somebody will listen and say, "Hey, wow, that maybe he's onto something there." So whatever. But I can't get too deep into it. All I can do is read the things I have in my notes that I didn't talk about. I like that she says there's a stern and vengeful God, and then Amanda even says it's a little Old Testament for me. But this still did happen in the Old Testament. Abraham did sacrifice his son. Job had to go through all kinds of things. There was all kinds of things in the Old Testament, and this woman's quoting the Bible. And if that's the case, well, then she's just following suit. She's just saying that her God is following suit. I don't see anything wrong with that. That's what's going on. I dig the whole rope burn thing. Holy shit, to watch those people with the rope burn.
Yeah.
Eesh,
Why does he keep pulling after he gets blood?
I don't know. He wants to see what's at the end of it. Then we get a torso. We get a lower half of a fucking torso.
Yes, the biker.
Oh, dude, it's amazing. Stuff like that. How about the fact that they have more dog food in there than freaking PetSmart? Did you notice?
I I know.
How many
It's
bags
true.
of dog food do they have?
That's a normal thing in a grocery store, man. I worked in one back in the day. You always have copious amounts of dog food.
Well,
It's
they did have a shitload. It was like a fucking army bunker full.
yeah, man. That's actually normal.
That was their sandbag
Oh.
of like dog food.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Right
Shit.
then, that's great. There's some jump scares in this movie. That first giant bug that comes is a great jump scare. Stephen King himself jumped out of his seat, sitting right next to freaking Darabont, freaking in the movie when the bloody hand freaking print came up on the glass. Stephen King jumped,
Oh,
and
that's
of course,
a good scene.
yeah, there are some good jump scares. There's this, there's that. We didn't talk a whole lot about the different bugs and the creatures and all that stuff, but they're
Oh.
all amazing, especially the big one at the end. That thing trips me out every
Yes.
time I watch it. When they're driving and look up, that's downright scary.
And the
That's
way that, and Dave, the way the music
Ooh.
is playing, Dead Can Dance's song or something, Song of Seraphim, something, whatever. Man,
Oh.
is that scene not haunting?
dude, that whole final ride is haunting. When they get out and they get in and they drive by they drive by and they see that the white.
Oh,
When they
the
get
droning
out and they get
organ,
in.
the droning
Oh.
organ playing. Oh God, what a scene!
Dude,
Every time shit
Wait.
hits the fan in this movie, though, it's intense. We brought up a few scenes when that guy falls out of the cocoon and his back explodes.
ooh, and the spiders.
Oh,
Dude, that
Oh.
whole sequence. There are two amazing sequences. The first one is the initial attack when all the bugs get in, which is awesome. And the second is when they go to King's Pharmacy. King, by the way, that's kind of a cool little nod there.
Is it called King's Pharmacy?
Yes, it is. Yep.
Whoa.
Signs on the door. King's
Yeah.
Pharmacy.
Yeah.
Oh, and Dave, I know you're still doing your rating, but do you know that there are one of those creatures? It's like the bird-like creature. When the whole store siege is going on, when the guy's burning, and then Carmody's saying "My life for you."
Mhm.
One of these creatures is ripped straight from the pages. This is a big Dark Tower connection, homies. Straight from the pages of Dark Tower 3. Certain editions have Michael Whalen illustrations, and it's that creature straight from the pages. Like, you can see the illustrations. They took that creature and put it in this movie.
Holy shit. Really?
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, I have the book. My son
But
and I looked
explain
at
to
that.
me when that fucking creature is flying around that grocery store or in flames, flying above all those plastic materials and shit like that, cardboard. Why is nothing catching on fire?
They were lucky, I guess.
because it was
Come
CG
on,
God,
fire.
it's
lucky.
engulfed in
Because
like
it was
it's a big
CG
flame ball,
fire.
and nothing is catching. If you're watching, nothing catches on fire at all. I'm like, come on.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, so yeah, keep going, Dave, dude. You're
Sorry,
bringing
man.
up the points we're all missing.
No,
Dave is doing the cleanup.
Yeah, I got my notes. I don't miss my notes,
Sloppy fuckers.
But I mean,
Sloppy. Never mind.
the final scene and why it happens and when it happens, when they all look at each other, what a dramatic fucking scene that is. When they come to the conclusion that they're out of gas and they have to count the bullets and they're gonna have to take themselves out. That's like watching A Quiet Place. Like, I can't see anybody making a sound when the people are looking at each other, the adults, and they come to that acknowledgement of what they have to do.
And he nods. Oh man.
Oh,
Do you
dude,
think
that
the end is a
whole-
little bit of sucker shit though, man? I mean, I get it though, man. Thomas Jane he's got fucking 4 bullets. There's 5 of them, but there's no argument in there. He's got the gun. He says, "I'll figure it out."
That's
Hold-
his
hold-
character. He has to do it. What, Watson? What?
Hold on, you guys. There's that line where they're all sitting there. And one of the characters in the back, I think it's the old lady, says, "Well, no one can say we didn't give it our best shot." And then the other one goes, "Nope, nobody can say that."
You're right.
And it got
and-
me thinking too when
yeah.
she says it. I'm like, how do you fucking know that though? Like, I mean, it's just shit that people say. It's like no one's ever gonna actually know that
But
they
check this
gave it
out.
their best shot. But I mean, I understand the. the
there's-
irony in
there's
that.
reasoning-
I understand the irony in that sentence,
Yeah.
though.
You guys,
Right?
on
It's kind
episode
of funny.
on episode 5 of Horror Quarter, my son solved the problem. He was 12. He had just turned 12 at the time when we did this. His voice doesn't even sound like the voice he had when he did episode 14 with me. And he said, this is what he said. He's like, David could have put the 4, because we have 4 bullets, 5 people. He goes, we're going to get Serbian film on this. He didn't say that. He's never seen Serbian film. But he goes, what if since the kid's skull would be the thinnest of them all?
I thought
just
that too.
nice.
Yeah.
Just shoot through
Right
his,
through,
hit Andrea, and then or Amanda, and then everybody takes himself out. And so my son, back when he was just turning 12, was like, listen, if we were just doing a little bit of better number counting here and a little better strategy, we could have gotten 5 deaths out of 4 bullets. I'm just like, I raised you.
Did the kid have to wake up? Could the kid
Yeah,
just
thank
sleep?
you. See, thank you. That's what I was saying.
Dave, hold on, Dave.
I was getting to that.
I'm not trying to derail anything because I am derailing this show like mad. You are all the voices.
Well, no,
of
the kid has to wake up though, man, because that's the drama in it, right?
I know.
That's what's crazy about he needs to wake up, and here's why. There's a scene when they're in the store and David and his son are face to face. They're about to go to sleep and they're whispering to each other. And Big Bill says, which is a Stephen King reference from It. Big Bill says, "Promise you won't let the monsters get me."
Yep.
David kept his promise. What?
Right. Boom! I told that to my wife yesterday.
Exactly right. Yep.
That's exactly the word I said to my wife. I go, that's why he had to do that. He had to do it ultimately at the end because he promised the kid, I'm not going to let the monsters get you. And he kept his fucking promise. But it is heartbreaking. Every time I watch it, I hope the kid doesn't wake up because that impacts me more than anything else in the movie. Even him screaming at the end and the realization of what's happened, that doesn't weigh as heavy on me as knowing, being a parent. We're all a parent here, so we know. I'm hoping that the kid's going to stay asleep and he's going to get him first and he'll never know what hit him. And it's sad, but it is. It's the realization of that. To have him wake up, and it happened so quick. You know there was no discussion. You know the kid woke up and it was boom. And that's his final
Well, you
thought.
know there was the original cut, though. The original cut, he's like, "Hey, wake up!" And then
Shut up!
Wow.
Get out of here.
Did you guys all watch this? Did you guys all watch this movie in color?
I watched it in black and white.
I don't like.
Okay.
I know people do love that black and white aspect. I did watch it once and I was cool with it, but I just can't go back to it. I'm just too much
Well,
into the.
for me, I love black and white films, but it was a rewatch, so that I hadn't done in like 10 years or whatever. So I was like, color. I got to go with that.
yeah.
This is
I
the
went
only time I
super
ever
color.
watched it in black and white, by the way. This is my first black and white watch.
What'd you
I've
think?
only ever done color. It lessens the CGI, the wonky CGI stuff,
Interesting.
True.
Okay.
a little bit. That and
Oh,
it
of
does
course.
So, yeah. a little bit. Yeah.
And I'll tell you, there's that one, not the very last shot of the film, but there's the one shot right after he screams, after it happens, and he sits there and it slowly pans. You see the mist slowly going away, and you just about see the vehicle come in. And I'd like a poster of that says the mist, of just that last shot of him sitting there facing it and the thing coming in, and the fucking heartache that he must have felt in that. Oh, it's poetic. It's freaking awesome. So look at this. When I finished the movie last night, can you see this?
It's a big black white screen. Oh, there we go.
Wait, there
Yeah.
it is. If I were to
10.
change back,
Well,
oh,
no,
10. 10
I
out of
gave
10.
it a 10. However,
Dave
because of the
Z, you
CG,
bastard.
I'm docking it a little bit to a
Oh,
9.5.
Okay. I thought I was gonna be the high person here, and I don't even smoke the weeds.
No.
Well, you guys changed my mind in the film. I was at a 6.5 originally.
Oh,
I wish I had that kind of influence on you.
I'm joking.
I can't see your face because you took your camera off, but I was like, you can't be serious.
I want to go up to a
Come on,
9.5 too.
And I literally was staring right into the camera too.
Can I get you to come up on Krampus to at least an 8.5? What do you think?
Come on.
Those
Talk that
fucking
over this
gingerbread,
Christmas.
man. Those
I know, buddy. I know. Anyway, 9.5. I'm done. Is that a Hall of Famer? It might be.
A
don't know.
9. Oh my gosh, 2 9s and 2 9.5. Gosh, I wish I
Yeah, it's
went with a
gotta
9.5.
You guys
on
Hall of
this.
Fame is 28 out of 30 also?
Yes, we have the same one as you.
Oh, did it make it? It made it.
Yeah,
It did. It did.
Boom! I just made it. How about that? Sorry, B.
I'll let B run the math on that.
Yeah. He'll just be like, "Oy vey, I can't believe all this
Well,
stuff I have to do."
there's a couple movies in our Hall of Fame
Thank
that
you,
have
Dave.
Christian and Dave's name or Brandon. Like, I'm not even on the Hall of Fame name. I'm like, the fuck, man.
Glad we could help.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was a very thorough review. In
And
a
yet we
weird,
still
like
watched
we
it
didn't
out.
go through scene by scene, but I think from a thematic standpoint, I think we nailed it. More specifically, you guys nailed it, and I just played off of you.
No, not at all, dude. Christian, don't even shortchange yourself, dude. Never.
I'm just saying that to make myself feel better.
What
No,
about
I
the-
love false humility.
You're gonna get a lot of it here.
Yeah, from me mostly.
Can I say one last thing?
You
Yeah.
can say whatever you want, buddy.
Welcome to Sesame Street. Today's word is expiation.
Yes.
Awesome.
Great. He's a
Brilliant.
good character, man.
And he shouldn't have shot the girl,
Open up the show with that right there. Just cut that out.
right?
And everything else, that's it. We don't even have the review.
And everything else.
His quote, just his
But
beautiful
other-
voice. Yeah.
That's a great part of the film that we never even discussed. I love when he says that, man. It's great.
It is great. So let's do our thing. We're gonna talk about this little thing, about this little thread here. Let's talk about horror movie endings that may have disappointed you. See, we'll set a time limit here.
That's fine. There's 250 comments, so
Yeah. So
But there's got to be a bunch that are the same.
right. It's true. So we asked him, hey, how about a horror movie you loved and the ending disappointed you? What do you got? And Eddie McKenzie said, you're going to hate this. He was talking that to me. He said, but The Witch. I can't really talk about that. I mean,
I can talk about that. Hey, Eddie, stop it.
stop it. That's
Yeah,
it.
stop it.
I don't know
Cut
why
it
he
out.
didn't like it. I didn't like it. He says it wasn't as effective as it could have been. Didn't dig the whole Pilgrim man behind her. Thought you could see too much of him. I will give that. There is a little. I wish he was a little bit more, not showy. I don't know. I can't complain about that movie. Who am I
That's
kidding?
diplomatic of you.
Yeah, I do what I can. And the final wood shot wasn't
I
as
do what I can.
effective. Wasn't as thoroughly effective as they were going for. Well, I'm just going to repeat what I wrote here. I was happier at the end of that movie than I can remember in quite a while. Because I really was. I remember when she rose and she went up there and she had that big smile on her face and she was witchy, witchy, witchy. And she was up there. I was like, I remember watching it the very first time saying, roll the credits, please roll the credits right now. And they did. And I almost fucking shot a load. I was like, you know, Dino says undead. I don't.
It's pronounced Dino.
Dinobots. Remember them shit?
the undead is that the one that zombie one with the brothers directed? What are
Yeah,
the
that's
Spunk
the.
Brothers or
I
whatever?
think, I think it's a fucking what's a New Zealand flick? Or is it
Well,
no,
considered
yeah.
I
Australian?
don't know. It just says then
Yeah.
undead. Does anybody know anything?
I do. I can't remember exactly what went down in the ending, but I remember loving the movie though. So,
All right. Sorry, Dino.
I can't
Yeah,
remember. the ending. Exactly.
I'm gonna probably skewer their name because I'm bad with names. The Spierig brothers, the ones that
Yeah.
ended up doing one of the Saw films or whatever. As
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
And
Oh,
I
okay.
can't remember exactly how
Oh,
the ending.
last
It's
one.
been years since I've seen it, so
Winchester they did as well. Yeah.
Just,
I love Supernatural.
Supernatural, the movie or the TV?
Winchester. That was a bad Winchester. Just
I'm
cut my
an
mic.
idiot.
Cut my
I'm
mic.
you know what,
idiot.
man? I think I actually didn't mind Winchester to be honest. I know.
Brandon didn't mind it either. I think
Yeah,
he
he
was
was
pretty
okay
good. I
with
was
it.
the one that was no, maybe he. I was the one that thought it was a little boring. Visually, it
I
looked
can
nice.
see that. Yeah.
Visually, nice.
I love the real life story of that though, man.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I
that
like
is
that.
some
Definitely.
that
weird
is cool.
fucking shit and like crazy.
Well, who was it that
yeah.
was telling us? It was Eric Webster that was telling us the marketing behind that.
He went there too. Eric's a homie of mine. I love. Shout out to Eric.
Yeah, the
Let's
only
go.
guy that was anything
Oh,
sense
nice.
on that show.
I'd love to check out that house. It's a museum now,
I'm
isn't
kidding.
it? Yeah.
I said Eric's the only one with any sense on that show.
Oh.
No.
Bada bing! I'm kidding.
Well, you know what? Fuck the Winchester because of what Eric said. I said that I really want to go into a store and steal the fucking movie just because I'm so mad at that bullshit. Just because I'm so mad that
Dude,
when
let's
you go
steal
to
it.
Dude, I'm going to. It's just
Okay.
a matter of time. It's just a
We'll do
matter
like
of
a
time.
Skype thing where we show our copies that we stole. That'd be
Okay.
hilarious.
I'll do a Facebook fucking live video and I'll show you. I'll show myself.
I've never
stealing it.
shoplifted. Oh wow, you're next level. Oh, next comment. Sorry.
Will people get mad at me? People might get mad at me if I shoplift, though.
Don't
especially
shoplift, Dave Z.
this is a
We got to
snowflake
uphold the
society.
morality of the community.
Hey, you know what
But
we'll
I'm
do?
doing it for the right reasons, because the Winchester house, when you walk out into the fucking final room, they're shilling everything, and you can't do anything without permission from the studio.
I got it
That's why I
solved.
want to steal from them.
I've got it solved.
Okay.
We're going to use Rob's money that he did donate to us before he left to buy it.
Yes. Yes.
Brilliant.
Before he defected.
Bada boom, Robbie.
Awesome. Okay, we'll do it. Let's move on. Leo Bats, my homie, says Sinister. I've heard people complain about the ending of Sinister. I guess because of the jump scare part, the aspect of the shh and the Bagul coming out thing, thinking maybe it's cheesy, but that's very minuscule to me. I adore Sinister. Thanks to my daughter, honestly, for really turning me on to them.
She was great.
Thank you.
I
guys did a
prefer
good
the
review.
Canal. I'm going to go on record saying I prefer the Canal. It's pretty much the same story, but
I like the Canal.
I like the Canal
I
more.
love the Canal too.
If JP was on here, he'd be screaming at me because we actually talked about this, I think, a couple episodes ago. He loves
like
Sinister, man, more than Canal, but, you know,
JP would be like, "Yo quiero Taco Bell."
yeah.
I even like Sinister too.
Patos locos, no friend.
I like Sinister 2 as well. Not as much as the first
Yeah.
one, but I like it, man.
No. Yeah, it's underrated. It's a shame that they stopped it. I really am kind of disappointed.
Canal's better. It's a better-
I like the Canal. I just don't remember it being
I think
that
I've
much
seen the
similar
Canal,
to.
So I'm going to have to check that out.
I think
It
it was
is.
in
I
my
mean,
top 10 that year.
See,
the core
check it out.
story is it's the same, but yeah, it's awesome.
I gotta watch it again. But Bagul, yeah, what a great character. How about the fact that they were all underwater? When they filmed that underwater scene, they really tied people to chairs and pulled them underwater in that pool. And the guy that played Bagul, they really put weights on his freaking feet and put him underwater for that scene. So
That
all these
freaked me
actors
out, man.
just had to trust everybody that they were going to get him out in time and do what they had to do. Isn't that scary?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's super fucked up, man.
Ooh, honestly, I
It's a
couldn't
fucking
do it.
movie. I'd be like, CG this water.
CG this one.
Yeah, that's scary shit, man. Like I
Isn't
fuck that.
Dude, right. I couldn't do it. I got a big fear of
I
it.
love to scuba dive though, man. I've been scuba diving lots of times, and
I'm afraid of it.
that's a cool ass feeling, man. If you've never scuba dived in your life, it's amazing. If you can get yourself calm enough to be underneath water, breathing,
That would freak me out,
what
too.
a
I don't
fucking
trust the
cool-
tanks. I don't trust
I'm
the
telling you,
tanks.
I'm
That's
telling
a
you, man.
break or something.
Well, I've never had an issue, but I'm telling you, man, it's like this weird. You have this weird sensation come over you. It's like this calm. It's
weird
hard
to
to
get the
explain to
bends.
somebody that's never done it, man. It's like I was kind of worried about it. Like I've never been scared of water in my life, but I'm like underwater breathing. That's fucked up, man. You know. And then you do it. Wow, it's really interesting.
And that's our
highly
scuba
recommend it,
diving
man.
segment of the show.
Maybe someday. Maybe someday.
Dude, I honestly, man.
I want to do
Do
it
it
too. I've
someday.
always wanted to.
Do it. It is amazing. It's so fucking cool, especially when you go down and you're like, I went scuba diving into this lake where this plane had gone down. It was a little Cessna that had gone down to this lake and shit. They actually never found the bodies, which is kind of fucked up too. Yeah, it was weird.
Cool.
And so we're down there, like, swimming around this plane and shit. I'm like, this is fucking crazy. It's such a weird feeling. I love it, man. And just seeing shit calm, like you see fish and like fucking cool, man.
Moodz is like, my sister Mandy Moore and I went down into a shark cage, and we went 47 meters or more down, and
That's apparently what we do over in BC. 50,000, 80,000.
50, yeah, that's cool, man. Wow, I hate getting wet though.
Gotta do it, man. Gotta do it once.
So is he talking about the final? You must. I'm sorry to bring this back. I'm assuming he means the final jump scare. That's what you said, Dave.
That's
For
what I'm
Sinister?
guessing. He just wrote Sinister. That's my guess. I've heard people complain about that before. So I don't know. That's what he said. Now here's another one. Matthew Cockrell says, Scream 4, Sydney should have died.
I remember that comment.
I forget the end of Scream 4. Does that go to a hospital?
You're
For-
never gonna kill Sydney off, man. That's stupid.
Is there a whole segment in the hospital?
Correct. At the end.
I remember
She
hating
gets
that
up
too.
And this
actually.
and that.
I'll
Oh,
agree
I
with
did
that.
too, Christian. I'm there with you too.
I don't remember.
I love Emma, and I'm glad
Oh,
she was there.
boy.
But you think she's killing anybody? that skinny little.
I hated the beginning and the end of that movie, and I usually love that meta stuff, but I hate that movie within a movie within a movie. I thought they killed the joke right away with that. I didn't think it played well at all in that one. I thought it was like, wink, wink, we're right back, here we are again, and it didn't sit well with me. But then as the movie played out, I enjoyed the core part of the movie, but then that whole hospital
meta, yeah,
just felt tagged.
I thought it was so smart. The first time I saw it, I felt like you did. I thought it was too much, and I was overwhelmed by it. But since then, and every time I've watched it since then, more and more, I appreciate it more and more. I'm like, wow, that's very fucking clever what they're doing here. So
I do love Kristen Bell.
I had a pretty good cinema experience with that, man. Oddly enough, man, I've seen all 4 Scream films in the cinema. And like the last one was fucking crazy because people were like all amped up, and it was like one of those cinema experiences where it's like it's all quiet and shit like that, and shit starts going down and people are going crazy and shit. It was kind of fucking movie-matic, man.
Moodz, did you hate the ending? Did you hate the ending?
I don't remember the ending.
Well, there you go. So
Sydney
you couldn't have hated it.
I actually don't remember the ending of it, man. Like I really don't. It's weird.
You couldn't have hated it then.
I didn't do very well.
I definitely, I loved, actually, I remembered loving Scream 4.
I'm with C.
And I was, I'm not a big Scream fan in general. Like, I like the first film. I'm not sucking its cock. I'm not over the mushrooms. I'm not, the sequels or whatever. But part 4, I thought actually was kind of refreshing. It was fun. But then again, it was doing that meta thing to the point where I understand where people are like, fuck this shit, man. They're kind of overdoing it. I get that, but.
It's my favorite sequel, actually.
I know. I remember you saying it.
I didn't really care for part 2 or part 3 either. Like, I thought they were okay. They were entertaining in the cinema, and that was it, And
mine go in the order of the movies. I like 1, 2, 3, and 4 in that order.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Dude, I definitely 1, 4, 2, 3.
Same here.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
1,
3
4,
is
2, 3.
pretty bad, actually.
I do remember the part in 2 where he does the dance in the cafeteria. I'm like, Timothy Olyphant, don't.
He's a fucking jabroni. Yeah.
I think part 3 is one of those movies where at the time they had like free refills on popcorn. I went through like 3 bags. I just kept leaving to grab more popcorn. I'm like,
I'm just here for the popcorn.
It's free popcorn. Fuck.
Nice.
I love that. That's your memory from it.
Right.
Just getting fucking fat.
What do we got, Dave?
So here we go, Mr. Dustin Ray Watson. Pretty much everything where it's all a dream or in the characters' heads the whole time.
And I deliberately did not want to have a movie tied to that because I didn't want to spoil. But do we like that ending in cinema? Are we fine with that in the 21st century? Are we fine with that in the 20-teens?
It's become a tired thing.
Not anymore. No. I'd say I point to Bad Dreams. That ending I don't like, Dave. You just watched it recently. But it doesn't kill the movie for me.
I don't remember the ending, but I like the whole movie.
Yeah,
so I can't remember the ending disappointing me.
About it all being related to the drug that he was prescribing to to them. And so it's kind of a dream-esque.
Well, they're not all bad. Like, I mean, okay, spoiler alert for Fight Club, I like it. Spoiler alert for Identity, I like it. But for every Fight Club and Identity that thinks it through, you get that cliche of, well, we wrote ourselves into a corner. Whoopsie daisy, whoopsie-daisy, and they're just like, well, dream. I don't know. It's all in their heads. I don't know. It was all just a reflection of the psychology of spare me. Just make it real.
Lost TV series.
Thank you, C. God, I want you to give me a piggyback ride.
I never saw it, and that's why. All right. Emma Ensgau said Terrified. I had issues with Terrified the first time I saw it. But 2 more views.
Wow, she went 3 views on that one? Crazy.
Wait, what?
No. She just said Terrified. She just said one word, Terrified. And I think, in my opinion, that I had issues with it the first time, but the second and then the third time, it made sense to me. So.
You guys know what people are missing on that movie, and I think it's a language barrier thing. That creature that runs out at the car is the key to everything. Just watch that scene one more time, and a lot of people are missing who that character is.
Dave watched it 3 times, and he's wetting you.
Yeah. Well, I'm just
Terrified.
When
are we talking about like the Spanish film here?
The Argentinian film. The Argentinian film. A lot of people are missing. A lot of people are missing that there's a creature with a split head that runs at a car in the last couple minutes of the film.
Mm-hmm.
People are missing who that is and what they're saying.
Yeah,
That scene is the reason for everything. Watch it one more time. Watch who that is. Watch their clothes. See what you missed. And get ready to just see a nihilistic, haunting movie where these supernatural creatures hate humanity. I think it's brilliant. But if they don't like it, hey, you know what? I'm just talking over here. I'm just talking over here. It's all good. I'm talking like
That was the
Christian.
horror mafia.
No,
podcast.
it's a fucking great.
A little
movie,
bit of
man.
this. A little, yeah.
Dude. That
Yeah.
kid sitting at the table, man. That's
yeah.
hot
Oh,
shit
that-
right
Oh
there.
my
man.
gosh.
Fuck,
Awesome.
dude, that's one of the
Nightmarish.
greatest scenes I've seen in a long time.
I
But
agree.
when you got
Oh,
just
it's so brutal.
mild spoiler,
Yep.
watch that scene where she runs at the car, the creature with the split head runs at the car saying something.
Yeah.
That's the key to the film. That unlocks the film. Watch it and someone give old Watson, Mr. Watson, a little bit of feedback. I would love to see somebody go, okay, I get you.
Except for you, Mel Swan.
Mel Swan is a problem. I don't want to talk about her.
Uh-oh. It's all right.
Yeah,
Watson's
she's the one I know
on.
in real life.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Oh, and I'm
He's
joking,
on,
by the way, too. I
Oh.
just know she comments on a lot on your page.
There you go. Watson's turning keys and setting people free right now.
Oh,
Shit. All right.
It's 2 fingers deep.
Chris
So the-
Hall,
sorry.
high tension. That ending was just fucking ridiculous.
I
I
bet
wish
the-
JP was here
The
just for
Dustinator
this.
would agree with
Fucking JP, because he would go off like a motherfucker. But if you listen to the Exploding Heads horror movie podcast, episode
guys-
number 20, is it 25? Is it 20? 15? One of
It's
them.
all
fucking
it's
things.
all explained in the first 2 minutes of the film.
that. And you're either
That
going to go
part-
with it or you're not.
The
We
problem
really-
is the ending does make sense. People think it doesn't.
It
The
does make
ending does
sense.
make sense.
That's
I
what-
just don't like that fractured identity thing. I think it makes perfect sense. I think it makes great sense. I just don't like fractured identity endings. That's my only problem with that movie, because I'd rather this guy killed them all. But then they say, nah. But I think it makes sense. And the filmmakers do show it when people say, I hated it because it didn't make sense. No, it did. Just watch.
Yeah,
There's a scene where
Yeah.
a monster is running out toward the car.
With a split head.
The split head. It
Listen to what
unlocks
it said.
everything.
Yeah,
It
I don't
explains
know.
the mist.
Yeah.
Boom.
You
Debbie
sons of
Overly
bitch.
said the devil inside. And that was the one. Because Watson put me up on some shit. He said, I want to know what you think, Dave Z. And my memory sucks. I can't remember shit. So, like, I couldn't even give an answer to a movie. I didn't like the ending. But when somebody else said the devil inside, I said, yes. Because I liked the whole movie. But then at the end, they
that the
did
one-
that thing.
It goes to the website to find out.
Yeah. Yes.
I never saw that, but I heard about that, Christian. Yeah.
Yeah, that
It
would
was-
piss, I didn't see that either. That would have pissed me off, I think.
Wasn't a bad movie. Just
I
a
don't remember
Maybe,
getting to the
maybe I
movie,
did
to be
see
honest.
that. I get them all mixed up because there's the Last Exorcism, that, and I'm starting to get mixed up. That was the one that had the whole marketing campaign with the baby on the street in the crib.
No. That's
Devil-
That
Devil's
was
Due.
Devil's Due.
Word.
See, I'm fucking everything up.
No, but you were right about the website. From what I do know about the movie, having not seen it myself, so I'm definitely someone you need to listen to get informed about this. Is that it does end with, like, if you want more, go to this website. And I think who said that? Debbie Overly.
Yep.
It was weird. The website was Pornhub.org.
Yeah, slash Christian Luciani blowjob.
Yeah. It's weird because I'm trying to do it to myself and I just never get close.
Yeah,
You got to remove your two bottom
yoga
lips, buddy.
posers.
He's
It's
a
weird. I'm closer to
poser.
my balls. Is that weird?
You're like,
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Okay, John Weaver said you'll love this one, Moods. Cemetery Man. I just don't get it.
go
I don't even-
Moods.
Is Mood still here? He might have went to piss. We need his video back on. Not of him pissing.
Or of him pissing. I've been into that
his own
recently
face.
because there's this girl I met at the bar where. Never mind. I don't want to talk about that.
I guess Mood stepped away.
We'll talk about Moods. We'll
Cemetery-
talk about
Cemetery
Cemetery Man.
I got to be honest, haven't watched it for a while. I can't remember the ending now.
I don't want to tell you. It's too spoilerific, I guess. But it's okay.
Spoiler.
We'll see what Moods has to say when he gets back. I guarantee he'll remember it well. Okay, Bobby
Anybody
Harris Jr.
mention- Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Which one?
Oh,
Aha,
back.
right on time.
There he is.
Clickaroonie.
We just took a video of you taking a piss.
Yeah,
And,
we did. It's for patrons only.
can't believe your
Nice.
beard covers it
$3
all.
or more. Fuck you, Jeremy. We got Moodz
Sexy.
Podcast.
Sexy.
Anyway, Cemetery Man. Someone hates the end of it.
Do you like the ending to that, Moodsy Bear?
We wanted your take.
Fuck, man. The ending of Cemetery Man is is amazing.
Thank you. I knew you'd say that. Yes, it
It's
is.
actually brilliant. Like, I mean,
Is it confusing at all? Because this is what he says: "Is I just don't get it." That was his complaint. He doesn't get it.
Yeah,
You know
it's not
what,
like
man?
there's hate. It's not like there's hate there.
No, there's not hate. It just confuses him.
yeah. You know what? I don't want to ruin it for everybody. Even though we're giving mad spoilers and shit, man. It's one of those movies where, come on,
I hear you.
it's an
fair
amazing,
enough.
it's an
Fair
amazing ending. I don't want to ruin it. I mean, because honestly, Cemetery Man is like one of my personal favorite movies of all time. It's literally like in my top 10. You know, I think that.
All right.
I knew you'd have a strong opinion on it. Okay, all right, cool.
It's truly, it's actually truly amazing.
The next film
It really,
was,
it
was
really is. It's
Maniac.
brilliant.
Someone mentioned they didn't like the end of Maniac.
Which
Moodz is
one?
like,
The remake or the?
The original.
I don't have a problem with either. I
Moods
looked
is like, I've never seen that. What is that? Is that the
Well,
one with
the only problem I have with the end of Maniac
Macaulay
is this,
Culkin?
like I just said in our review, I said the fucking stupid ass cops come in there and it doesn't make any sense.
I disagree. The cops would have found out about it. They're on the case, especially in the new movie.
They're on the case.
No, I'm not.
You,
I'm not saying that the cops wouldn't find out about it. It's how they're all of a sudden there.
Yeah.
There's not one moment ever of investigation. All of a sudden they're just out there.
I don't
I
want
mean,
to see
I-
that
there's
investigation. I don't want a fucking giallo.
Exactly. But you have to allude to the fact that the cops are at least investigating this thing, besides the police reports on TV and shit like that. All of a sudden they're there, but like, there's not one moment of, okay, we have a lead towards, this person. It's ridiculous. It's always one thing that is always bugging me about that film. And like, we're talking, Maniac is in my top 5 favorite films of all time, and that's an issue I've always had with it. It's kind of weird.
I don't
Right?
have that issue at all.
It just kind of comes out of left fucking field, man.
Wait, did someone say that on the thread for real? Or was Christian
I was just
bullshitting
No,
us?
Christian's fucking around.
See? He's off the
got
show.
I got a conversation going.
He's off the show. I'm the new editor. It's all fine, everybody.
Well,
This is
Bobby
good
Harris
nonsense.
Don't,
Jr.
please don't.
Bobby said the mist, so we're not going to talk about it. We just talked enough about the
Wowzer.
mist. That's got this whole thing going. A lot of people do
It's
not like it.
good. It's brilliant.
Yeah, a lot of people don't like it. When he seen he was low on gas, he could have stopped at a gas station and siphoned gas from another car. He totally wussed out. That's what somebody said. Anyway, okay. Rob K from Georgia / Buffalo, up from the depths 79. I don't know anything about it.
I don't know
so
that one either. Moods, you know that one?
Oh,
Yeah,
sure.
Moods.
Yeah,
I was thinking
100%. I know the movie, but I can't remember the ending to the film, though. I
Yeah.
mean,
He said
wow.
it's a big letdown. He bought the Scream Factory edition and revisited
Yeah,
it.
it's a Roger Corman film. It's a Roger Corman film.
Oh yeah, shit. I know the cover, but I don't
Me too.
remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh.
No, okay. Well, Frank and Jay Stein said the collection, and I don't remember the end of the collection.
Man. All right. Whatever. Right on, dude.
Whatever. I don't remember. Jamie Mescal said The Village. I fucking love the end of The Village. I can't believe
The whole end,
so-
like they just said, hey, we're gonna just squat here and talk like a bunch of assles.
The Village. Are we
Thank
talking M.
Christian
Shamalama
Jesus
Ding Dong
Christ.
fucking jerk me
Yes.
off right now?
Dude, it's my favorite. It's my favorite movie by Shyamalan. How's that? I don't know why.
Oh, you and the recently retired Jay of the Dead, man. Wow.
Dude, it's great. The first time I saw it, I got mad because it was marketed as one thing and then it wasn't
Okay.
another. But every subsequent view since then, I
So
just take it as the film that it is, and it's
My wife
fucking
loves it
so
too,
the-
for that reason. I'm not on board.
Okay. The Dave Z I saw it in the theater, hated it.
Yeah,
Me
same
too.
Would
here.
the Dave Z
Oh.
second watch maybe help a G out?
I'm
I'm
telling
not
you.
gonna lie, man, and people are gonna hate me
Ugh.
for this, man. But the only M. Night
I don't know.
Shyamalan film I actually really truly like / love is The Visit. That's the only
I
movie
like
I
that one
love.
too.
I
I
did
think,
the visit.
I think that movie was amazing. Split was fun, and I don't know, man.
I really love Glass too.
I remember seeing The Sixth Sense back in the cinema back in '99, and I'm like, okay. I wasn't in love with that shit at all. I was like,
Well, The Happening is probably my least favorite of his movies.
I agree.
But I didn't really give what's that space one he did with?
Last Airbender.
Oh, he did that one. That wasn't all that great either.
After
The fucking.
I
After,
think
was it
Signs
After
is-
Earth? Yeah.
I think Signs is crap. To be honest, I hate that. I hate Signs.
I'm okay with it, but
Yeah. I was okay with it too, but I haven't really watched it in a long time.
I don't know. Okay, Eric Webster says Jeepers Creepers. Such a great movie until the last 20 minutes. I couldn't disagree more. I blow the ending of Jeepers Creepers.
Dude, Eric
Just like
is
Victor
on to something
Slava,
here.
those little
Representing
boys.
is pretty good, man. It's pretty good.
Oh,
What
you
did say?
guys,
Victor Salvavating? Something? What?
Jeepers Creepers was the
self-evading.
No, you guys, Jeepers Creepers was the first horror
No,
movie
that's
I
what Brandon
saw
does over Victor Salva, man.
when I was 17. It was my first R-rated movie I could see legit with the girl who would in another year become my son's mother. When she was 18, I was 17, and
They
and-
waited.
yeah, I mean,
This ain't
hey,
gonna
you
be
know,
statutory
I
rape,
waited
is it?
another year before we decided to have a kid. We were trying to be economical here. Hey, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. No, but dude, you guys, the Jeepers Creepers, I was having nightmares about the creeper because I hated the movie so much. I wanted to see it in a scary context.
the
but-
music too, man.
Okay, no, there are good aspects of it. I hated the
loved it.
ending. I just didn't like it. Felt so sudden to me. I thought I was in the second act, and then it ended. I think if I watch it again, I might be able to. Well, I mean, I don't know how much Salva and I are going to be chilling like villains, but yeah, and you know, death of the author, whatever. I'm not trying to separate art from art right now. That's a different conversation. We blew it out in the mist tonight, you guys. But that's one movie I did have a problem with. So
Oh,
I'm not
watch
gonna
it
lie,
again.
man. I prefer
Yeah,
Jeepers
okay.
Creepers too, man. Especially the
Oh.
scene where all the boys are peeing. That makes a lot of sense.
dude, and were their shirts off?
Weren't you just
I-
peeing on camera?
I actually like. I like part two. It's funny. I
Dude.
like part two more than one as well. And
Guys
Vince
with their
said,
shirts off,
Vince
peeing
called me out and goes,
on the
"That's
bus.
so gay."
No, that's part two.
Oh,
Yeah.
Vince
Part
for the
two.
win.
Vince-
He's calling
Vince
you
is
out
like,
like it is.
did,
Tell
right?
your wife the truth, Christian.
Isn't that part two,
Yeah,
Christian?
it is. And that's why I said
I'm
I like
talking
part
about
two.
part one.
No,
Oh, I'm sorry.
I know. I said
Yeah,
I prefer
part-
part two as well. I didn't know if Moodz was joking or
Part
not. But then Vince
Oh.
called me out and said, "Well, that's the gayest one of the bunch." But
No. I
You wouldn't
prefer
know.
part one. I think the gay shit that happens in part two.
Oh,
is
it's off the- it's off the chart.
excessive. It's excessive. Knowing Salva's fucking history, it's ridiculous, man.
I can't
Like,
believe.
Oh man, he made a whole scene of like a whole team peeing, pissing.
And I was right there going,
Fucking, you can't get,
He's like
you can't
dancing
get
with
any
joy.
gayer
He's
than
like-
that.
"Well, this
Wait,
show's going right down the pisser."
So, okay, so Jeepers Creepers was the
I can't think of Jeepers Creepers without thinking of Bill Casanelli, BC, talking about where did he get that license plate.
Yes, I love that.
I used to talk about
Yeah,
that
yeah.
on an old blog I had back in the day that he went into like the freaking the Department of Motor Vehicles was like, hello, no, I'm fine. No, my fucking wife didn't make dinner on time. Listen, I don't want to talk about it. Can I just get my vanity plate? Be eating you because that's what I'm gonna do literally. Wait, my tabs?
Brilliant.
They're expired? God damn it! No, I paid for my tabs. No, shut up, Cheryl.
Excuse me.
Cheryl, shut the fuck up. I paid for Cheryl. Cheryl, look at me. I paid for my this trench coat. I bought it at Ross. What
It
is
goes
that?
on. It's awesome.
Okay, I'm out of here. See ya. Be you.
Be eating you. Oh, how do you not love that ending? The taken away and then the fucking eyes. What? I can't. God, I fell in love with that movie just because of the first 20 minutes and the last 20 minutes. I really did. The
See, on
middle-
your recommendation, I'll watch it again because I trust you, dude.
Oh, dude, yeah, watch that one again. Man, my God. Okay, Joe Edigio says Sinister, Insidious, and It the TV film.
Oh, Insidious, no. All right, it's him. Cool, man.
I'm okay with those endings. I mean, Insidious, I guess. Sinister, I'm cool with it. I don't really remember the ending. Oh, I know the freeze frame with them on the bike, kind of cheesy, but the worst
Yeah.
ending ever
Yeah.
is the Langoliers. Anybody remember that ending?
That's the first.
Was it like a Toyota ending? Like they just jump in the air and freeze frame?
Yes, it was like six or seven people.
Fighting and then the credits roll.
Hey man, there's nothing wrong with Toyota. Come on.
No, I got a Toyota too. Just I don't go.
So bad. Woo!
No, I actually
Toyota.
work for Toyota.
Hey, Toyota.
I actually work for Toyota.
You do?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
do.
Awesome. Can you get me a discount on my next car?
And I drive Toyotas, man.
I drive 2 Toyotas. Right on.
Wow,
Nice.
look at this.
Got a fucking
Yoda.
yeah. Nice.
Robert
nice.
Dennis says the last broadcast, and I have to agree on that. I remember being very disappointed.
No.
I like that too, but isn't that the one that goes from found footage to then suddenly abandoning the found footage format?
But it didn't make sense. That was my issue, and I can't remember, so I can't go into specifics.
Me either, man. But I remember I always talked the shit out of that film so many times, and like I wish I could remember the ending properly.
I remember
Fuck.
being scared. I remember liking
fucking
it, but it abandons the found footage format. So if you
Is that what the problem is with?
I
Yeah.
think-
It breaks the fourth wall.
Well, that's
but
it, by doing
in a
that.
way that's not clever at all. That's what I.
But to
can
be
say.
honest, man, that's one of the biggest concerns I've always had with found footage. So you're watching a great found footage film, and there's one camera operator, and all of a sudden there's angle changes. It's like, wow, we know that's not exactly, strictly found footage, man. But I mean, it happens in like some of the greatest found footage films. I've noticed that so many times.
Yep.
At least the acting was on point in Last Broadcast. My opinion, that one is, well, I mean, it predates Blair Witch,
Blair
right?
Witch
Yeah.
by a bit. Yeah,
It does
by
by a year,
depending, yeah, I think they're at the festival.
which is still not the first film. I mean,
No, not at all.
definitely is. Cannibal Holocaust is definitely probably the original one, but Last
horror,
Last
yeah.
Broadcast definitely gets overlooked, and it's a great fucking film. I mean, as far as I remember, I didn't have a problem with the ending, but
Watch it now. You will. I promise you.
really,
You
I haven't
watch-
seen it in years. Yeah, it's one that I always talk about too. Yeah.
Watch it again because listen, I'm Mr. Found Footage. I love it. I'd love to just blow that movie.
But
But
you
the
have the
last
same
time I
problem-
watched it,
Do you have the same issue when you watch found footage films about just the way shit's edited? Like you can like right away you're like, well, there has to be two cameras.
Not usually. If you can give me an example of a film, maybe you're gonna open my eyes to something that I didn't notice before.
I mean, there's lots of films where all of a sudden the angle changes. Like there's supposed to be one film or one person holding the camera, and all of a sudden the angle's changing and shit. I mean, it happens all the fucking time, man. But my biggest problem with found footage films is how the acting is never seems authentic, man. Because found footage is supposed to be reality, right? Natural.
right.
Yeah, there's a trick there where you have to act like you're acting normally, and that's
Exactly. But
acting normally.
people are
Acting normally
they're
is
always
hard.
overacting or underacting or doing whatever. But it's like, no, there's a lot of times in films where people are just not being natural.
Well, Moods, what about
Found
when
footage,
music
when you're
is
on
introduced?
camera, when someone's filming, when you're being filmed, what are you doing? You're being yourself, right? That's what
No,
you
I'm
expect.
looking at the camera right
That's
now,
the
and I'm being a
authenticity.
total dick.
Yeah. But to be honest,
Whole
if,
show.
if this was one of those fucking stupid ass internet fucking movies like Unfriended or whatever the fuck they are,
Aw.
I'm not.
Sorry.
I'm just making fun because Jeremy likes Unfriended and shit.
I like it. It's
So
good.
do I.
Part 2. Have you seen the new one? Have you seen the second one?
No, I haven't. I actually
Oh,
liked
you
it.
might
I
like
liked
it.
Unfriended, but
My
the
son
den
and I
was
watched
the
that,
den
and-
was the
yeah.
den was the shit though. The den
Oh,
was
the
so
den
yeah,
is
that's my
indeed
jam.
the
so
shit,
much
yeah.
fucking better, so much
Yep.
better. But my point is,
People hate that
acting
ending.
in found footage films is supposed to be natural. A lot of times it doesn't come off like that. You feel like
Yeah.
there's always something wrong with that, and that's you can't sell the shit like that, man.
I
Bad
love found
acting.
footage. To me, the acting seems like they're real people, which is why I like it. I don't know. It's fucking weird. But I'm sure you could come up with an example and say, here's a movie, watch this, there's bad acting, and then I'll look at it and I'll watch it. I'm like, yeah, you know what? He's right. The acting is bad. I don't
Diary
know.
of the Dead, Dave, where we put in this music because
Don't
we
fuck
wanted
with
to.
my... No.
Dude, you just
No.
fucking so much shit, man. Because I was just about to say, like, honest to
Oh.
God, man, I just watched Diary of the Dead again, of course, because I'm recording that shit
know.
on Sunday.
Right.
And that's a great example of a film that has really, really fucking bad acting in it, and it's supposed to be a found footage film.
Well,
You know,
the
if-
music part's what bothered me. Like,
Oh,
like,
the
hey,
acting is
like scoring
atrocious
music,
in it.
because I've written recently wrote a little theme song for a podcast I'm gonna do later after I end Horror Corridor, and I wasn't sitting there going, okay, my friends are dead. Let me do an F sharp here. Yep, they're dead. They're dead. Yep. Okay, let me do a synth line here. Yep, they're still dead. Yep, synth line. Oh, this synth line is popping, dude. They're dead. I'm playing. I play Dave. Go on.
I had no problem with Diary of the Dead. Man.
Diary
Diary
of
of
the Dead.
the Dead is the real fucking
This
title
guy.
of that. 100%.
Aw.
It's
I'll
horrible.
watch it again. I trust Dave. Yeah. All right.
I didn't mind
No.
it the first time. All
No.
joking aside, it's
I
the,
love how you won't trust me, but man, that movie.
No,
shit.
I do
Spoiler
trust you.
alert,
I
if
do
it's
trust
limited
you,
to
but
22 shots, but holy fuck, is it bad?
well, I can't wait to
Survival,
hear your
that's
show,
what I
buddy.
hated.
Can't wait to hear your show, man.
No, I'll be listening like always. Okay, let me move on. Lucas Dickinson, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
What?
How do you hate the ending of that?
Stretch, I guess, going nutsy with the chainsaw.
I don't think the ending is horrible. I just prefer the first half of the film. I know me and Dave kind of agree on that.
Yeah, we do agree on that. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
I like the
think
whole
you're-
movie, but I think that maybe that is a little weird with her just doing the old Leatherface chainsaw dance on top of the.
Do the dance.
mountain.
It's a tribute. It's a tribute,
But
man.
did it bother you guys? And I see where this guy's coming from. Did it bother you that Dennis Hopper was gonna fuck everything that moves?
He's Dennis fucking Hopper.
Yeah, right? Blue Velvet, homies. You heard the reference. You know what it's coming from. Sorry, Dave.
Blue
I'm derailing.
motherfucking velvet. Yeah.
Hey, man. No, that's cool. All right. Nelson says Army of Darkness. Shop S-Mart. Really?
Christian, go.
The whole
my
movie's
God.
fucking ludicrous, so I can't say nothing.
That fucking ending
I wish
makes the
JP
fucking
was here
movie.
for
I
this
love
'cause
it.
He hates that movie. He hates that movie.
What? Oh, it's fucking awesome. I love it. It's fun. Yeah, it's not so much horror anymore. It's more just action centric. But that ending is fucking classic. Shop smart. Shop S smart. Lady,
Nice.
I'm afraid I'm gonna have to ask you to leave the store.
Ash
Fucking great
rules.
line.
That's all I gotta say.
That is funny.
I
there.
feel it. I feel it. Yeah, I don't know.
That's funny there, but yeah, whatever. Okay.
She's like she's floating doing this. Just doing
Shake,
like the
shake,
Richard Nixon
shake.
piece.
Oh, wait.
All right. Jason Limerick says a Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh,
People don't like that very last shot. I'd never had a problem with it, but that's me.
I don't like
know.
mom getting pulled through the fucking window.
It's a fucking dream. It's all a dream.
Yeah, but it was.
I've never been like the massive fan of it, but I have no problems with it. I know JP.
Right.
Again, that's another film that he would fucking get down on too. But
Oh,
I
okay.
honestly don't have a big problem with it because I agree. It's a fucking dream,
Yeah, dude.
right? So
Dream, dream, dream when
Yeah.
I want you. All right, yeah. Oh, there we go. Marco.
True story,
That's
man.
the
True
duet.
story.
That's fucking brutal.
Brutes
Brutes.
Brutes. Okay.
Ghoulie Muppets.
Mangilio says it. It doesn't say which one. I don't know. It doesn't say which one. I don't have.
I
Spider-
think the
Spider-
original one. Probably the
Spider-
How
original.
does it end? Oh, the final.
The
thing
big
with-
ass spider.
Oh, big ass spider. Yes.
Spider.
I like that movie.
Lava tulantula.
A big ass spider. Yeah. It's like-
That's JP's favorite. Big ass
It
spider.
really is.
That fucking.
They love that movie in Mexico. It's a good one.
yeah, Mexican spiders.
I mean,
all over.
I get it. I get it with that shit. I've never been really the biggest fan of the original and into it either.
Oh, I think the original It is boring as shit.
What?
Oh,
Go
I'm
see.
not a fan of that
Tell
TV
'em.
movie at all, man.
Wow,
The
dude.
acting is fucking brutes,
Aw.
except for Tim Curry.
No, except for John Ritter.
Thank
John
you.
Ritter's at least good in that film.
Yeah,
Christ.
what's wrong with John Ritter?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah, what's
never a
wrong
big
with-
fan of John Ritter.
Oh my God!
I love
Jack
the tenderness
Tripper
in
is a
Dave's
fucking
voice. The
legend.
Dude, I
tenderness.
love John
What's
Ritter,
wrong
man.
with
You ever-
John Ritter?
Yeah,
I was
dude,
never a
Are
Three's
you gonna
Company
tell-
fan,
Are you
man.
going to tell me you're not a fan of Stay Tuned?
Oh, I do like that movie.
Oh, Stay Tuned's
Oh,
amazing.
It's
Hey,
such a
John,
bad
my boy.
movie. No, it's so bad it's good movie. That's a perfect so bad it's good movie with the remote control and they go into different things. I actually thought that was a fun movie.
Oh,
Come on,
it's
Three's
amazing.
Company. Get the
Especially
fuck
the
out of here.
Friends
Never
fan with
Three's
all
Company
the
fan,
phony ass shows. And, oh, it's
Knock on that
amazing.
door.
Stay Tuned rules,
Waiting for
man.
you.
Yeah,
Yes.
Dave.
I know I'm in the
Someone doesn't
minority
like the
there.
end of Hereditary. Scott Allen and my
Oh,
buddy Gary Sullivan.
Don't
agreed.
even get me fucking started on
we
the ending
can't.
of Hereditary because everybody is like misunderstanding the ending.
Preach it.
One dude
Well,
told
here's
me-
what I like. Hold on, let me interrupt.
He's like,
Let me-
it's a fucking. He's like, I don't like these paranormal activity endings. I was like, okay, fuck you. I'm not talking to you, man.
Well, Joe, check it out. My buddy does make a point. He says one thing, and I love Hereditary. But my buddy Gary says
Right.
this. Gary Sullivan
My
says,
favorite film of last year, 10 out of 10, man.
the movie
yeah.
went too far into the supernatural at the end when it was building up as a dark, disturbing picture up until then. He doesn't like how it was a regular dark, disturbing family drama, and then all of a sudden, the last 15 minutes, it turns supernatural.
I will
I
say
can
that
understand that
I
complaint.
can get that too because even though Hereditary is folks, listen to this business. Besides Trick or Treat, which this is my favorite movie of the 21st century. I love Hereditary. you heard my breakdown, or Moodz didn't, but I heard you guys heard my breakdown of that
Watson
movie.
did.
That's
I'm such a dick on this show.
no, and I know, and I was gonna victimize JP. You guys that movie means so much to me. I just showed my brothers that movie the other night. But as much as I have dissected that show, looked into the history of all these things, and dissected everything, you heard it. I could see somebody going, man, that family drama turning into that's a big leap for me. And I don't think that's unreasonable. So
yeah, dude, I'm with you. So at least we're people that can look at that and say, hey, I get it. I don't feel
like
that
sucking off
way.
his mic.
I don't know what
I'm with you, Dave.
crazy Canucks are doing.
Oh,
Whatever.
sorry about that.
You built JP. What did you say?
I said GP. Because
Oh,
I'm
GP?
drunk. Listen, I've had
AP.
yeah. Well,
I can't believe it. I'm laughing.
Grandpa.
It was like two things in a row. Moodz is like, I'm acting like a dick. He's like, yeah, I know. And then he called JP.
yeah, dude.
I don't know why.
Well, JP, come listen to all the times I insulted you on Horror Quarter. Oh wait, you don't listen to that, and you're not gonna hear this. So yeah, let's let the circle jerk continue.
Well, Moodz is on. You might listen.
Oh no, Moodz is something else, dude. Moodz is. I want to piggyback right from that guy. Next one, Dave. Sorry, no, but we can understand how people can be
We're not that
frustrated.
far apart, man.
We're
This could
reasonable
actually
people.
happen,
This
man.
could happen.
We'll videotape it too, and we'll
Sure,
make a
we'll-
podcast out of it too.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Shit.
Okay, Tom Johnson says Intruder. I mean, it's a little quirky, but it's not enough to deter you
Intruder, are
from.
we talking the '89 slasher film?
Was
The
it?
one I
It's
think
kind
of
of like
was-
the same ending of every slasher where the eyes open. I like that because they're the ones that call in the killer.
Yeah, it's cool.
And then they get arrested because they're the only ones alive. I think that's
Yeah,
a
they get
fantastic
opened.
ending.
Right,
But
like
then
the
the killer, then they do the eye open
Like
and
the-
and that part's kind of shit.
Yeah, I dig it though.
The old
Honestly,
DDD.
man,
needs to be on the
Intruder
soundboard.
is one of my. I love Intruder, man. Sam
Right?
Raimi, fuck, come on,
Oh,
it's
dude,
amazing.
absolutely. Intruder's fucking badass. Oh, watch out, Watson. Lee Drake said the stranger.
Dude, some of the best gory kills too, man. Oh,
Oh, I love it.
Oh,
The Strangers.
if Jeremy had been on this show, he wouldn't have appreciated that. He would have been like, "Fuck you,
Yeah.
JP."
no, he hates it, man.
No, he loves the show. He loves the Strangers though, and
loves
like
The
I do.
Stranger.
And, yeah. Well,
The
all right.
Strangers, I've
He
had a
gives himself
different
The Stranger.
reaction to it. I thought it was something different than it was. And last time I saw it, I was like, oh, I like the original. And I thought that it ended this way. I'm a little disappointed that it ended that way. But it didn't take away from the film. I just like a certain type of FU ending. And I thought I got it, but apparently I didn't necessarily get it. But it's okay. It didn't take away from the film as a whole.
For sure. Hey, and you know what? Everybody here, I know we're spitballing about our reactions to these people's reactions. No one's right or wrong here. You all rock. God bless. God bless.
You
Right.
fucking mediator. No, fuck
I
you
realize
guys.
how
if you guys
I realize how many
if you-
times I've said bullshit on this episode, and I'm already fracturing my listenership even more. I need to save face, Moodz. Let me save face.
No, every time I disagree with you,
Please.
you're fucking. Every time I disagree with all these listeners' comments and shit like that, you're fucking wrong. You do realize that you're fucking wrong.
I love that. Next.
Okay, House of a
Some
Thousand
people are gonna
Corpses.
take that totally serious too.
I
like,
love
right?
Moodz.
Oh, fuck.
House of a Thousand Corpses.
House of a Thousand Corpses hates the ending. It's a fucking dream sequence, man. That's my explanation. But that's my explanation. You
Brandon,
guys,
It's actually
I didn't see House of 199. I don't know.
oddly enough, that's JP's biggest problem with that film too.
and I told him to watch my
Hates
fucking.
the endings. Yeah,
I know he
hates it.
does.
Yeah.
I told him it's a dream sequence. You
I don't have a
fucking-
problem with it either, so I can't.
Who's JP? I now refer to him as GP.
I think to clarify, it'd just be gay P now.
Oh,
That was Watson came up with that. That was like kind of funny.
sorry, I'm drinking a lot of the beer and the whiskeys.
Well, I mean, it only relates because he won't admit to his relationship with Carly. So you know.
Speaking of Carly, holy shit, I'm looking at her right now because she's the next pick.
Hey, me
after,
too.
After recent
Oh.
rewatch, happy birthday to me. That's what Carly said.
She
Happy
didn't like the
birthday!
ending to that?
I just recently watched. There's nothing wrong with that ending.
That's a really creepy ass ending.
Actually,
just
it makes
did that.
it actually
She
makes
and-
sense. I think that's one of the most well executed kind of twists, in horror films.
She does
So-
explain herself on her show where
Yep.
she and
But who
and
listens?
Austin talk about MVM or whatever. That's the movie versus movie and their new show.
Yeah.
You know, I support it, and they love me for it. They don't listen to my show, but
Dude, how many times? Okay,
I
I'm gonna
listened
start
to-
a count on
this is a running joke. This is a
that. I'm
running
gonna
joke.
start a count.
They do listen. They do listen.
I listen to
They
all your
worship-
shows.
No, I
listen
know
to
that. They
show.
worship me as they should because, look, I pretty much made their whole business even feasible. Like,
Boom.
come on, you guys.
Well, that makes sense because it is a Schroyer, though, right? So.
Oh,
Yo,
I'm playing everybody.
I know what
Next.
she means, though. The fact that, they made that mask to look perfect like that and nobody caught on to it. It's an 80s thing that doesn't fly with the younger generation.
The old
So I
Scooby-Doo
understand
mask.
why. I know why Carly would say that because she's younger than we are and she didn't witness that shit in the 80s. That's what I think. Like nowadays, if you made a movie in 2019 where somebody I made a mask of fucking Christian and I went out and killed people and I'm going to pull it off at the end, no one's going to know it was a mask, get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? I
Mission
do
Impossible.
understand.
But if you made a mask of
Shut up,
Christian's face,
Christian.
though, man, everybody they would just
You'd be
forgive
getting
them because
laid.
they're Canadian. You'd be like, "Oh, that Canadian killer? Fuck that, man. He's all good.
Canadian.
He's all good."
Canadian.
Where's the fucking poutine?
Yeah.
Come on.
I'd be like, oh, I'm sorry. You know?
Sorry. Sorry for killing you.
Uh,
The sorry killer. There we go.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta apologize when you kill, man.
God, I'm dying right now.
I'm sorry.
Someone doesn't like the end of Us.
Fucking poutine.
Another person doesn't like the end of Cemetery Man. Boy, oh boy. House of 1,000 Corpses again. Lot of repeats.
Okay, this cemetery man. Fuck that. That's
Yeah.
bullshit.
The Ritual. Oh, we got a Brandon on our hands.
Check
It
out the
wasn't
Jedi
Brandon.
ending on YouTube.
Yes.
That was hilarious, Christian.
The Ritual from last year.
Two people
Yeah.
found it funny.
Yeah.
I
So
loved
good.
it.
So good.
That was my number 4 of the year.
Yeah, I think
it's
mine
number
as well.
4 as well, I think.
Great
Yeah,
film.
4 or 3.
Great.
It was up there. Yeah, man. I don't know. Some people didn't like it. Adam N. Maskery said The Boy. We've been down that road. I know Brandon fucking hates it. But
Which one? Which boy are we talking about here?
I can only assume
The guy in the walls.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, because the other boy that was
Spoilers.
released by Factory was actually pretty good.
Yeah, he burns everything down and shit. Yeah. Oops.
Spoilers.
He's like, the one time we're spoiling things, I'm gonna oops it.
I'm gonna fucking spoil everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The house that Jack built from Jason Turner. Didn't like the end. Oh, I love that fucking end.
Jason. Will you give me a piggyback ride so I can convince you that? Never mind.
So you talking about the 20-minute allegory, I'm assuming? Like the
I don't
whole
know,
ending?
Christian,
guess.
what are you doing right now?
I'm not against
Are you
it.
Are you
No.
insulting the? Okay, Christian. I was gonna say I'm gonna have to give you. You're gonna have to give me a piggyback ride so we can talk.
No. Not, I'm not insulting it at all. I actually really enjoyed that film. It was. I didn't think I was going to because I'm not a big fan of some of the movies I've watched. I can't say that I've watched all of his catalog.
Yeah.
Antichrist.
That's all I've seen. Antichrist in that one.
I feel like there was another one. I didn't watch.
Check out Melancholia. Did you guys see Melancholia? It's a beautiful movie.
No, but I want to see
It is,
Nymphomaniac
yeah.
because my girl's in it, and I didn't know till the.
Yes,
till
she
the
is.
reveal.
Part 1
Yes.
and 2, my G.
I'm watching just for her. I'm
Do
watching.
it.
Yes.
Nice. Well, I could see how. You know what? The House that Jack built. That was my number 2 of last year, and it's a frustrating movie. It's a frustrating movie. I get it. Like if someone is sitting there going like that ending, I get it.
I guess
can't-
that.
yeah.
I don't know. I could see not liking it. I quite enjoyed it, but
Oh, I loved it, but I could see
Yeah.
somebody being like, "Nah, dog, yo, bro,
Just
hey,
figured that
G,
house would be very
gay
cold
Pete."
in the winter.
Yeah,
that's a Brandon joke.
More insulation, please. More kids, please.
Oh, boy.
with,
Okay.
with their grins.
Damon Brazel says, I may have to watch it again, but I always felt the original The Crazies should have had George Romero walk into the last frame and say, sorry, folks, we ran out of money.
That's hilarious.
That's kind of funny.
That's pretty good.
That is pretty
I
good,
gotta-
actually. It was abrupt, right? It
I
was
think
an
it should go
abrupt
to a
ending.
website that's find out what happened next.
Yeah, hashtag
what's a
Christians,
website?
Christians
I don't know.
something.
All right, I'll go on. Everett Dungeon said, I Bury the Living. I haven't seen I Bury the Living, or I can't remember. Is that Vincent Price?
I'll have to look it up. I don't even know.
Have your living? No, it doesn't. No.
I should have said bleached asshole. Sorry, Christian. There we go. Oh, I buried the living. Sorry.
That was very delayed, by the way.
No, that was a slope, not a quip.
No, it's not Vincent Perez, man.
Okay, what the fuck is it? I Buried the Living.
It is an older film, 1958.
Okay.
1958.
Yeah.
Richard Boone, Theodore Bickle.
You remember the
Howard
ending,
Smith.
Moodz?
Albert Band directed it. Charles
I don't.
Band's dad.
Oh.
So it's gotta suck balls.
Well, no wonder he hates the ending.
He hates the beginning and the middle too.
Oh, well, damn.
It's been forever since I've seen it, man.
I've never seen that one. Yeah.
I haven't seen it in years.
This is an interesting one. I'm going to read this whole thing. Michael Darwin said, not a fan of the alien ending. Let's ignore the fact that they have a massive spaceship without enough room in the rescue vehicle for the entire crew of 6 people, 1 robot and 1 cat. Once Ripley makes it to the escape ship, it is revealed that on her last trip to Sears, before leaving Earth, she accidentally bought the junior miss size underwear. Then she finds the alien on the ship, which just kind of sits there long enough for her to climb into a spacesuit, buckle in, and open the doors to blow it into space.
Michael Darwin is one of the hosts of Dark Discussions, and he's a sharp dude. I love Mike.
He's no Eric Webster.
Oh, I mean, but Eric said he'd give me a piggyback ride, and Michael hasn't responded.
And I'm
So-
kidding. I'm kidding. I
No, I'm actually not.
shit.
Go to a thread on Dark Discussions. I have talked about piggyback rides there for like days.
Damn. Wow.
Christian, go.
So
What do you
does he
guys
have a
think about
legit?
I'm not welcome.
I don't know. That's what I want to know. Do you guys think that's a legitimate complaint? Do you think the alien moves too slow at the end?
No, that's bullshit.
I like the
Yeah, I think-
underwear. I like the alien. I
I'm,
like
I'm
everything.
no explanation. It's just bullshit. That's bullshit.
It never bothered me. Yeah, it never
No.
bothered me.
No, it's
I can
why
see it
did they have
doesn't-
to move faster?
I don't know.
If you want faster, watch Aliens.
It kind of sits there long enough for her to climb into a spacesuit. He said. I guess he's saying
Actually,
that it just.
that's a good point, though. I mean, if you
Yeah.
want the fast shit, you want the action, you might prefer Aliens.
I think he might too. I'm not. Yeah, I think he might too.
Oh,
Yeah.
he's in that.
Well, that
camp?
makes sense.
Okay.
Because a lot of
I don't
people
know.
that
I
love
don't know.
Aliens don't like Alien. You know, I mean, not.
I love both. I love
Yes.
both
So
personally.
do I.
And what I almost said periphery.
Not
I
me.
meant Prometheus.
Yeah.
I'm one of those Alien fans. I love Alien.
Me too, buddy.
You know,
And what about aliens? No, nowhere near as good, right?
no, not even close.
Yep, I'm with you. It does seem that way.
Major step downs.
Yeah,
It's not a bad movie at
Fucking
all.
guys.
Like
I
technically
don't.
speaking, it's
Christian,
great.
come on.
It's actually pretty
Let's
good, but
let's go start
for
our
me,
own
no.
podcast.
Aliens versus Aliens.
Yeah, Dave.
You guys gonna do an Alien podcast?
Yeah,
Oh my
we're
God.
gonna do it.
Jesus.
You'll
We're gonna
quit
call it-
after 3 shows.
Yeah, we're gonna call it the Chris Dun. What? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
Combine our names somehow.
it's a working title.
Yeah, it's a working title.
Well, we got a couple more, but we can't.
Give
go
me
on.
one or two more. One or two more.
I'll
The
shoot a
energy's
few.
draining
Okay.
for me.
Miko Woodcock said, "End of the line." Was it the mold or not? I liked End of the Line. I've only seen it once, and I cannot remember the ending, but I remember enjoying the film.
That's a great Canadian film, man. Right, Christian?
Yeah, well, it's 2007, I believe, and I haven't seen it. Or is it 1997? I just remember we talked about this, and I hadn't seen it.
07.
Same
07.
07.
Same thing.
So is it the mold or is it the muffins? What is it? No, nobody knows.
No one remembers.
It's okay. All right, no one
Can't
remembers.
remember.
You watched it on your damn ABC
Yeah,
show.
once
I
in my
haven't
life.
seen it in
I
like
watched
probably 10 years.
it. I don't know.
I never saw that one.
But it is a good film, though.
Halloween 2018. I thought the booby-trapped house was just dumb. Let's not even talk about that movie. We will talk an hour, I'm sure.
Oi,
Well-
hey, it's me, Brandon. I'm back on the podcast.
I
and
can
I
agree
don't
with
like
that.
it.
I can agree with that. You know, fucking Halloween 18. Fuck
Yeah.
that movie.
Too many
man.
pumpkins. Hey.
Fuck that movie, man.
Why
You
is
know what
Brandon
I'm saying,
Italian?
man?
Yeah, what? No, we're 3 Italian. I don't know what Moodz is, but we're
Food sounds
some crazy-
Mexican.
The JP is here.
Vatos,
yeah,
you know?
you're gay Pete.
Man, fuck that
Vatos.
18, man. You know what I'm saying, man? You know what I'm saying, man?
Okay, that
It's
sounds legit.
What about
What?
Mahomes?
But
Yeah.
I know y'all motherfuckers like, Halloween 18 and shit, man, but I agree with that end. That ending is whack as fuck. It's terrible.
That's no Leprechaun remake.
It's terrible.
What, the very,
The
very end?
Leprechaun movie was actually fun as hell, man. I can't believe that you were dissing the shit out. It's fun.
I didn't
It's
watch
not
it.
supposed to be a great movie.
No,
It's just
I know. I just actually did not
It's
like.
supposed to be a great movie, and it sucked. That was the problem, dude. I walked
can
out
do
of the
that.
cinema going, "What the fuck, dude?"
Come on, dude. You
Guys-
think that's worse than 4, 5, and 6 and all that shit?
No. It is definitely better than those movies for sure.
Okay, then why
That's
were
fair.
people?
That's fair.
Why were you or anyone else expecting a fucking Halloween sequel this day and age to fucking be so much? Why were you expecting a fucking 10 out of 10 slasher in 2018?
No.
I don't get
I'm
that.
not expecting a 10 out of 10 slasher. I just didn't want to see fucking Rambo fucking Strode, man. I hated where they went with that. This whole fucking fact of her being, we're pimped up for like 30 years or whatever, and fucking she's all ready to go and shit like that. It was fucking terrible to me, man. It was awful. It was awful. And I'm sticking with that, man. I mean, listen to the rest of the review on the podcast, but I mean, I just thought that was ridiculous. Ridiculous. There's a lot of great scenes in Halloween 2018, a lot of great shot stuff. Thought some of the kills were pretty cool. I mean, another issue I had with the film, when you're going to ignore an entire franchise that's already been done in reality, and you're going to make a sequel to the original film, throwing shout outs to all these other fucking movies.
Yeah.
If you're gonna throw shout outs to all these other fucking films, it seems ignorant to me. Make your shit 100% original, then I'll respect it more. But if you're gonna homage
Respectful is
all
what it
these
is.
other fucking all these sequels that have been done, it's not respectable, man. They honestly, there's so many things in that movie that are just taken straight from the rest of the franchise. I'm like,
yeah, but
fuck
that's
this,
just
man.
for us. But that's just for us, Moods. They did that just to fucking nod and wink to the hardcore fans that know
I
4,
get
5,
that.
and 6,
I
and
get
7,
that, but
and
I
3.
wanted to. I didn't
No?
want to see that shit. I don't mind the odd thing here and there, but give me a fucking full original film and shit and obviously change the fucking Rambo Strode shit. That was horrible.
See, I'll meet you halfway. I'll meet you
horrible.
halfway on that. I don't mind the Rambo stroke because it seems like she prepared for fucking 40 years forward, so I can live with it to a degree. But I can't understand the complaint of what you said about too many homages to fucking this and that. And if you're gonna skip it, just skip it and pretend nothing existed. I understand that complaint. Do I agree with it? No, but that's one I can understand. I know where you're coming from, so I'll give you that.
But like I said, if as a filmmaker, if you're going to make a direct sequel to the original film and pretend like nothing has happened before in storyline, why homage those films? It's fucking frustrating as a fan. I hate that. There's so many scenes in that film that are directly into the franchise, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, it's confusing. It's confusing to people.
I get what you're saying, but I'm such a fanboy for that stuff that I ate it up.
And I tried to put my biasm away, man, because I'm not a big Halloween franchise fan. I am not. I'm a Nightmare
None of us
fan.
are.
I'm a Phantasm fan. Nightmare on Elm Street is my favorite franchise. Phantasm, I love Psycho. Those are my favorite franchises out there.
Right on. All great ones.
Halloween, I think is honestly, it's pretty bad as a franchise. Like, there's a lot of bad films in that franchise. Halloween 1 and 3, I think, are the best movies out there.
It's tough, honestly. It's between Nightmare on Elm Street and Halloween. It's pretty close. Like, for me, you got Halloween 1, 2, and 3, and then I'm okay with 6. I like H2O enough, and I like the zombies enough, and I really like the second zombie, and I like the new one. And if I look at Nightmare, I'm thinking 1, I'm thinking 3, 2's okay. I don't like 4, 5, and 6 really, and you know what I mean. To me, they're kind of comparable. But
See, I don't really care for 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. I personally like Rob Zombie's remake and his part 2. The thing is with part 2, I've seen the movie so many goddamn times. I hated it when I first watched it. I liked it a little bit more. And every time I talked about this movie and reviewed it over the years, I seem to appreciate it and find more things.
Nice.
I think it's one of those movies that you need to see like 100 times to fully appreciate what the fuck he was doing, because it's definitely unappreciated. It's not a fully blown great film, but it is also underappreciated. I think it's way better than people give it credit for. It's definitely better than a lot of the shit that was in the original franchise. You know, I like Halloween 1, 2 a lot. I love Part 3. Part 3 is not a great movie, but I love that fucking movie with every ounce of my body. That's one of the go-to films for me on Halloween. Love that shit. But the rest of the franchise is pretty shitty.
I have a soft spot for 4.
A lot of people do.
I do.
A lot of people do.
A lot of people love H2O, and I think it's a really bad. It's another version of a homage film where they constantly just do shit, you know, with there's all these homages and I'm just like, fuck, you know, it gets old, you know, but it's actually not a great movie. And the thing about that movie, I hate the fucking ending, where me and JP always argue about that shit. He loves the ending of that film. I hate the ending of the movie.
Wow. I can't talk about those franchise movies anymore. We'll go on.
We did a whole year of the franchise. At this point, I do think it's time that we should probably do a shout out for 22 Shots. If you want to support the show, go to patreon.com/explodingheads and donate.
I'm gonna freaking die.
You fucking asshole, man.
Awesome.
You motherfucking asshole. I'm gonna go on record saying, if you're thinking about supporting 22 Shots, you should do yourself a favor and go support Exploding Heads, because they're a way better podcast than we are.
I'm crying
And
now.
put your money towards a fucking podcast with class. That's all.
Oh, now I feel like a jackass.
Awesome.
That was the whole goal. Thanks, Moods. There's no war, guys out there. There's with Jeremy. And it's over.
No,
already.
I'm being sincere.
No, I know you. I know. I just feel like a jerk.
Being sincere. If you're gonna put some money somewhere, put it towards EA. They have done a great job.
Well, you guys, fuck.
Everybody
has. We're sucking each other's. That was the time to suck each other's dicks. My favorite line from Pulp Fiction. Let's not start sucking each other's dicks quite yet. My favorite line of that movie.
I'm going to shout out one more and then we'll get out of here, because it's our homie Jason Smith. He says 13 Sins. Does not like the ending of 13 Sins.
What these movies? I don't even know the movie.
I know. Oh, you never saw it?
I don't. Let me see.
Oh, you must. It's a good ending. It's a sad ending. It's great. It's funny because my wife called it. She's like, I think this is going to happen. And I was like, oh, wow, you're right.
Go,
I haven't
Irene.
seen this.
Yeah.
Come on,
Irene. Great.
I'm confusing 13 Sins with Would You Rather. I do that all the time, but they're both very good. Someone else said the last broadcast. They said it's a cop-out. Wow, that's it. Someone said Blair Witch. Pieces. You'll love that, Moodz.
Oh,
Pieces.
Moodz, yeah.
I love Pieces, but that ending where the corpse comes back to life and rips the guy's junk off. What the fuck?
That makes me laugh so hard.
Honest to God, I turn it off right before that part. I'm like, it's an amazing movie. Love it.
I fast forward it to that part.
You fast
Freeze frame.
That sounded like Brandon. That sounded like Brandon right.
Oh no, I don't. We don't. I love you, B.
That was a total Brandon.
That's amazing.
Amazingly right. Mahoney says April Fool's Day. We've been down that road with April Fool's Day before.
I reviewed that with Santa Claus on episode 17 of Horror Corridor.
And
I've never had a problem with that ending, man. To be honest, it kind of makes sense. It's April Fool's. Everyone's supposed to live. That's the fucking joke.
Yes.
It's pretty meta. It is pretty meta, honestly. But did anybody hear my Santa episode? Santa was off the rails.
It was off the rails, but in a good way.
Thank you.
It's always enjoyable.
Moods. Santa Claus guest starred on the show, and he was obnoxious.
You know what? I made a joke about 5 minutes ago, but for all sincerity, everybody that's listening to this are probably well aware of your shows, but obviously Moodz is from 22 Shots of Moods and Horror. Got a kick-ass website as well. If you're not familiar with him, then you should definitely get familiar with him. And of course, and he's off camera right now, even though the patrons are the only ones going to see the video, I guess, of this. And of course, Mr. Watson has a show that he keeps saying he's going to cancel, but he keeps doing more and more episodes, and everybody's giddy as a schoolgirl when they get to hear that they're coming.
Yeah,
there he is. There's
he keeps
Moodsy.
doing them. There's Moodz. All right.
There's like 5 episodes
The show
left.
is probably the best.
There's 5 episodes left?
The best. He
So
even
another
knows how
year.
many are.
Wait, go on, Christian.
Yeah, it's the best fucking produced show. I'm not bullshitting. The amount of time that goes
thank
into
you.
it.
I am bullshitting.
Well produced. We'll do. Moodz. We'll do production on our shows, but I mean, and we'll put like the little jokes in or whatever like that. But I mean, there's a limit to what I'm gonna fucking do.
Damn straight.
Yeah.
And so Watson, power to you, man. You know it. A lot of people out there know it, but more people should know about it too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Amen. Wow, you have
amount
5
of
more
research.
shows left?
You know what I love about it? I feel like a fucking idiot when I listen to the show.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I can barely
Is
construct
that
a
something
sentence.
that's like a problem with the
No. I'm saying it's that well.
Sorry, I'm just drunk
articulate.
enough to where I think I misunderstood. I that was a compliment, and thank you, sir.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah. No,
I
it's
love
just
you.
like
See, thank you, buddy. Thank you.
You blow everybody away with your
Oh,
with the
man.
research and analysis.
Thank you, and and I have a few episodes left of the show before I call it quits. I just want to kind of put a few more nails into the coffin before I start. I'm gonna start another show down the line pretty soon that I'm pretty happy with, and yeah, I don't know, it'll be kind of something fresh that's gonna be different than anyone's heard from me, and so yeah, I don't know. Thank
And
you for
are
those
doing
kind
the
words.
YouTube? Sorry for cutting you off there, but
Oh yeah.
and YouTube is coming soon.
YouTube is ready. My son walked through the door today. I picked him up from his mom's, and he's like, "Oh, the vinyl backdrop is down. What were you doing?" I was like, just working on some lighting things. You know, we're
Experimenting
creators
stuff.
in our house.
Yeah.
There's no bedtime over in the Watson house. It's just us creating when we can, trying to find what works for us. My son's got YouTube channels. I'm working on mine and the podcast, and then the one I'm about to start. Yeah, I don't know. It's good stuff, and thank you for those kind words. I appreciate that because this Horphilia Network. There are some great shows on the network, and I think we've all really bonded. And I mean, how could we have taken this movie tonight and just had an explosion of a wonderful conversation tonight if we weren't all friends and homies and stuff like that? I mean, shoot, Moodz and I we Skype like at least once a week. Like, I mean, it's what it is. We're homies, man. It's good stuff.
That's true, man. That's true.
Yeah.
We
Moodz,
do that, man.
How long
We
have
do
you had
that.
your YouTube channel now?
Wow.
Since 2011.
And how many subscribers do you have?
Oh shit, man! I'm just under
Not as much as I-
9,000, somewhere in there.
Nice, man. Look at that.
Yeah.
Nice, dude.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's great. You work hard on it, man.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. It's honestly not that bad. I mean, we do well on the podcast, which is good.
Damn straight.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's really what matters right now. I don't really look at my personal stuff. My channel as anything too big. I mean, people are always amazed. Like, oh, that's crazy. But
You
it
just
is what
keep
it
doing
is.
Well,
It-
hey, it's good.
It is what it is, man. Like, I love to do those videos and shit when I can do them and stuff. And I'm thankful for the people that actually support them. So
Yeah.
Awesome.
You're doing good work, buddy. Is it okay if really quickly I do a couple plugs that I have just really quickly? I mean, like
Who the fuck do
because
you think you are? Of course, no, go right ahead.
okay. I was gonna say I don't have to, but so So my first show used to get a lot of buzz when it first came out, and so I have this other show, and when it first came out, and a lot of people don't know this about me, but I had another show that when it came out, it got a huge buzz, and it's still technically going, but now literally no one and their mom cares about it anymore. It's called TGIF 13. No, it's called Netflix and Chill Horror. Wait, Disposable Arts. Wait, Cinema Attack the Brandon Years. Wait, Vestron Video. Wait, Brandon
Cinema
Solo
Attack the
Cast.
Brandon years.
Solo Cast.
Wow.
That was
Sorry.
awesome. I love that.
Sorry, everybody. I have no real plugs to do.
Wow. And I
You
gotta
guys
tell
rock.
you, all joking aside, I love Jeremy on the show because I have been speaking a lot of shit about Jeremy. Not that he ever was going to hear it or whatever.
Nope.
We doesn't
No.
give a shit about you guys.
But I don't even care if he doesn't give a shit. But the show works because of your chemistry.
They
Yep.
kill it. They kill it.
It would work better without him, but it,
Yeah. I mean,
He's off the show.
I'm joking.
Him and GP or JP are.
Grand Prix.
Yeah.
Fucking,
Grand
it's
Prix.
going off the rails now.
Oh my god.
This is the suck everybody's dick segment.
There we go. Yeah, man, you guys. are
good
great.
times. Good times. Good times.
Yeah, we're so
Yeah.
happy to have you guys here, and I know Brandon's gonna enjoy listening. And two of the best shows on the network. Not even just on the network. Two of the best shows, freaking
Floating
just
heads at 22 shots.
going. Horror Corridor. And
Honestly,
22
man,
Shots,
I am
you know?
honored to be on the show. I'm super honored to be on the show that you guys actually asked me to be on here. And anytime, man. Anytime.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh,
I
you
am
know you're
down for
coming
these
back.
shows, man. Super, super fun. Super fun.
Awesome.
And Brandon, come back to the show.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll all be here eventually. You know, we'll have another super show with all of us, and it'll be great. I don't know. Do you guys want to plug anything? What's going on? What's coming up next? What's up with 22 Shots next? What's up with Horror Corridor next? What do you guys got going on?
22 Shots, man. Coming up next, we have the George A. Romero Dead Series discussion with, of course, JP and Jeremy, and we're gonna have the homie Mike Merriman on the show.
Oh, nice.
Too, so.
Snorer. Nice.
Yeah, the snorer, man.
Fucking
become
Mr.
a-
Sandman.
He's become a classic sample on the 22 Shots. Yeah, Mike is going to be here from many shows. Yeah, so that's what we got coming up next in a couple days. So you guys will see that.
That's gonna be a good one, you
stuff.
guys.
So yeah.
And what
and
comes
then,
after that? What comes after that? Because by the time this comes out, we'll be close to
after that is going to be a William Castle director spotlight, and after that, I don't know.
Ooh.
That's it.
William Castle.
William
Nice.
Castle, yeah. So
That's why you guys are fucking great, because he's come out of left field with a William Castle. That's-
I'm actually looking forward to that, man. I'm a huge William Castle fan, so that's pretty damn cool. Pretty damn
That's-
cool for me.
yes.
awesome.
Yes, sir. Awesome.
And what
And
are
watch-
you doing, Mr. Watson?
Oh,
A Serbian
yeah.
film
So,
is next, or is that not
yeah?
next?
So, no, it is the. I'm already about 90% done with the show. I just need to do editing. I haven't done any. I kind of recorded it in segments. The theme is going to be Can Horror Go Too Far? And I also review a couple films. Velvet Buzzsaw, because I've reviewed that back in early February, right when it came out. Yikes. That's been recorded since then. Then I did The Laplace's Demon, which I think you should all watch. It's a 2019 movie, The Laplace's Demon. Throwback to the Twilight Zone. Watch it. Dave Z,
Yep.
I'm thinking of you all the way, buddy. We already talked about this. And then we go deep into a Serbian film. We talk about Serbian
know.
politics. We get, oh, gee, no, I didn't mean it like that. It's all the bad jokes I've been doing tonight. I'm being legit. We're trying to get deep into it. Does this film have value? A lot of people will not give it the time of day to even say it has value. We're talking about that. That will drop. We're recording this tonight, folks, on a Friday night.
Serbian film is
Thursday
amazing.
night? Oh,
So good.
Moods, just please listen to my show. I really want you to hear, and I'd love your feedback personally, buddy. What is tonight? Is it Friday? Yeah, Friday.
Yep, yep.
Friday.
It will drop. The Serbian film show will drop a few days after we record this. So once you hear this, that show will be out. And then I've approached the homie Mademoiselle Charlene Jeanedi to help me. Not as a guest, because I don't know how to record with other people. I'm a solo caster. Fuck y'all. But she's gonna help me do a French translation of my intro, and I'm gonna talk about some lesser-known French horror films that people don't often talk about. Bonjour and such. I went to France. I think
Hello
I'm
and
qualified.
such.
yeah. Bonjour. Buongiorno. Wait, that's Italian.
I don't know
So
about
yeah,
Chris, but we're French Canadian, but like I don't fucking speak a lick of.
oh, dude,
My
I
mom
used to
was
be.
a French teacher, and I don't speak.
I used to be an intermediate French
I can
speaker. I
barely-
got around France for like 2 weeks talking French to homies and doing that thing. It's gone now, but I still remember some of it. So we're gonna talk lesser French films, and then and then I think I got maybe 3 or 4 episodes after that before I call it quits and then start my show after that, which it's not fully built yet. So there'll be big news about what happens with that show. We got a name, and it's coming. Just wait. I'm not done podcasting. YouTube didn't take me from podcasting. Horror just needs to go, but I gotta lay it to rest properly.
Are you done plugging? Jesus, Christmas.
Yeah. Whoa.
Just kidding.
This guy, man. Give him a mic.
Hey,
This guy a mic.
hey.
Damn.
I love you guys. Please edit out the part where I started talking this episode.
You know we love you.
Of course, I love you guys too.
They're out there saying, Christian, shut up. Let him talk more.
No way. That's not gonna be the placenta or the whatever here.
The placenta. The placenta. Coming soon.
Yeah.
What a
All right.
show. Oh,
Yeah.
lots of fun. It was a blast, man. It was a blast. Hope everybody enjoyed it. And like I said earlier, Brandon will be back next show. We'll be doing the Patreon reviews again. We'll be serious business. Well, as serious as the three of us can be. And we'll be up on it. But we've had a lot of fun these last couple shows. doing the bonuses and hanging out with our buddies, and
Mashups.
great stuff. So
Good stuff.
we know you guys will be back again. We don't even that's a given. So listeners, thank you. Hope you enjoyed all of us here, because we sure as hell had a good time. We're gonna be out. Anybody got anything? Any parting words before we say goodnight? No? Good. Fuck y'all. No. It's just been that kind of show, guys. We love everybody. Peace out. We'll see you next show.
Yeah.